Today I'm going to be upgrading different Minecraft mobs and adding them to the game. There are a ton of mobs in Minecraft, so I'm going to be picking 8 of my favorite mobs and then adding some new variants of them to the game. And we'll start with some iron golems. First I added the classic diamond golem. You can get this guy by placing an iron golem formation, except you use diamonds instead. And once this guy is spawned, you are able to hire him for 1 diamond. After that, you have your own diamond bodyguard that will follow you around anywhere and keep you safe. Next we have the netherite golem, and spawning him is the same except it's netherite. You can only spawn this guy in the nether, and the difference between him and the diamond golem is you can't tame him. Instead, he just tries to kill you the second he spawns. If you do kill the netherite golem, you only get 1 netherite back, so basically he is useless unless you want to start a golem fighting ring or something. The furnace golem is spawned using furnaces, obviously, and he is probably one of the most useful golems I added. If you right click this guy with an item that needs to be smelted, he will smelt it for you instantly. You can also kill him if you're a hater, and he drops 1 coal block. But you have to be careful while fighting him because he shoots fireballs at you. Well, they don't really work like fireballs, but you get the point. The last golem is the blood golem. The blood golem spawns anywhere around the map at any time, and if you couldn't tell already, he's a boss. This is why. He does 10 hearts no matter what. Even if you have full protection 4 netherite armor, you're still dead. You might try to kill the blood golem with arrows, but you will find that that also doesn't work. The only actual way to kill the blood golem is by using cactuses. So basically you're dead if you run into this guy. Now that we have a bunch of new golems, it's time to add some villagers for them to protect. The golden villager is the first on our list. If you end up finding this guy in your village, you'll notice a golden trail coming from behind him. Now usually a golden trail would be bad, but in this case it's actually good, because this guy is basically an infinite gold source. You can also right click him for some gold ingots, punch him for some gold blocks, or kill him for a notch apple if you're feeling evil. I also added the king villager because I figured the village needed a leader. The king villager is also the only villager in the game that will fight you, but of course he only fights if you hit him first. If you kill the king, he drops a king's crown, which when you wear it gives you some pretty good effects. It also covers half your head, but we'll just ignore that part. The next villager is the homeless villager, and you might be wondering why I added a homeless villager, because that's basically what a nitwit is. The difference between them is that this villager can beg for emeralds, and upon giving him emeralds, something happens that you might not expect. I guess we now know how this guy became king. The last villager is the buff villager, who isn't technically a villager. The buff villager is very strong, and as you can see, he also likes to fight everything. If you do kill the buff villager, you get nothing, so honestly I would just stay away from this guy. He isn't worth it. For the next mob, I added some zombies so the villagers and golems can have an enemy. I added 4 zombies, and I started off simple with the Alex zombie. The Alex zombie doesn't do anything special, it's just a regular zombie with an Alex skin. You might also notice that her arms don't go up like an actual zombie. For some reason the custom zombies just don't do that, but honestly it makes them look more scary, so I'm fine with it. The next zombie is the nether zombie, which is supposed to set you on fire, but just doesn't. This zombie can be found in all the different biomes in the nether, and upon killing it, you get a blaze rod, making him actually pretty useful. He does a lot more damage than a regular zombie though, so I would definitely be careful of this guy. Another zombie you should be careful of is the demon zombie. This guy can spawn anywhere, and he wields 2 netherite swords just to be intimidating. He speeds up whenever he attacks you, and he does a lot of damage, especially with no armor. The demon zombie actually has a lot of health, and every time you hit it, zombies will spawn as backup. If you do manage to go through the pain of killing this guy, he will drop a netherite ingot, so I would say it's definitely worth it to take a fight with him. The last zombie I added is the snow zombie. Obviously found in cold biomes, this guy creates a trail of snow underneath him wherever he walks, and when he attacks you, he will actually throw snowballs at you. Totally an original mob design. If you kill this zombie, you will get some frozen flesh, and upon trying to eat this, you will realize it doesn't work. You actually have to smelt frozen flesh into rotten flesh using a furnace or a furnace golem if you happen to find one. Now that we've made all these mobs, it's time to add some animals, so next I made some cows. I decided to make the first cow just a default cow, except it's black and white. But after that, I added everyone's favorite flower cows. I added the Moolip and the Moobloom, which both can spawn inside of flower forests. If you milk the Moolip, it will give you Moolip milk, and if you milk a Moobloom, you get Moobloom milk. The Moolip milk is beneficial to drink, as it gives you strength and regeneration for 30 seconds, but the Moobloom milk, on the other hand, doesn't really do the same thing. I mean, it's your fault if you drink this anyways. This does not look like something you should drink. The next cow is the evil cow, who likes to hurt you. That's really it. He also drops redstone, which is supposed to be blood, because he's sort of like a blood cow. And then I also added the ghost cow. The ghost cow is one of the most interesting mobs I've added so far, as he's able to fly. Well, he's kinda able to fly, even though this is more like hovering. The ghost cow is also aggressive like the evil cow, but another interesting thing is you are able to ride him. Okay, I still died while riding him. That doesn't make any sense. If you have a ton ton of golden apples, you were able to ride him, is what I meant to say. If you've been playing Minecraft for a while, you're probably familiar with the blue creeper skin, so I decided to add the blue creeper to the game next. You can find a blue creeper in snow biomes only, and if you kill this guy, he gives you a TNT. He blows up like a normal creeper, except for some reason he has no animation and is also able to move while exploding. I'm honestly not sure how to fix that, but it makes the creepers more dangerous, so it's honestly a good glitch. The cactus creeper is another type of creeper that I added just cause it looks funny. Like, imagine walking through a desert biome and then this happens. Since the creeper was made from a messed up pig originally, it only makes sense to be in the game. The pig creeper is insanely fast for some reason, and if you want some of that speed for yourself, you can actually ride the pig creeper just like you can ride a normal pig. Just be careful while riding in survival or this might happen. The skulk creeper can be found in the deep dark, and it infects anything it stands on, kinda like a snow golem but with skulk. If you kill a skulk creeper, all you get is some skulk veins. But this skin is definitely one of the best looking mobs so far, so I still added it. The last creeper is the noob creeper, which is the only creeper that doesn't explode. The noob creeper doesn't really do anything, and it only has half a heart, so it only takes one punch to kill it. He also drops a flower if you kill him. That's it. The chicken has been in the game for a long time, so let's make some chickens next. First, I had to add the best mob of all time, a duck. The duck is impossible to kill in order to prevent duck violence, and if you give it some bread, you can actually hire one of these guys to take out some mobs for you. I also added a dodo bird as another type of chicken. I'm pretty sure I made it so the dodo bird can't do anything at all because apparently they were stupid. So since they do nothing, I decided to make them drop a notch apple if you're okay with making them extinct again. The nether chicken spawns in the nether, and he's mainly found in soul sand valleys. If you get in a fight with a nether chicken, you'll find he sets you on fire when he hits you, and after killing a nether chicken, you get nothing. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen, but I'm leaving it that way. He'll just be annoying. Since there is a nether chicken, I also made an ender chicken, which spawns in the end, but also in the overworld, just like a normal enderman. Ender chickens make the same sounds as endermen, and when you kill one of them, it drops an ender pearl as well. The only difference is the ender chicken doesn't teleport away. He doesn't know how to do that. Next, I added some spiders to the game, and somehow these were some of my favorite mobs. This spider is from Minecraft Dungeons, and it's called a cave spider, so I just named it a cavern spider. It looks kind of like a skulk spider, so I made it spawn in the deep dark. And I also made it give you the darkness effect, just like the warden when it attacks you. The next spider is a toxic spider, which is basically just a cave spider, but it can spawn anywhere. I will say it moves much faster than a cave spider though, which I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm also pretty sure cave spiders don't give poison too, so this guy actually might be a little OP. The Reaper spider is something you don't want to run into, which is why I gave it a boss bar to let you know if it's in your area. The Reaper spider is the same as the toxic spider, except it does more damage, and when it bites you, it gives you all of these effects. The fact that Steve is able to survive a bite from this guy just proves he's built different, because this spider is insane. One of my favorite spiders is the ice spider, which spawns in cold biomes, and instead of potion effects, he just freezes you upon biting you. I also just noticed these spiders do an absurd amount of damage. This guy 3-hit me. The last spider I added is the skeleton spider, and this one is interesting because he acts like a real skeleton. He actually shoots arrows at you. Well, it's more like throwing them at me because they look like this, but that's fine. Now that our game is looking like Australia, I decided to move on to some wardens. First, I added the blood warden. If you hit the blood warden, there's a chance of him spawning a warden to fight for him as backup. And if he hits you, you get teleported to a random area around the warden. Okay, I actually just noticed that his wardens attack him, so maybe this isn't the best design. Anyways, he drops a totem when you kill him, but you're probably not going to be able to do that, at least without the help of the other wardens. A warden you will be able to kill though is the noob warden. The noob warden is similar to the noob creeper, except you can tame him using skulk catalysts. You have to be careful about where you bring your noob warden though, because one hit from anything and he is dead. The last warden and the last mob of the video is probably the best mob I've ever added. It's Shrek. I don't know why I added Shrek, I just saw him and thought it was funny, but basically Shrek spawns in a swamp and he is passive until he finds you in his swamp. I don't know about you, but I think Minecraft lacks different mob variants. Like, you know those texture packs with like 20 different cows? That should just be Minecraft. So today I added new upgraded mob variants to Minecraft, like this amber chicken, which is actually a mob in Minecraft Earth. For some reason the chickens in this mod flap their wings all the time, and I'm not fixing it. I'm just gonna call it a design choice. If you kill the amber chicken, instead of chicken, you get an amber. And if you place this amber in the crafting table like this, you can actually make amber armor. The armor isn't really that good though, because it's actually made of feathers. The amber was fake. Another fake item comes from the bronze chicken. When you kill the bronze chicken, it drops a bronze chicken, which appears to be cooked chicken, but it's not. You can also get brown eggs from the bronze chicken, but instead of throwing them, you can just eat them. This time without the nausea. This chicken is really fancy. Because it is called the fancy chicken, I don't think think it's actually that fancy. So if you hate the fancy chicken like me, you can shear it to turn it back into a normal chicken. The fancy chicken is only found in the jungle. I can't remember why I made this choice, but it kind of makes sense. And if you right click the fancy chicken, it will say something fancy. Wow, this chicken is sophisticated. The midnight chicken only comes out at night. And unlike other chickens, the midnight chicken is not friendly at all. The thing is, it doesn't do any damage though. It just has a random chance of turning you into a chicken when it hits you. This isn't much different than before, to be fair. If you're bored of the normal cow, I'd like to show you the dairy cow. It's exactly what I was talking about in the intro. The dairy cow gives you raw milk when you milk it instead of regular milk, which doesn't make any sense given that regular milk is already raw. But you get strength 10 if you drink it, so go crazy. I also added the emo cow to the game. I think it's actually called the Umbra cow, and bro really needs a haircut. You can't even see his eyes. Don't try to cut its hair though, because if you do, you will get attacked. You can also milk this cow just like the last one, but this time it gives you a bucket of monster energy, and drinking the monster energy will give you speed 10. Basically, I made cows super OP. Something that could also be considered OP is the gold creeper, because every time it explodes, it turns the ground into gold blocks. The downside though is the gold creeper likes to hide in places like bastions where there already are gold blocks, so good luck stealing the gold now. Of course, you have to get to the nether first to get the gold, which is why the new obsidian creeper exists. Now, instead of making a nether portal with actual obsidian, you can just flint and steel this creeper instead. But if you don't have a flint and steel, you just have to kill it with a diamond pickaxe, just like normal obsidian. It also has a ton of health, so it's probably better just to let it explode. Once you get to the nether, you can be greeted by the soul sand creeper. This creeper variant is only found in soul sand valleys, and if you blow this one up, it will give you slowness for 10 seconds. It also creates a trail of soul sand underneath it wherever it goes, so if you ever wanted to make a soul sand farm, now you can. If you ever wanted more sea creatures in Minecraft, now you can have that with the orca. Orcas are known to eat fish and maybe even squids, so they fight both of these mobs. The orca is also sometimes called the killer whale, so you might want to make sure you don't get too close to these things. And if you kill the orca, it drops a crossbow too, cause you know they got it on them. You can also feed the crossbow to this raccoon. Yeah, the raccoon will eat anything in your hand because raccoons eat garbage. Raccoons will also attack you, and they move in gangs, so watch out. And yes, if you are wondering, the raccoon can and does commit robberies as well. Really, dude? The black ghast is kinda like the ghast of the end, except smaller. And instead of shooting at the player, the black ghast will actually help you fight the ender dragon instead. Well, it's supposed to, but it isn't really doing anything right now. Anyways, you can hatch it from a dragon egg, which really makes no sense considering it doesn't like the dragon. The night golem doesn't like the dragon either, or really any mob that is a threat to the village. The night golem is a more powerful version of the iron golem that is spawned using gold blocks instead of iron. You can also tame one of these guys with a crown, but only if you're the king, otherwise he won't fight for you. Since the warden is so scary, I decided to add the warden golem to the ancient city as well. The difference between the warden and the warden golem though, is that the warden golem just walks around the ancient city. Yeah, it doesn't actually do anything. The warden golem is basically just there to scare you, and that's it. If you find an ancient guardian fossil, you can use it to hatch an ancient guardian, which is a guardian that you can actually ride in the water, although it's really slow, and I'm also floating. It should have been faster. I don't know what happened. The ancient guardian will also help you fight the other guardians, if it could move. Yeah, something is just wrong with the ancient guardian. The crow, on the other hand, doesn't have anything wrong with it. If you find a group of crows, they are actually called a murder, so I made it so that the crows will attack you. You can also find crows randomly chilling at the top of buildings, and every now and then they will lay a crow egg, which you can use as a projectile weapon that actually does damage. Crow eggs hurt, I guess. This is a pig that was left out in the sun for too long. Found in the desert and other hot biomes, this is the mottled pig. That's it. It's just a variant of the pig. It has nothing special about it. The muddy pig is a little bit different though, because if you kill it, you can get some dirty pork. Yeah, I wouldn't advise eating that. If you don't want your pork to be dirty, you can clean your pig with water before killing it, but watch out for mud blocks though, because then your pig will become dirty again. The piebald pig looks like it's dirty, but it isn't. Those are actually just spots. And once again, it's just a regular pig, but this time I made it drop bacon. And it can also drop pepperoni, another meat that comes from a pig. Nether pigs drop nether pork, which is a pork chop that you don't need to cook. You can also give a nether pig some gold, and that will tame it, which allows you to ride the pig without even having a saddle. The nether pig is immune to fire damage, as you can see, and obviously a nether pig is found in the nether, because if it isn't, it turns into a zombified pig, which is basically the opposite of the nether pig. It drops rotten pork, which is bad for you. Do not eat this. And it does not like being tamed and also wants to kill you, so don't let your nether pig get into the overworld. You also shouldn't go near grizzly bears that can be found in the forest. Because if you do, just like in real life, something bad might happen. Don't try to outrun the grizzly bear as well, because it's way faster than you. The only way to stop the bear from killing you is by taming the bear with honey, and apparently a lot of it. There's also another threat to your safety in hotter biomes as well. It's the naked Ravager. The wild Ravager, actually, who unlike the regular Ravager, has no saddle or any of the other stuff on it. It's just a random Ravager that you can tame if you sneak up on it using some bones. After taming the Ravager, you can ride the Ravager without a saddle, but you do sink down a little bit though. Fuzzy sheep are a type of sheep that has a lot more wool than a normal sheep. As you can see, I can shear this thing forever. It never stops. And instead of dropping wool blocks, it drops yarn, which can actually be crafted into armor. It's just like the old feature in Minecraft Alpha, except the armor is actually made of wool this time. Tropical slimes spawn in the bottom of the ocean, and they are super tiny only, because I couldn't figure out how to change the size. What I can do though is make them drop blue slime, which is slightly different than green. You can craft a blue slime block with 9 slime balls, and instead of bouncing you, the blue slime block gives you jump boost instead. I think this is a little too high. If you combine a skeleton with a spider, you get a bone spider, which is a mob that hides very deep down in the caves at the deep slate layer. The bone spider likes to shoot bone shards at you instead of biting you, and if you kill one of these spiders, you can get some of the bone shards to use as a weapon for yourself. Villagers deserve to have more variants added, as there hasn't been a village update in a while, so I added the angry villager to the game, who unlike regular villagers, is not friendly at all and attacks anyone and anything. You also can't trade with the angry villager, as he just takes your emeralds. And this guy is so annoying that even the night golem fights him. But the enchanter is actually a serious villager, and he lives in this new custom village house. You can really tell I tried with this one. If you give the enchanter an item, he will enchant it. And yes, I mean any item. He will even enchant the item multiple times somehow. Don't question the enchanter. You can question the business villager though, because if you right click him, he has a business offer for you. The thing is, when you bring him some emeralds, he just tells you he invested them for you and you never get them back. Yeah, I think bro's a scammer. The gift wrapper is just a mob from Minecraft Dungeons, and he can't really do anything though because there is no gifts to wrap. So yeah, he's pretty much useless. He just looks cool and that's it. The mysterious merchant is kind of like the wandering trader, except he will give you a random item for 5 emeralds. He's also scamming like the wandering trader. Why would I give 5 emeralds for an amethyst cluster? You can find the merchant randomly inside of caves, and he doesn't like llamas at all, so he's kind of like the evil wandering trader. The quest giver will give you a random quest if you right click on him. The thing is, he doesn't actually give you anything for finishing the quest though. He just gives you random quests if you're bored. Yo, what the? The geomancer is kind of like the illager of the earth. He's supposed to make rocks come out of the ground, but I'm too dumb to add that, so I just made him spawn random walls. He can also spawn lava under your feet every time you attack him, which is kind of annoying. And he's also immune to explosions and fall damage, which now that I'm thinking of it, the earth is definitely not immune to explosions, so I don't think he should have that ability. The mage is another new type of illager, who this time shoots balls at you that will make you levitate. The mage also walks with a trail of fire underneath him, and if you kill the mage, you can get an uncraftable potion of nothing. My favorite type of potion. This is the bouldering zombie, who as you can see is slightly bigger than a regular zombie. The bouldering zombie also does more melee damage than a regular zombie does, and it can throw rocks at you from longer range as well. So it's just an annoying zombie basically. But it isn't as annoying as the Herobrine zombie, who spawns in and stalks you in caves, is super fast and scary, and also can only be killed using arrows. No swords against Herobrine. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the scary cave noises that he constantly makes. It's this easy to make Minecraft into a horror game. The scarecrow is not scary, despite scare being in the name. No, it's actually just a zombie with a hay bale for a head. You can find a scarecrow hanging out in villages, and that is because the scarecrow is an ally of the villagers, unlike regular zombies. If for some reason you want to kill the scarecrow, it will drop a hay bale upon death, and you can use this hay bale to make another scarecrow if you have 2 blocks of brown wool. I'm going to be remaking Minecraft mobs into Poppy Playtime 3. The first character I'll make is Catnap, and I'm gonna use a cat. It should be obvious why. First, let's remove this stuff, and we'll rearrange his body parts for now. Now let's change the shape of his body a little bit, and we'll make his legs a bit bigger like this. Now let's give him some arms on the side, and now let's start to shape his head. Next, I'm gonna give him some ears on the top of his head, and we'll start to give him a big tail right here. Alright, now this is looking good, so let's color him in. First, we'll color his body fully purple, and I'm gonna give him a mouth up here. Next, I'm gonna color in this nose piece, and we'll start to give him some eyes. Now let's add the moon that he has on his chest. Next, I'm gonna change his face a little bit like this, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Catnap looks in game. As you can see, this guy looks really happy, which I'm sure means he's very friendly and not at all scary. Catnap is very powerful as he's able to do a lot of damage, and if you get attacked by Catnap, I made it so that he chases you on all fours like this. I take back what I said about him before, he's definitely scary. Catnap has a ranged attack, which is supposed to be him shooting gas, and when Catnap hits you, he will change it to nighttime because he wears the moon pendant. Catnap will also drop this night clock if he dies, which makes it nighttime as long as you are holding it in your hand. If you try to use a bed when Catnap is around, he will destroy the bed so that you cannot sleep, and Catnap is also immune to fall damage because he's a cat, and cats are usually immune to fall damage. Overall, I don't think Catnap turned out that bad, but he also looks a little bit funny. So because of this, I'm going to give Catnap an 8 out of 10. Next, I'll make Dog Day, and I'm gonna use a wolf because a wolf is a dog. First, we'll remove some of the stuff we don't need, and I'm gonna move his body around a little bit for now. Next, let's give him some new legs like this, and we'll change the shape of his body. Now I'm gonna copy one of the legs and turn it into an arm, and I'll give him a hand on the bottom of his arm. Now let's start to change the shape of his head, and we'll give him some spots for his eyes up here. Now let's give him some big floppy ears on the top, and I think this is looking pretty good, so now let's color him in. First, we'll color his entire body in orangish yellow. Now I'm gonna give him a mouth like this. Next, we'll color his ears a reddish color, and we'll do the same for his arms and his feet. Now let's color these divider things a dark gray, and I'm gonna give him a nose like this. Next, let's draw the sun on the front of his chest. Alright, I think this is looking good. Let's add Dog Day to the game. This is how Dog Day looks in game. As you can see, he looks pretty good. Also, just like Catnap, he doesn't really look that scary. He has more of a friendly look. But don't let this trick you though, as Dog Day has the same chasing animation that I gave to Catnap. I think I'm just gonna stay in creative mode for now. Since Dog Day has the sun pendant, I made it so that when Dog Day hits you, he turns it to daytime instead of night. Dog Day is also able to spawn smiling critters to help him fight since he's the leader. But right now, he can only spawn Catnap because I haven't made any of the other ones. If you kill Dog Day, he will drop a Sun Axe, and the Sun Axe is insanely powerful as it does 19 attack damage and it can also destroy almost any block. Overall, I think Dog Day turned out a lot better than Catnap. I actually like how he looks this time. So because of this, I'm going to give Dog Day a 10 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Bobby Bear Hug, and I'll use a polar bear because she's a bear. First, let's get rid of a few things. Next, I'm gonna move these parts around a bit. Now let's give her some new legs, and we'll make her body a lot smaller like this. Next, I'm gonna bend her body a little bit, and I'll just start to give her some arms on the side right here, and we'll just copy this to the other side. Next, I'm gonna start shaping her head, and we'll give her some ears on the top like this. Okay, that looks good. Now it's time to color her in. First, I'm gonna color her body a dark red, and we'll color her feet and hands a light pink. Now let's give her a big mouth like this, and we'll start to add her eyes on the top of the head. Next, let's give her some bright white pupils, and I'm gonna add a few more pink details. Next, let's give her a nose like this, and we'll add the heart that she has on her chest. Alright, I think this looks good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how Bobby Bear Hug looks in game. I don't know why, but she kind of reminds me of Freddy Fazbear. It's probably because they are both bears actually. That would make sense. Unlike Dog Day and Catnap, I decided to make it so that Bobby Bear Hug is passive towards players, and you are actually able to tame her if you feed her raw fish, because I'm pretty sure bears like fish. Once you tame Bobby Bear Hug, she will follow you around, and if you ever get low on health, you can right click her and you will be healed to full health immediately. So she's pretty OP if you think of it. Bobby Bear Hug will also attack any mobs that are fighting you, and she does a ton of melee damage because bears are very powerful in real life. If you kill Bobby Bear Hug, I made her drop a heart, which just gives you a heart when it's right clicked, and overall I don't think Bobby Bear Hug turned out that bad. I actually kind of like this design. So because of this, I decided to give her a 9 out of 10. Next, I'll make Bubba Bubbaphant, and I'm gonna use a Ravager because it kind of looks like an elephant. So first, let's just get rid of all this stuff, and I'm gonna start with Bobby Bear Hug's body. So let's change these ears into more elephant looking ears, and we'll change the nose into a big trunk like this. Next, I'm gonna reshape the heart into the shape of a light bulb, and we'll just change his tail on the back as well. Okay, now this is good. Let's give him some new colors. First, we'll color his body a light blue, and we'll give him the same color on his head. Next, I'm gonna color his feet and hands a darker blue, and we'll put this on the end of his tail as well. Now let's color in the light bulb on his chest, and I'm just gonna add a few more details all around his body, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is how Bubba Bubbaphant looks in game. He looks a lot like Bobby Bear Hug, but to be fair, all the critters kind of look the same when you don't know what their monster form is like. Since Bubba Bubbaphant is an elephant, I decided to give him a ranged attack, which is supposed to be water shooting out of his trunk. He does shoot a lot of water though, so I'm not really sure how he fits it in his trunk. You might have also noticed that Bubba Bubbaphant emits light, and that's because his pendant is a light bulb, so I literally just made him a light bulb. Bubba Bubbaphant also can do a ton of melee damage like Bobby Bear Hug, and this is because an elephant is also a really powerful animal, I'm guessing. If you kill Bubba Bubbaphant, he will drop a light bulb, and the light bulb works just like a torch, except you are not able to place it. It's only meant to be held. Overall, I don't think Bubba Bubbaphant turned out that bad, and because of this, I decided to give him an 8 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Picky Piggy, and I'll use a pig because she's a pig. So first, I'm gonna remove all these pig parts, and we're going to start with Bubba Bubbaphant's body. So let's completely remove the trunk, and we'll start to make the ears a lot more pig-shaped. Next, I'm gonna give her a completely new nose, and I'm gonna change this light bulb into the shape of an apple like this. Now let's remove this tail, and we'll turn it into a spirally tail. Okay, now this is good, so it's time to change her colors. First, I'm gonna color her body light pink, and we'll color her head the same color. Now let's color her nose a darker pink, and we'll use the same color for her hands and her feet. Next, let's color in the apple we put on her chest. Now finally, let's color in the tail, and I think this is looking good. Let's add Picky Piggy to the game. This is how Picky Piggy looks in game. I don't know why, but her face looks a little bit scary. But other than that, she doesn't look that bad, I guess. I don't know, it's just really weird. Similar to Bobby Bear Hug, if you right-click Picky Piggy, she will give you hunger instead of health. And this is good because you no longer need to kill pigs to get food now. Picky Piggy is also really picky according to her name, so I made it so that she attacks regular pigs as she's very particular about what pigs she likes. If you kill Picky Piggy, I made it so that she drops a suspicious apple, and this apple just gives you a couple of potion effects which kinda have me wondering what she did to the apple. Overall, I think Picky Piggy turned out pretty good, but her face just looks a little bit scary. So because of this, I decided to give her a 7 out of 10. Next, I'll make Crafty Corn, and I'm gonna use a horse because that's almost a unicorn. So like usual, we'll remove all this horse stuff, and I'm gonna start from Picky Piggy's body. So let's just change these ears a little bit, and we'll start to give her some hair on the top like this. Next, I'm gonna add her unicorn horn on the top, and we'll change this apple into the shape of a flower. Now let's remove this tail, and we'll make it into a bushier tail like this. Okay, now this is looking good, so let's change her colors. First, we'll color her entire body white, and we'll do the same thing on her head. Now let's color her hair light blue, and we'll color her hands and feet the same color. Next, let's color in the flower that is on her chest, and I'm gonna color her unicorn horn a bit darker than her body, and I think this is looking good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how Crafty Corn looks in game. I will say she's probably one of my favorite non-monster critters right now. Also ignore the particles she's emitting. I just gave them to her because it felt like something she would do. You may have also noticed that every time Crafty Corn moves, a trail of rainbow colored blocks follows her because her pendant is a rainbow flower, so it only makes sense. Another thing you can do is tame Crafty Corn using some wheat, and after you tame Crafty Corn, you are able to ride her similar to a horse. And this honestly looks really cool when it's paired with the rainbow trail that she has. If you kill Crafty Corn, she drops a rainbow sword, which is just a really OP sword that strikes lightning every time you hit something, and it also has a chance of exploding when using it as well. Just ignore the way it looks in my hand though, I don't know how this happened. And overall, I think Crafty Corn is one of my favorite critters so far. So because of this, I decided to give her a 9 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Hoppy Hopscotch, and I'll use a rabbit because she's a rabbit. First, let's remove all these rabbit parts, and I'm gonna start from Bubba Bubbaphant's body because it will be easier. So let's just change these ears into long rabbit ears, and I'm gonna change the light bulb into a lightning bolt like this. Now let's give her a completely different looking tail, and now this is good, so I'm gonna change her colors. First, I'm gonna color her body entirely green, and we'll just do the same thing on her face. Now let's color her hands and feet a bit darker green, and I'm gonna color her tail the same color. Next, I'm gonna add a bit more detail all around her body, and I think this looks pretty good. Let's add her to the game. This is how Hoppy Hopscotch looks in game. She kinda has the same Freddy Fazbear looking face from before, but she still looks pretty good, despite not looking like a bunny. As you can see, Hoppy Hopscotch is really fast, and since she's a bunny, I decided to make it so that she can jump really high as well. And if you want some of this jumping power for yourself, you can right click on Hoppy Hopscotch and you will get jump boost for 30 seconds as well. If Hoppy Hopscotch gets in a fight, she strikes lightning on the enemy because her pendant is a lightning bolt, and if you kill Hoppy Hopscotch, she drops these green boots, which when worn will give you permanent jump boosts just like she has. Overall, I think Hoppy Hopscotch turned out pretty good. I especially like her ears. So because of this, I decided to give her an 8 out of 10. Next, I'll make Kickin' Chicken, and I'm obviously gonna use a chicken. First, I'm gonna remove the chicken like this, and just like the last time, we'll use Bubba Bubbaphant as a base. So let's just get rid of this trunk, and we'll get rid of his ears. Next, I'm gonna make his face a bit bigger like this. Next, I'm gonna change the light bulb into a star. Now let's change his hands into wings, and I'm gonna add the hair that he has on his head right here. Next, I'm gonna give him a new tail like this, and I'm gonna add the beak on his face right here. Okay, now this looks good, so let's start to color him in. First, we'll color his body entirely yellow, and I'm gonna do the same thing on his head. Next, we'll color his feet orange. Now let's color his star a reddish color, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's add Kickin' Chicken to the game. This is how Kickin' Chicken looks in game. This is definitely my least favorite smiling critter, I won't lie. fly, but the fact that he's able to fly makes up for it a little bit. It makes him look more unique. It also gives him this cool flying animation, which doesn't actually look that cool. It looks a little bit weird, actually. If Kickin' Chicken gets in a fight, he does a ton of knockback because he has Kickin' in his name. Also similar to Picky Piggy, Kickin' Chicken also doesn't like regular chickens, but this time it has no reason. He's just a hater, I guess. If you kill Kickin' Chicken, I made it so that he drops a star, and upon right-clicking the star, you will just start levitating in the air until you make it to the stars. And overall, I think Kickin' Chicken doesn't look that good, but I like some of the features that he has. So because of this, I decided to give him a 7 out of 10. I'm going to be remaking Minecraft mobs into the Amazing Digital Circus. The first character I'll make is Pomni, and I'm going to use a villager to make her. First, let's get rid of this stuff because we don't need it. Now let's change the shape of her body, and we'll start shaping her legs. Next, I'm going to give her some arms, and I'll just add a hand on the bottom here. Next, I'm going to change the shape of her head, and let's start to add her hat on the top as well. And I think that's a pretty good body, so now let's start to color her in. First, let's color her head white, and we'll do the same for her arms and legs as well. Now let's color in these yellow parts like this. Next, let's color in her clothes, and I'll make sure to add the blue spots on the other side. Now let's put these buttons that she has on the front of her shirt like this, and now it's time to give her a face. So first, I'm going to add her eyes like this, and I'm also going to give her a strand of hair on each side of her head as well. And I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how Pomni looks in game. She doesn't look that bad. I like how I made her constantly looking around paranoid, just like how she is in the show. We'll just ignore the fact that she's bald on the back of her head though. I'm pretty sure her hat is supposed to cover that. In the show, Pomni throws up on the ground, so I made it so that when she hits you, you get the nausea effect. It is also said that Pomni doesn't like being touched, so I made it so that she runs away from enemies very quickly if she gets attacked. In the show, Pomni tries to escape the circus through a bunch of exit doors, so I made it so that Pomni can open doors by herself, just like a regular villager. Pomni also gets teleported to the void if you right-click her, because I just felt like adding that. I don't really know why. If you kill Pomni, she drops her red hand, which gets glitched in the first episode, so if you hold this hand out for yourself, you get teleported around randomly, sort of like you're glitching. And a fun fact about Pomni is that her favorite food is salmon, so you can also feed Pomni salmon. Overall, I think Pomni turned out pretty good and has a lot of interesting features. So because of this, I decided to give Pomni a 9 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Cain, and I'll use an evoker to make him. First, let's get rid of all this stuff that we don't need, and let's change the shape of his leg and bend it like this. Next, I'm gonna work on his arms, so let's just rotate this piece like this, and we'll give him a hand and copy this over to the other side as well. Next, I'm gonna change his head into the shape of some gums like this, and let's just add some teeth on the top in the same shape as well. Next, I'll give him his top hat on top of the mouth. Okay, now this is looking good, so let's give him some color. First, I'm gonna color his gums bright red, and we'll color the teeth white like this. Next, I'm gonna color in his eyes, and let's color his shirt a pinkish color as well. Okay, now this looks good, so let's just add some detail to his shirt right here, and we'll give him his different color eyeballs as well. Now let's give him his stick, because I forgot to do that. And I think that Cain is looking pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Cain looks in game. He actually looks really good. Also ignore the cakes that are spawning around him. I'll explain that in a second. Since Cain is the host of the Digital Circus, I decided to make it so that Cain is completely invincible to all types of damage except for cactuses. Cain is also seen teleporting throughout the episode, so I made it so that Cain teleports away if he takes too much damage, similar to the TV people in my Skibidi videos. Cain also spawns cake randomly around him, as you can see, because he spawned a cake out of thin air in the first episode. Unfortunately, there is no bubble to eat this cake right now. We'll just have to wait until later for that. If Cain somehow manages to die, he drops a stick, which can be used to either remove any block you right-click on with it, or you can send any mob to the void if you right-click them as well. Overall, I think Cain turned out really good. He's definitely one of my favorite mobs I've made. So because of this, I decided to give Cain a 10 out of 10. He deserves it. The next character I'll make is Jax, and I'm gonna use a rabbit because Jax is a rabbit, I think. First, I'm gonna get rid of some of the stuff we don't need, and let's rearrange his body parts a little bit for now. Next, let's make his legs super tall like this, and we'll change the shape of his body to make it a bit taller as well. Now let's give him a neck like this, and I'll just change the shape of his head to make it a bit more round. Now let's just add his ears on the very top, and now it's time to give Jax some arms. And I think this is good, so let's give Jax some color. First, I'm gonna color his head purple, and we'll do the same for his arms and body as well. Now let's color his overalls a pinkish color, and we'll do the same for his legs like this. Next, I'm gonna color both of his hands a yellowish color, and we'll just give him 2 buttons here, and now it's time to add his face. First, I'm gonna give him a big yellow mouth, and let's just give him some eyes above that. I'm also gonna give him a couple eyebrows above his eyes like this, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Jax looks in game. He honestly looks pretty similar to the actual show. The only difference is that he's obviously made of cubes though, so he could never be as good as the original. It was kind of hard for me to think of features to give Jax, so he only really has a couple. To start, Jax is super tall, as you can see, just like he is in the actual series. And you can also see Jax run away really quickly in the first episode, so I made it so that Jax is super fast in game as well. You can also ride on Jax's back for some reason. I'm not really sure why I added this. It just seems like something that he would be able to do. If you kill Jax, you get a rabbit's foot because he's a rabbit, so that's the less evil version of making him just drop rabbit meat. And overall, I think Jax looks pretty good, but he doesn't really have that many features. So because of this, I decided to give Jax an 8 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Ragatha, and I'm gonna use a witch to make her. First, let's get rid of some of the stuff we don't need, and I'm just gonna make her body a lot smaller for now, and I'll just add a few layers underneath as her dress. Next, I'm gonna give her an arm like this, and I'll just give her a hand on the bottom as well. Now let's copy this over to the other side, and next let's work on her head. First, I'm gonna change the shape of it like this. Next, I'm gonna start adding her hair on the side, and I'll just copy these hairs all around her head, and we'll also add her bow on the top like this. And I think this is a pretty good body, so now let's give her some color. First, I'm gonna color her head and her arms in like this. Next, let's just color her hair a reddish pink color as well. Now let's color her entire dress a purplish color, and we'll color the bow on top slightly darker. Next, I'm gonna add the patches on her dress in the same color as the bow. And now let's add a bit more detail, and we'll start to give her a face. Alright, after like 5 tries, this is the face I'm going with. It still looks weird, but it's the best I'm gonna get. Now finally, let's add a bit of texture, and I think this looks good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how Ragatha looks in game. I definitely think her face looks a little weird. She also makes witch noises, which I'm not really sure if it fits her or not. It's kind of strange. Also, we're just gonna ignore the fact that you can see through her hair. Just pretend the back part here is fully covered. In the show, Ragatha gets attacked and becomes completely glitched out, so I decided to make it so that Ragatha glitches whenever she gets hit, which looks kind of funny more than glitchy. This is also the only feature that Ragatha has because I couldn't really think of anything else. If you kill Ragatha, she drops this red thing from the nether because it was supposed to be her hair, and overall I think Ragatha looks kind of cursed and she doesn't really have any features. So because of this, I'm going to give Ragatha a 6 out of 10. I just made her face look too weird. Next character I'll make is Gangle, and I'll make Gangle from a skeleton because they're both kind of built the same. First, I'm gonna make her head a lot smaller like this, and now let's shape the head into a mask as well, and I think that's good, so let's just work on her left arm like this, and we'll make the right arm similar but rotate it in a different direction. Next, I'm gonna make her legs a lot thinner, and we'll rotate the bottom part a little bit like this. Now let's copy this to the other side, and it's time to color her in. First, I'm gonna draw a red spiral for her body like this, and I'm gonna color her arms and her legs the same color. Now let's add a bit of detail with a slightly lighter red, and next I'm gonna color in her mask, and now finally let's give her a face like this, and we'll also add a little bit more texture to her body as well, and I think that is looking pretty good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how Gangle looks in game. Despite being very simple to make, I think she actually turned out pretty good. I will say that having the arms like this is kind of strange though. They don't really move that much. In the show, Gangle has at least 2 masks, the comedy mask and the tragedy mask, but she falls and breaks her comedy mask at the beginning of the first episode, so I decided to make it so that when Gangle dies, her comedy mask falls and reveals the tragedy mask. You may have also noticed that the comedy mask drops as an item when she dies, and if you decide to wear this comedy mask, you get speed 4 and jump boost 4 because those effects are kind of fun, I guess. The mask is also off-centered when you wear it, but we'll just ignore that. It's the only way I could make it fit. Overall, I think Gangle turned out pretty good, and I think her mask is a cool addition to the game. So because of this, I'm going to give Gangle a 9 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Kinger, and I'll use a snow golem to make him. First, I'm gonna get rid of these layers because we don't need them, and let's make the bottom smaller like this. Now let's add another part on top, and we'll make it way taller as well. Next, I'm gonna copy this part on top, and we'll bend it so he's hunched over a little bit. And now I'm just gonna add a part on the front that is gonna be his coat. Now let's add a piece for his head up here, and we'll add another part on top, and we'll also add the king thing on the very top like this. Next, I'm gonna change his neck area a little bit so that he can have his coat, and this looks pretty good. Now let's color him in. First, I'm gonna color his body a purplish color, and we'll just color in the rest of his coat as well. Now let's color his head slightly darker than his coat. Next, I'm gonna give him an eye, and we'll copy this over to the other side and rotate them a little bit as well. Now let's give him a hand, and we'll color it the same color as his coat. Next, we'll add a little bit of detail to his coat like this, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Kinger looks in game. This guy is honestly a little bit larger than I thought he would be. I also decided to make it so that Kinger sways back and forth quickly, because in the show, he seems to be a little bit on edge. Wait, where did he go? Why is he hiding underneath these randomly colored blocks? Since Kinger seems to be crazy in the show, I decided to make it so that when you right-click Kinger, he shakes really quickly, similar to when he did this in the show. This also makes him look kind of funny if you just spam it. If you kill Kinger, I made it so that he drops 1 scaffolding, and you might be wondering why I chose this random item, and it's because it has a checkerboard pattern on it, and Kinger is a chess piece. Overall, I don't think Kinger looks that bad, but he's also not the best looking mob. So because of this, I decided to give Kinger a 7 out of 10. The next character I'll make is Zooble, and I'll use a blaze to make them because they both have a bunch of body parts. First, let's remove all these because we don't don't need them. And I'm just gonna make the first leg like this, and we'll just add this hook shape on the bottom of the right leg, and we'll also add a spiral on the top. Next, I'm gonna give Zooble a body, and we'll just copy the spiral for their neck as well. Next, I'm gonna work on making a triangle shape for the head, and I'm also gonna add a left arm like this, and we'll also make a right arm that has a lot less spirals. Now I'm gonna color Zooble in, so first let's color the body yellowish, and we'll color Zooble's head in pink. Next, I'm gonna color the rest of the body a bunch of different colors. Now let's add some spots on Zooble's body like this, and now I'm gonna add a few more parts on the body that I missed, and I think that looks good. So now let's just add their eyes like this, and we'll also add this zigzag thing that comes off the top of their head as well. Now let's add the Y on the other part of the head, and we'll give it some stripes as well, and I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how Zooble looks in game. This is how Zooble looks in game. I'm honestly kind of surprised that I was able to make them look good with all the different pieces. I will say the blaze noises are really annoying though. I definitely should have removed them. But other than that, this actually did turn out pretty good. In the show, Zooble gets broken into a bunch of pieces, so I decided to make it so that when you kill Zooble, it breaks them into a bunch of pieces as well. Ignore the fact that they're able to stand back up. You also might have noticed that Zooble drops a Zooble head when they die, and you might be wondering what the Zooble head does. No, you are not able to wear it. Instead, you can eat the Zooble head and you will gain bad luck for a minute. This is because Zooble seems kinda unlucky in the first episode. Overall, I think Zooble turned out a lot better than I thought they would, so because of this, I decided to give Zooble an 8 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Bubble, and I'll use a Vex because I made Cain from an Evoker. First, I'm gonna get rid of all this Vex stuff, and I'm just gonna generate a circle like this. Now let's color this circle a purplish color, and I'm gonna rotate this circle a bunch of different times until we have a bubble. Next, I'm gonna remove some pieces like this so we have some teeth, and let's just color these teeth white so we can see them. Next, I'm gonna add an eye on the side, and we'll color it reddish brown. And now let's just copy this to the other side, and I think that looks good. Let's see how Bubble looks in game. This is how Bubble looks in game. This is probably the least Minecrafty looking mob I've ever made. The teeth still look Minecrafty though. I didn't really add that much detail to them. Since Bubble is supposed to be Cain's sidekick, I decided to make it so that when you right click Cain, he spawns in Bubble, similar to how the actual Evoker spawns Vexes. Bubble is also seen licking stuff in the show, so I decided to make it so that you get licked by Bubble if he attacks you as well. If you kill Bubble, he has a popping animation, which actually looks kinda cool. And you might have noticed that he drops an ender pearl, and that's just because it's the same shape as a bubble. That's really it. Overall, I don't think Bubble looks that bad, but he's a little bit weird compared to my regular mobs. So because of this, I'm going to give Bubble a 7 out of 10. I'm going to be remaking Minecraft mobs into Garten of Banban 6. The first character I'll make is Sir Dadadoo, and I'm gonna use a Ravager because they're both big and scary. First, let's remove all the stuff we don't need, and we'll start to make the shape of his body. Now let's start giving him an arm on the side. Next, I'm gonna start to give him a head, and I think this is good. So now let's start to add some color. First, I'm gonna color his body fully light gray. Now let's color his hands the same color as his head, and now we'll just give him some teeth on the bottom like this. Now finally, let's start to give him a tie, and I think this is looking good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Sir Dadadoo looks in game. He definitely looks pretty scary. He also kind of looks like he's from Monsters Inc. Does anyone else see that? It's probably just the tie that he's wearing. It makes him look like he's ready for work. Since Sir Dadadoo kind of looks like a slug, I decided to make it so that he walks very slowly. But don't let this trick you though, because just like in the actual game, Sir Dadadoo is able to move very quickly if he's attacking you. And if you get hit by Sir Dadadoo, he will give you all these potion effects, because in the game, he possesses some of the other monsters, so this is kind of the same thing. Subscribe or Sir Dadadoo will possess you. If you manage to kill Sir Dadadoo, he drops a Dadadoo tooth, which does the same thing as his attack does. It possesses things. And overall, I think Sir Dadadoo turned out really good. He looks a lot like the actual monster. So because of this, I decided to give Sir Dadadoo a 10 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make the nanny, and I'll use a pig because the nanny is either a pig or a cow, but I don't know which. So first, let's get rid of these back legs. Now let's start to shape the body like this. Now let's make these legs a lot bigger. Now let's change the shape of her head a little bit, and we'll just give her some floppy ears like this. And I think this is looking good, so now let's color her in. First, I'm gonna color her body a grayish blue color. Now let's color her legs a little bit darker. Now let's color her nose blue, and we'll give her some bright yellow eyes like this. Now let's give her a blue mouth as well, and I think this is looking good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how the nanny looks in game. I still can't tell if she's supposed to be a pig or a cow. Come on guys, which one is it? You have to tell me. Okay, I don't think they know either. In the game, the nanny is seen lurking in one of the first rooms before jump scaring the player, so I decided to make it so that the nanny is mainly found in dark areas as well. The nanny also moves quite slowly, similar to Sir Dadadoo, because this is how she's seen moving at first. But don't let this trick you again, because the nanny attacks you super quickly if you get too close, similar to her jump scare. I decided to make it so that if you kill the nanny, she drops a pork chop, and the reason I did that is because she looks like a pig. I'm sorry if she's a cow, I seriously can't tell. And overall, I think the nanny looks pretty good in game, but her body design just looks a little bit boring. game. So because of this, I'm going to give the nanny an 8 out of 10. The next character I'll make is Syringeon, and I'm gonna use a sniffer to make him because they both start with S. First, I'm gonna remove all the stuff we don't need, and I'm gonna turn his legs into feet like this, and we'll add a leg on top of the feet as well. Now let's start to add his neck like this, and we'll add his head on the top of his neck as well. Now let's start to give him some arms, and now we're gonna start coloring him in. First, I'm gonna color his entire body a bright pink color, and now let's give him a mouth like this, and we'll also start to give him some eyes on the top. Next, I'm gonna add his surgeon tools that he has on each of his hands, and I think this is looking good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Syringeon looks in game. This guy doesn't look that bad. I don't really know why he's turning like this though. This is definitely a problem. But other than that, Syringeon looks good. I especially like his face. It looks kind of funny. In the game, Syringeon is referred to as the surgeon, so I decided to make it so that he does surgery on you when he hits you. Okay, it's not actually surgery. He just freezes you and starts taking your hearts. I don't know how to make this guy an actual surgeon. Something I also just noticed is that Syringeon's arms aren't actually supposed to be in the air like this. His picture on the wall deceived me. If you kill Syringeon, he drops a beetroot, and the only reason I made him drop this random item is because it looks like a heart, and he is the surgeon. Overall, I don't think Syringeon turned out that bad, but there are a few things that are kind of weird. So because of this, I decided to give him an 8 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make the naughty ones. And I'll use an endermite to make them because they're both kind of the same. So let's remove a few pieces like this. Next, I'm gonna change the shape of his body a little bit, and we'll give him a head on the top of his body. Now let's rotate the bottom of his body like this, and we'll start to give him a tail on the back right here. Next, I'm gonna add some ears on the top of his head. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Now it's time to give him some color. First, let's color his body this bluish color, and we'll color the inside of his ears purple. Now let's color his teeth bright white, and I'll actually change the color of his body because it's not supposed to be dark like this. Alright, I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how the naughty ones look in game. Honestly, they pretty much look exactly the same as they do in game. The only thing that's really different is that we are seeing them in the light, which I'm not sure if that is even possible. The naughty ones are incredibly fast, as you can see, and this makes them actually pretty scary. Well, I don't know about scary, but they're sort of like a buff silverfish. The naughty ones also won't attack you when there's light around, but if you run into one of these guys in a cave, then you might be in trouble. I also gave the naughty ones a jumping attack animation, which is supposed to be like their jump scare, and if you manage to kill these guys, they drop an amethyst shard, and I don't really know why. I just picked it because it's purple. Overall, I think the naughty ones turned out exactly how they should have, so because of this, I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10 as well. The next character I'll make is Kittysaurus, and I'm gonna use a cat to make her because she is partially a cat. First, let's get rid of these legs, and we'll move these body parts and change the shape of her body. Next, we'll start to give her some feet down here, and we'll add some legs on top as well. Next, I'm gonna change the shape of her head as well. Next, I'm gonna give her some T-Rex arms like this, and I think this is looking pretty good. Now let's add some color. First, I'm gonna color her body an orangish color. Now let's color her feet white, and let's give her some teeth as well, and I think this is looking good. Let's see how she looks in game. This is how Kittysaurus looks in game. As you can see, she is massive. She also kind of looks more like a dog than a cat, but I guess that's fine. She still looks scary either way. Similar to the naughty ones, Kittysaurus is also incredibly fast, which makes it basically impossible to escape her. Fortunately, this is Garten of Banban 6 though, so we don't have to worry about her attacking us. Since Kittysaurus is part cat, I decided to make it so that you can tame her, and I decided to make it so that you tame her with rotten flesh because it just seems like an item that would be used to tame her. If you tame Kittysaurus, you are also able to ride her, although I'm not really sure if this is the right place to be riding on top of her, but it's still better than some of the mobs I've made, I guess. Overall, I think Kittysaurus looks pretty good, but she also looks a little bit like a dog. So because of this, I decided to give her a 9 out of 10. Next, I'm gonna make Bittergiggle, and I'll use a pillager to make him. First, let's remove some of the stuff we don't need, and we'll change the shape of his legs, and we'll also change his arms. Now let's start to shape his head a little bit like this, and we'll just color his body fully green for now. Next, I'm gonna split his body into two colors by making this side purple. Now let's add these spots on the purple side of his body like this. Next, I'm gonna give him a mouth like this. Now finally, let's give him some eyes, and I think this is good. Let's add Bittergiggle to the game. This is how Bittergiggle looks in game. I will say this is not one of my best mobs, but he is a pretty difficult character to make, as he has a lot of random parts extruding out of him for no reason. In the game, Bittergiggle tries to fight Sir Dadadoo, so I made it so that they fight in Minecraft as well, although it's pretty much the same outcome. There's no way Bittergiggle will beat Sir Dadadoo. If you right-click on Bittergiggle, I gave him a laughing animation because he likes to tell jokes, and right-clicking him also gives him a random chance to tell a joke as well. I sure hope nothing bad happens because of that. If you kill Bittergiggle, he drops a clownfish because he's funny, and clowns are supposed to be funny, and overall I think Bittergiggle isn't the best looking mob, but I do like some of his features. So because of this, I'm going to give Bittergiggle a 7 out of 10. Next, I made Tartabird, and I made him from a horse. You'll see why. I got rid of all this stuff, colored him blue, and then I added his wings. I added Tartabird to the game game and he actually looked pretty good, but I think there is something wrong with him. Yeah, for some reason he's kind of dirty and water isn't fixing it. I figured out how to fix this and he was actually looking really good, except for this one spot on his beak, but we'll ignore it. I decided to spawn a baby Tardigrade and this is what he looked like. I like how he just follows the big one around just like in the game. You're even able to put him on the big one's back as well. Oh wait, I guess he hasn't tamed him yet. In the actual game, you have to ride Tardigrade, so I decided to try that for myself. Why does he keep doing that when he kicks me off? It looks really weird. I'm honestly surprised with how perfect this looks. I mean, the legs look a little bit weird, but this looks really good. I'm even able to make Tardigrade jump. This is insane. I decided to give Tardigrade a 10 out of 10. Honestly, there was nothing bad about him at all. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Nabnaleena. I decided to make Nabnaleena from an iron golem. I colored her fully black, gave her a mouth, and finally I added her arms. Nabnaleena looks really good in game as well. The arms look kind of weird, but I think she's just asserting dominance. It's fine. Also, the legs are missing texture, but you didn't see that. This never happened. In the game, you have to inject Nabnaleena with some kind of chemicals to make her come to life, so I decided to try that in game. Yeah, she doesn't seem to be drinking it. I guess she isn't thirsty. Nabnaleena honestly looks pretty strong, so let's see if she can take out some pillagers. Okay, the pillagers don't really have a chance. They're getting destroyed. Yeah, Nabnaleena didn't take any damage, but we'll give her an iron ingot anyway. She deserves it. There isn't much to do with Nabnaleena, so I decided to make her ride Tardigrade. Okay, I might have done that backwards, but honestly this is better. Tardigrade's legs probably needed a break anyway, although I'm not sure if Nabnaleena is able to see anymore. I decided to give Nabnaleena a 9 out of 10. It would have been a 10, but I can't look past the bra pose. It's too cursed. Next, I made Hijacked Banban. I made him from a zombie. I changed the shape of his body, colored him red, and then I gave him some eyes. After that, I added his mouth, gave him some horns, and added his feet. I added Hijacked Banban to the game, and he was honestly looking pretty scary. He also looks like Venom. Or maybe that's just me. I always say things like this, and then they look nothing like it. Let's spawn a baby Banban. This guy's kind of fast. This would actually be scary if it was the real zombie. I decided to spawn a real Banban, and then I tested which one of them is the best Banban. Banban has a sword, so he probably wins this. Yeah, Hijacked Banban didn't stand a chance. Banban destroyed him. I spawned an army of hijacked Banbans, and then I decided to get chased by them. Okay, he's not really that scary when he chases you at 0.1 miles per hour. The babies look kinda crazy though. I decided to give Hijacked Banban a 9 out of 10. He looks really good. I'm just disappointed that he lost to real Banban. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Tomataki and Chamataki. I hope that's how you say it. For these guys I used a wolf. First I made their shell, and then I added the chameleon. I forgot which one he is. And after that I added the other guy. I added them to the game and they honestly didn't look the best, yet somehow this one took me the longest to make. They're also not really the right size. I'm pretty sure these guys are huge in the game, but I mean it doesn't look that bad, right? I decided to spawn a baby one of them and it just made it even worse. Now they are microscopic. In the game, Chamataki attacks you with his tongue and I'm not really sure how to make that in Minecraft, so instead I decided to feed him some steak because I'm guessing he uses his tongue while eating. Tomataki shoots cyan balls from his mouth, so yeah. They can't be making that sound. I feel bad. I decided to tame one of these guys and then I made them fight a hijacked Banban. Okay, Banban lost again. He can't keep taking L's like this. I decided to give Tomataki and Chamataki a 5 out of 10. They just look kinda bad. That's all. It's time for the next mob. Next I decided to make Mr. Kebab Man. And I made him from an Enderman because they're kinda built the same. I deleted everything, colored him gray, and then I gave him some arms. After that I added his eyes, put the bandage thing on the back, and gave him his party hats. I added Mr. Kebab Man to the game and he honestly wasn't looking that bad. I mean, I don't know if he was looking good, but he's definitely not bad. I like how when he walks, he actually looks good because I removed the legs. In the game, Mr. Kebab Man is supposed to mimic Banban, so I decided to see if he can take out Hijacked Banban as well. Come on, Hijacked Banban, you got this one. No more L's. Okay, I'm done with Hijacked Banban. He's never winning a fight. I decided to visit the end to find more Mr. Kebab Mans, and then I did what I always do. It's kinda scary how they just like hover to me. I think I made a little too many of them angry. I decided to give Mr. Kebab Man a 7 out of 10. He doesn't look that bad, but he also doesn't look that good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Stinger Flynn. I decided to make him from an Elder Guardian. I removed all this stuff, colored him orange, and then I added the spot around his eye. Next I added his eye, gave him some legs, and then extended the legs out a bit. Stinger Flynn actually looks pretty good this time around. He's a lot better than the old one I had. He is also a lot bigger because apparently Stinger Flynn isn't tiny. Since Stinger Flynn is jumping around like this, I decided to spawn him in the water. Bro was just going crazy on the squids. What did the squids do to him? He honestly looks pretty good in the water. There is one one thing wrong though. His legs are definitely supposed to move, but I don't really know how to do that, so it's fine. Stinger Flynn was driving when they were all going to the beach, so I decided to see if he can drive a car. Okay, I don't really think he's able to drive the car. He's not moving. He's also way bigger than the car. You can't even really see it. He doesn't really want to get in a boat either. I guess this guy doesn't like vehicles. In the game, you also get to play as Stinger Flynn, so I decided to give that one a try. He's kind of just vibing. Not much is really getting done. This is boring. I decided to give Stinger Flynn a 9 out of 10. If his legs moved, it would be a 10, but unfortunately, that's never gonna happen. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Queen Bouncelia. I used a Hoglin to make her. I colored her body purple, gave her a face, and then added her wand. I added her to the game, and her head was looking kind of broken, so I decided to fix that. Okay, that's still a little messed up, but it's good enough. Also, her feet are both on the same leg, but I'm not fixing that. Only one fix per mob. Since Queen Bouncelia was made from a Hoglin, I decided to go find her in the Nether. I'm not usually a fan of these guys because they like to hit you from far away, but I guess for Queen Bouncelia, I'll make an exception. I decided to spawn an army of Queen Bouncelias, and then I made them all chase me. Hopefully this doesn't happen in the actual game, because these guys are kind of scary. Also, their legs look kind of funny. I'm going to give Queen Bouncelia an 8 out of 10. Other than the broken stuff, she looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made an Opilichick. I used a parrot to make the Opilichick, and I decided to make the shiny one, or whatever you would call it. You probably wouldn't call it shiny, it's not a Pokemon. The Opilichicks are so tiny in game, and they actually kind of sound like the chicks from the actual game. I'm pretty sure dodo birds can't fly, so that's kind of a problem, but other than that, they look great. In the game, you have to abduct all the Opilichicks and move them to their beds, so I decided to try that in Minecraft as well. What? Who is this? Where did the Opilichick go? That was interesting, but I mean it worked. I can also spawn a baby Opilibird, and it kind of looks like the default Opilichick texture. Although this one isn't as cool, all I can really do is feed it a bunch of seeds. Oh, that's not an Opilichick anymore. In Garden of Banban 2, there are 6 Opilichicks, and in the first game, you feed Opilibird 6 eggs, so there's definitely some interesting birth methods going on there, so let's test to see if this is true. Wait, it actually worked. I decided to give the Opilichick a 10 out of 10. Overall, it looks really good, and you are even able to keep one of these as a pet. Wait, my bad, Opilibird, I didn't know. Next, I'm going to make Slow Celine. Since Slow is literally in her name, I made her from a turtle. I gave her a big green shell, added her long neck, and then I gave her some bright white teeth. After that, I added her 2 large eyes, and I drew a swirl on each side of her shell. I think she turned out pretty good. The eyes and the mouth are really creepy, just like in the actual game. Let's see a baby Slow Celine. I like how it's just a really small version of the regular one. In the actual game, Slow Celine chases you down a hallway, so I decided to add that as well. Okay, this is actually kind of scary. She's just slowly approaching. She is also not looking away, so I guess I have to keep standing still. Because I made Slow Celine from a turtle, I can also put her in the water and she will be fine. Okay, she's not really that slow anymore. Imagine going to the beach and there was just a massive snail swimming around in the water. Probably happens in Florida. I decided to give Slow Celine a 9 out of 10. She looks really good in game, but she's kind of boring in general. It's time for the next mob. In the game, there are 7 different Fiddles crew members, so I made all of those next. I used a Strider to make them all, and first I made brown Fiddles. This is the actual color used in the game. I don't really know how this is brown. Next, I made Cyan Fiddles, and there is a giant version of him in the game, but I don't know how to make that, so instead I just made a giant stack of Cyan Fiddles. I'm sure the ones on the top are fine. Next, I made Emerald Fiddles, and this is him in game, and then I made Orange Fiddles. Orange Fiddles only has 1 tooth. I wonder what happened to the other one. Pink Fiddles has 2 teeth, and apparently he is dead in the game, so I'm just gonna have to. Next, I made Red Fiddles, and he is my favorite because his eyes just stay like this forever. Like, how is he able to see anything? Here's me riding a Red Fiddles as well. He honestly looks better than the actual Strider. The last Fiddles is Yellow Fiddles, who apparently has a pirate-like appearance because of his missing eye. So cause of this, I am kidnapping him in a boat. I'm going to give the Fiddles a 63 out of 10. There's 7 of them, so they get 7x the score. Next, I made Sheriff Toadster. I made him a frog because that's probably what he is. I changed the shape of his body, colored him the same color as the McDonald's villain, and made his weird-shaped head. Next, I added his teeth, and I gave him his badge on his chest. Finally, I colored in his belly and gave him him this little hat on top of his eye. I'm not gonna lie, he doesn't really look like he's smiling. Instead, he looks like the bully from Arthur. His arms are also completely broken. I'm pretty sure I attached them to his legs. Sheriff Toadster probably fights crime, so I'm going to steal No Pillow Chick in front of him and see what he does. He doesn't appear to be doing too much. He is jumping really high though. He definitely made it through police training. Maybe an army of Toadsters will stop me. I already knew they wouldn't. I don't know why I did this. Oh, I guess Sheriff Toadster is hungry. I'm going to give Sheriff Toadster a 7 out of 10. He looks kind of weird, honestly. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Nab Nab. I made Nab Nab from a spider because he kind of looks like a spider. I gave him some long legs and arms, changed the shape of his body, and then I colored him fully blue. After that, I gave him some teeth, then I added his tongue, and finally I gave him 3 eyes. Okay, I don't think his legs are supposed to look like that. I fixed his legs, and then he looked a lot better in game. Well, I don't know about better, but putting him sideways actually makes him look scary. In the game, you get chased by Nab Nab, so I decided to try that in Minecraft. Yeah, this is definitely not something you want chasing you. It just looks so weird because in the actual game, he's on the roof and not on the ground. Nab Nab is also supposed to have a birthday hat, and I didn't even notice, so we'll just pretend I added a hat. Also, if you can't tell, Nab Nab is Ban Ban spelt backwards, so because of that, you should eat Dirkbus. But I decided to get Sheriff Toadster to lock him up for good. He sure won't be escaping this jail, especially not through the vents. I decided to give Nab Nab a 6 out of 10. He looks kinda cursed. I'm sorry, Nab Nab, I meant 10, I swear. Next, I decided to make Zolphius. I don't know what Zolphius is, but he's big, so I made him from a ghast. Zolphius is just a circle with a face that looks like it was drawn by a 1-year-old, so I decided to do that. The only difference is I'm not 1 years old, I think. I added Zolphius to the game, and it kinda reminds me of when I made Ambush. They look very similar. I would have to say that Zolphius is scarier though. It's something about the amazing art skill required to make his face. I decided to visit the Nether to find a wild Zolphius. He kinda looks like a ping pong paddle, so let's see who will win a game of ping pong, me or Zolphius. I don't think he wanted to play. I wonder what it will look like if I fill the whole sky with Zolphiuses. Yeah, this is a pretty good Minecraft experience. I literally cannot hear anything. I'm going to give Zolphius an 8 out of 10. He's a big flying drawing. How bad could he be? It's time for the next mob. Next, I'm making Mini Josh. It is unknown if Mini Josh will be hostile, but I'm assuming he is, so I made him from a silverfish because they are small and hostile. I deleted all of these things, added his legs, made his body bigger, and then I gave him some arms. After that, I added his head, colored him fully green, and then I added his eyes. Mini Josh looks like he's sad, so I gave him a sad mouth, and then I added him to the game. I was surprised with how he looks in game. All this waddling looks pretty weird. Also, none of his body parts move, which makes him look pretty bad. I decided to spawn Mini Josh with Jumbo Josh, and what happened next was shocking. I'm just kidding, you probably expected this. Next, I spawned an army of Mini Joshes, and then I made them fight Jumbo Josh. This is like a Mr. Beast video, 100 kids versus 1 adult. Mini Joshes could actually win this one, there's a lot of them. Never mind, Jumbo Josh seems to be invincible. I decided to give Mini Josh a 5 out of 10, he's kinda missing a lot of things, like moving arms and legs. It's time for the next mob. You're probably wondering where Jumbo Josh came from. I used the Warden to make Jumbo Josh, and I gave him a big head, a creepy mouth, and then I added some green texture all around him. Jumbo Josh is massive in game, and he actually looks really good as the Warden. Jumbo Josh also tells kids to eat fruits and vegetables to become strong like him, but honestly, I wouldn't let him near your kids. I went to the deep dark to see Jumbo Josh emerge from the ground, and then I fed him some fruit and vegetables like he says. Unfortunately, Jumbo Josh didn't want to eat the food, and instead he wanted to eat me. I would say that I killed him to try and make myself look cool, but let's be honest, we all know what happened. I'm going to give Jumbo Josh a 10 out of 10, and that has nothing to do with him holding me hostage. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Ban Ban. I made Ban Ban from a wither skeleton. I colored him fully red, gave him some eyes and a mouth, and then I added his big tongue. I then gave him his birthday hats on his head, and finally I changed his arms a little bit. Apparently changing his arms a little bit didn't matter though, because they fully disappeared in the game. Oh wait, they're inside of him. I decided to fix his arms, and this is how Ban Ban looks in game. I decided to visit the Nether to try and find Ban Ban myself. Ignore the Netherrack, I don't know how this got here. When you think of it, Ban Ban is a devil, so he's supposed to be in the Nether. Wait guys, I was just kidding, I didn't say that. To make things a little more cursed, I decided to replace all the heads on the Wither with the Ban Ban heads. Now let's see who will win, the Ban Ban, Wither, or Jumbo Josh. Why is Jumbo Josh not fighting back? Okay, now he's going crazy. Alright, Jumbo Josh couldn't do anything, Ban Ban was flying. I decided to give Banban a 6 out of 10, he doesn't look that great. It's time for the next mob. Next, let's make Banbaleena. I used a wither skeleton for Banban, so I made Banbaleena from a skeleton. I copy-pasted all of Banban's body parts onto her, and then I colored her fully white. Next, I gave her some eyes and drew her mouth, and then finally I added her pink bow on her horn thing. I forgot Banbaleena also had a problem with her arms, so I had to fix it again. This is how Banbaleena looks in game. She kinda looks like a weird bunny. I then spawned a Banbaleena army and made them fight Jumbo Josh. Okay, they're all just fighting each other. Yeah, Jumbo Josh wins this easily. Banbaleena is cool, but look at me spawning a bunch of crows. I then made Banban fight Banbaleena to see who would win. I'm sorry, Banbaleena, I kind of already knew what would happen. I decided to give Banbaleena a 5 out of 10. It's not because I don't like her, it's just because I don't like her. Next, I made Opilabird. I used a chicken to make Opilabird, and I gave her a long neck, some purple wings, and a yellow beak. I then added these creepy looking eyes to her and added her to the game. Opilabird actually looks pretty good as well, but the baby, not so much. At least I don't have to worry about her chasing me though, because she's a chicken. Well, she'll chase me, but she's not gonna do anything, I think. In the game, Opilabird is supposed to fall into the ball pit, so I decided to test if she would survive a massive fall in Minecraft. She made it to the ground without taking damage. There is a minigame where you have to feed Opilabird 6 eggs, so I added that to the game as well. Kind of. I tried to swap Jumbo Josh and Opilabird's textures around to make a joke, but this just happened. Opilabird says laughter is the best medicine, so I'm asking you to laugh at that joke. Do it for her, not for me. I decided to give Opilabird an 8 out of 10 because she can't harm me for my opinion. Okay, really? Next, I made Captain Fiddles. I made Captain Fiddles from a Strider. First, I shrunk his legs and made his body smaller. Next, I colored him fully blue and I gave him a mouth and some eyes. Then finally, I added some arms and some hands. Captain Fiddles actually looks pretty good in game, other than the fact that his legs aren't attached. Also, he's a really good method of transportation. Okay, well, he's not that good. He's kind of slow, honestly. You can even spawn a baby Captain Fiddles for whatever reason. His legs are even more broken, but it's fine. It is said that Captain Fiddles is known for his love of music, so I decided to play a song for him. This was really bad. It's supposed to be the Rickroll song. Sorry. To test if Captain Fiddles is a real captain, I decided to give him control of a boat. I'm going to give Captain Fiddles a 9 out of 10 because there isn't that much wrong with him. I added every monster from Rainbow Friends Chapter 2 to Minecraft. First, I made Cyan, and I used a Ravager because they look exactly the same. I removed this stuff, colored her cyan, and gave her some eyes. I added Cyan to the game, and she was actually looking pretty good. Oh wait, she's attacking all the villagers. I don't really want her to be doing that. That also made me notice that her legs look really bad when she's running, but other than that, she looks fine. She also has a really big shadow. That looks kind of funny. In the game, you get chased by Cyan, so I decided to see how that looks in Minecraft. Cyan is really fast in the actual game, and she's also pretty fast in Minecraft too, so that's pretty accurate. Okay, this is actually kind of scary. She looks really hungry. Oh wow, she also does a lot of damage. I can't let her hit me again. That would be bad. Since Cyan does so much damage, I decided to see if she can beat an iron golem in a fight. Okay, I don't even have to use the stick. They're already mad. Come on, Cyan. You can beat this guy easily. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. It looks like the iron golem can beat Cyan easily. Oh wait, why did she drop a saddle? That's kind of weird. I decided to give Cyan a 9 out of 10. She looks really good, and her chase in Minecraft is really accurate. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Yellow, and I decided to use a Hoglin to make him. I shrunk his whole body, colored him yellow, and gave him his propeller thing on his back. I added Yellow to the game, and I can't really tell if he looks good or bad. To be fair, Yellow is quite hard to make, so this honestly doesn't look that bad. He also has a big shadow just like Cyan. That's really weird. Since Hoglins can't live in the overworld, I decided to go to the Nether to find a wild yellow. Okay, here's a group of yellows that I definitely didn't spawn in. I found them naturally. Oh yeah, there's also a baby yellow, but I think something is wrong with him. Let me know in the comments if you can tell what's wrong with him. It's kind of hard to see. Since yellow is supposed to be able to fly, I decided to see if I can make yellow fly in Minecraft as well. Okay, now you might think hoglins can't fly, but there's actually a secret in Minecraft where if you look at the ground for 3 seconds and then look all the way up as fast as you can make all the hoglins start to fly. It's definitely not a command, it's just a secret feature. I decided to give Yellow an 8 out of 10. He doesn't look that bad, he's just really hard to make. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Pink, and I made Pink from a zombie. I bent his legs, colored him pink, and gave him some eyes. Finally I colored in his eyes, gave him a mouth, and then I added some small cheeks. I added Pink to the game and he was burning. Okay, I should probably fix that. When Pink is not burning, he actually looks pretty good. There is a slight problem with his legs, they aren't really connected, but other than that, I'm not seeing anything wrong with him. Since Pink was supposed to be added to the game, I decided to make him battle Cyan and Yellow to get a spot in the game. First, we'll do Cyan versus Pink. Okay, that was kind of embarrassing. I don't think he even hit her. What about Yellow versus Pink? Okay, this fight is actually looking a little close. And Pink still died. I guess we know why he was benched from both chapters. I decided to spawn a baby Pink to see what he looks like, and he looked about the same as the big one. I will say the baby one runs a lot faster than the big one though. This guy is going crazy. I decided to give Pink a 9 out of 10. He honestly turned out pretty good, other than his legs. That's the only problem. It's time for the next mob. Next we'll make Orange, and we will make him from a wolf. Let's change the shape of his tail, and we'll rotate his body. Now let's give him some arms, and we'll give him some teeth. Okay, these are way too big. That looks better. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys see the problem here. That should be good enough. Okay, his head definitely does not work though. I guess wolves bend their head a lot. Let's spawn a baby Orange. It's the same thing with a bigger head. Let's try to tame Orange. Yeah, this is perfectly normal. Nothing is wrong here. Now he just has a big red square and his tail is broken. Let's spawn an army of oranges, and let's see them take down a skeleton. Okay, the skeleton got eaten in like 2 seconds. Come on, Orange, take down the warden. Oh no, that was fast. Alright, I'm going to give Orange a 6 out of 10. He was kinda cursed. It's time for the next mob. Next, we are going to make Purple, and we are going to make him from a frog. Let's delete all this stuff, and we'll change the shape of his body. Now let's color him purple. Now let's extend out his head, and we'll make it a little bit round. Now finally, let's give him some eyes, and we'll add some black pupils inside. Out of all the mobs to break, somehow this one isn't broken. Surprisingly, I think he looks really good. Okay, these vines need to get out of the way. What about a baby Purple? Oh yeah, frogs don't have babies. Let's see Purple eat this slime. Never mind, he's not hungry. Oh, never mind, he just attacked him. He looks so weird when he's swimming. Let's spawn an army of Purples. Wow, Purple jumps so high. The noise they make is really interesting. Let's see if Purple can take down Orange. Okay, I don't think Purple knows how to fight. Let's spawn a bunch of slimes. Okay, they're all too big. I love how there's no animation. The slime just travels to their mouth. Alright, I'm going to give Purple a 10 out of 10. I thought he looked really funny. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Red, and we are going to make him from a Strider. Let's remove his hair, and we'll shrink his body. Now let's make him a bit shorter, and we'll color his head red, and let's color his pupils black, and finally we'll give him a couple shoes, and I think that looks good. Let's see him in game. Okay, something is definitely wrong with his legs, but other than that, I think he looks good. Oh god, why does it take so long for his legs to turn? Let's go to the Nether, and here we have a Red walking on some lava. Okay, seriously, what happened to his legs? It's like they're backwards or something. I mean, now they're on the right side, but somehow that made it worse. Okay, that's close enough. We're just gonna ignore that. Let's ride a Red. Wait, this is the wrong fishing rod. Okay, this looks weird like it usually does. Let's see a baby Red. Okay, baby Red just has no legs. Let's spawn an army of Reds. Okay, Red army, follow me. Isn't this weird? Because Red is supposed to tell me what to do. Alright, I'm going to give Red an 8 out of 10. He looked pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next, we will make Green, and we will make him from the Warden. Let's shrink his body and head. Now let's color him fully green, and we'll color the back of his mouth black. Next, let's give him a bunch of white teeth, and we'll copy these to the top. Next, we'll extend out his eyes, and we'll make his eyes circular. Now, finally, let's draw his pupils, and that looks good. Let's see it in game. I don't know how I feel about this one. There's something about the way he moves that is very terrifying. He's also very tall. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I'm not going to lie, he kind of looks like a cactus monster. Let's find Green in the deep dark. Of course, we have to see him emerge from the ground. I'm not gonna lie, that might be scarier than the Warden. I wonder how this thing looks when it's angry. We'll give him a sheep that he can't hit. I'm sorry, sheep. Okay, that wasn't that cool. Let's spawn an army of greens, and let's see if the Flash can beat them. Oh, he's running at him. Yeah, the Flash will not win that. I give the green rainbow friend a 10 out of 10. He's honestly scarier than the Warden. It's time for the next mob. Next, we are going to make Blue, and we are going to make him from an iron golem. Let's make his arms a bit smaller, and we'll do the same for his legs. Now let's change the shape of his body, and we'll color him fully blue. Now let's add his crown, and we'll color it yellow. Next, we'll add the spiky parts on top, and we'll add his eyes, and let's put the circle inside this one, and we'll add the X to the other one. Now let's draw his mouth, and we'll put the drool on the side, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. That looks pretty good, I think. Let's see if Blue can beat Gordon Ramsay easily. Let's see if Blue can beat Thor and Gordon Ramsay. Still too easy. Let's see if Blue can beat Sully. Yeah, Blue literally had no chance. Let's spawn an army of blues. Oh no. Oh god, this is bad. I think I spawned a little too many. There's so many of them, they can't even move. Sully's not even fighting back. He knows he's doomed. Never mind. Wow, he actually almost beat them. Well, he almost beat like 3% of them. I'm going to give Blue a 10 out of 10. I think he looks perfect. I added every fan-made Garten of Banban monster to Minecraft. First, I made Admiral Krusty, and I'm using a spider for him because crabs are kind of like spiders. I deleted these things, colored him red, and then I added his claws. I added Admiral Krusty to the game, and he was honestly looking pretty good. I think this is probably one of my best looking mobs I've made so far. This actually looks a lot like him. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to have boots on his back legs though, so that's not good. But other than that, he looks great. I decided to spawn an army of Admiral Krusties, and then I got them all to chase me. I don't know why, but this actually looks kind of scary, and I'm not just saying that. It's something about the way their legs move. These are probably just the crabs getting revenge for being locked in a tank at the grocery store. Since Admiral Krusty is a water mob, I decided to see if he can beat a Guardian in a fight. Come on, Admiral Krusty, you're the king of the water. You got this. Okay, this fight is taking a really long time. What is going on? And after all that, he still didn't win. I guess Admiral Krusty isn't the king of the water. He lost to a regular Guardian, not even an Elder Guardian. I decided to give Admiral Krusty a 10 out of 10. I really like how he looks. He's one of my favorite mobs so far. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Mr. Grimm, and I used a Warden to make him because I felt like it. I don't know why. I changed the shape of his body, colored him black, and added some ear things to the side of his head. Next, I gave him a mouth, added some eyes, and gave him teeth. Okay, I don't know why, but he looked really weird before, so I changed everything, and now he looks a lot better. I added Mr. Grimm to the game, and he actually looked kind of scary, but not in a good way. I don't know why, but this dude kind of looks like Santa. I think it's his mouth. It kind of looks like it's supposed to be a beard. I decided to go to the deep dark, and then I made a Mr. Grimm emerge from the ground. Mr. Grimm is a magician, so it makes sense for him to do that. It's honestly a pretty good magic trick. I never even noticed this before, but his animations don't really fit him. It kind of looks broken. I decided to spawn an army of Mr. Grimms, and then I did the usual. Oh no, they're angry. Why do these guys look so weird when they chase you? Like, look at their head. What is going on? Maybe I should have connected their head to the body, because that looks really weird. I decided to give Mr. Grimm a 7 out of 10. I'm not really sure if he looks good or not. He looks kind of weird. It's time for the next mob. Next, I decided to make Nighty Boo, and I used a phantom to make him because a bat is a little too small. I changed the shape of his body, colored him green, and then I added his ears. Next, I added his hat, gave him some eyes, and then I made his other face on the bottom. I added Nighty Boo to the game, and I honestly can't really tell if he looks good or not. It's very hard to see his faces. Okay, I guess that looks pretty good. I'm not sure if he really matches the actual Nighty Boo though. I also don't know why he has these particles on his wings. I guess I'm not up to date on phantom lore. All I know about phantoms is that they're very annoying. Since phantoms like to fight, let's see if Nighty Boo can beat Admiral Krusty. Okay, I'm not really sure if this is supposed to happen. He's just flying up in the air. Okay, I guess Nighty Boo doesn't want to fight. He only fights humans. I spawned an army of Nighty Boos, and then I tested to see how fast they can kill me. Okay, why is it actually kind of hard to dodge them when there's this many? I must have not slept for weeks, because this many phantoms is absurd. Wait, I think I found a way to beat them. They can't catch me. I decided to give Nighty Boo an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good, but he doesn't really look like the actual Nighty Boo. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Patched Willy, and I didn't really know what to use for this one, so I just used the Ender Dragon. I deleted all this stuff, shaped him into a worm, and then I added his tongue. After that, I colored him in, gave him some spikes, and added all of his eyes. I added Patched Willy to the game, and I don't really know what happened to him. How did he get this tail and neck? That definitely wasn't there on Blockbench. It would definitely make him look a lot better though, if only the tail had purple on it too. I will say this guy kind of reminds me of when I made PJ Pugapillar. They're just so similar because of the stripes. There isn't really much you can do with Patched Willy other than wait for him to perch. That actually looks kind of good when he turns around, other than the parts with both colors. And he also looks like he's doing the worm when he's perched, so that definitely fits him. Since there isn't anything to do with Patched Willy, I decided to see if Mr. Grimm can kill him. Okay, I don't really know if he knows where Patched Willy is. He doesn't seem to be attacking him. Yeah, I can't even make them fight with the wand. This is unfortunate. I decided to give Patched Willy a 5 out of 10. He doesn't really look right, and he's also really boring. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Admiral Krusty's crew member, and I made him from an iron golem because he looks kind of buff. I changed his body, colored him blue, and then I gave him new arms. After that, I added his beak, gave him an eye patch, and then I added his other eye. I added him to the game, and he didn't really look that good. I mean, he doesn't really look that bad either, but he just doesn't look like the guy in the picture. He looks way less scary. He also kind of looks like that bean guy. I don't know what his name is. Since this guy doesn't have a name, or at least I don't think he does, I'm going to call him Crewmate Chicken, because he kind of looks like a chicken, if that's what he's supposed to be. Since a Guardian killed Admiral Krusty earlier, I decided to see if Crewmate Chicken could avenge him. Okay, he easily killed him. I see why this guy is on Admiral Krusty's crew, but since he's only a crew member, let's see if he can beat Admiral Krusty in a fight. Okay, he can easily do that. I don't see why this guy isn't the captain. I decided to give Crewmate Chicken an 8 out of 10. He doesn't look perfect, but he also isn't that bad. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Doom Doom, and we'll use a Ravager to make him. I shrunk his legs, changed his arms, and then I shaped his head. Next, I colored him yellow, gave him some hair, and added his eyes. I added Doom Doom to the game, and he was actually looking pretty good. He looks really angry, and I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a bull, so that's probably accurate. Bulls are always angry for some reason. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be moving a lot faster, though. The actual Doom 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 charges at the speed of light. But maybe it's because he has no one to charge at yet, so let's get him to charge me. I think I'm supposed to be holding out red wool to make him mad. Okay, I was right, now he's a lot faster. Also, his head is really glitchy, but we'll just ignore that. I already said he looked good. I decided to spawn a Smiley Miley, and then I tested to see who would win in a fight. I don't really think Smiley Miley has any chance. Doom Doom is huge. Look at his head when he attacks. It looks so weird. Yeah, Doom Doom barely took any damage. I guess he's just too OP. I decided to give Doom Doom a 9 out of 10. I really liked how he turned out. He's a scary looking bull. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Hungry Tammy, and we'll make him from a wither. I removed all this stuff, shrunk his head, and then I colored him blue. Next I added his tongue, gave him some eyes, and added his arms. I added Hungry Tammy to the game, and he was actually looking pretty scary. He probably shouldn't be going on a rampage like this, but I guess it fits his character. Also, his legs shouldn't be floating. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to walk. But other than that list of things that are wrong, he actually looks pretty good. Oh wait, there's also another problem. Apparently his head isn't connected. Since Hungry Tammy is probably really hungry, it says it in his name, I decided to give him some food next. Okay, I don't think he wants to eat the food. What about in living form? Okay, that's much better. Now he's eating. I decided to spawn a Doom Doom, and then I made him fight Hungry Tammy to see who would win. Okay, this is probably the most unfair fight yet. Doom Doom has no way of attacking him. He's taking a lot of hits though. He seems pretty strong. Rip Doom Doom. But if you think of it, he is just a giant cow, so that's probably why he lost. I decided to give Hungry Tammy a 9 out of 10. He looks really good, but his legs shouldn't be floating. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Zolflina, and we already have Zolfius, so we're just gonna use this. I colored her pink, added some outlines on her eyes and mouth, and then I gave her a bow. I added Zolflina to the game, and she was honestly looking pretty good. It's kind of hard for her not to look good though. She's not really a hard monster to make. I will say that her eyes are a little messed up though. I don't remember it looking like this in Blockbench. Also, I don't know why every time I try to look at her, she looks away. It's really annoying. Since Hungry Tammy is in the screenshot with Zolflina, I decided to make them fight. Okay, I don't think Hungry Tammy is able to fight, and also Zolflina's fireballs do no damage, so this fight will literally go on forever. Or maybe they're just friends and it's supposed to be like this. I went to the nether to find a wild Zolflina, and she honestly looks a lot better in the nether. Her color seems to blend in a lot better here. And then I spawned an army of Zolflinas, and I made them attack me. I don't know why I do this every time. They're just bullying me at this point. I decided to give Zolflina an 8 out of 10. She looks how she's supposed to, but I don't know how much I like her. Next I made Smiley Miley, and I used an Enderman because she's really tall. I changed her body, colored her blue, and finally I gave her some eyes. Smiley Miley ended up looking really good in game. Well, her face is a little creepy, but I'm still calling it good. Oh, her legs also don't seem to be attached when she walks, but it's fine. She still looks good. Since I made her from an Enderman, I decided to look her in the eyes, and then this happened. Okay, I think there is something wrong with her head, but I can't really tell what. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, please stop. I decided to go to the end to find some more Smiley Mileys, and then I obviously got them to chase me. When will I stop getting mobs to chase me? Probably never. I decided to give Smiley Miley an 8 out of 10. She looks good, but she was a little broken. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Sharky Klee, and I used a warden to make him. First I changed his body, then I colored him black, and finally I added the fins on his head. I added Sharky Klee to the game, and he actually ended up looking pretty scary, which is good because I made him from a warden. I decided to go to the deep dark to find Sharky Klee, and then I watched him emerge from the ground. I feel like this guy should be the actual warden. He seems to fit the job perfectly. I spawned an army of Sharky Klees, and then I got them all to chase me. What a nice day to go for a swim. I hope there aren't any sharks out here. Wait, where did they go? Oh, there they are. I went too far. I probably should have stayed away though. This isn't looking good. I decided to give Sharky Klee a 10 out of 10. He honestly looks really good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Slime Rancher, and I used a slime to make him because it's in his name. First I made him bigger, then I colored him a different green, and finally I gave him some eyes. I've never remade a slime before, so hopefully this works. Oh, it actually worked. I didn't expect that. And I didn't expect him to be this big. I think this is the biggest mob I've made yet. Oh, I guess we'll ignore the back here. I didn't realize that would happen. Mojang should change the real slimes to this guy. If he was in the game, I would never enter a super flat world again. I spawned an army of slime ranchers, and it was actually pretty cool because of the different sizes of slimes. I feel like the small one is the size I thought it would be. I also spawned a really big slime rancher, and this looks like something from a really bad horror movie. Pro is terrorizing the city. I decided to see if Slime Rancher could beat Smiley Miley because I honestly didn't know. Okay, it looks like Slime Rancher just doesn't attack. That's unfortunate. And the babies don't want to avenge him either. RIP. I decided to give Slime Rancher a 10 out of 10. He looked really good, especially the massive one. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Sad Seth, and I decided to use a wither skeleton for this one. I changed the shape of his body, colored him red, red, and then I gave him some extra arms. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I like this guy that much. The bottom eyes kind of look out of place, and also the sword he is holding just shouldn't be there. Actually, I can get rid of the sword, I forgot. It doesn't make him much better though. You're not even able to see some of his arms. Also, when he walks, his arms go through his body. That's great. Okay, I'm just hating. It's time to move on. Let's see if Sad Seth can beat Smiley Miley in a fight. I honestly think Sad Seth should win this one because he has a wither. Okay, it appears I'm wrong. Smiley Miley is just built different. I'm sorry, Sad Seth, but I gotta do it. You let me down. I decided to give Sad Seth a 6 out of 10. He looks fine, but he's just too broken. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Froggy Quack, and I decided to make him from an iron golem. First, I changed his body. Next, I colored him green, and finally, I added his head on the top. Okay, he actually looks a lot better than I thought he would. I thought for sure the head on top would look weirder. I will say the iron golem animations actually fit him pretty well too. Nothing is broken. But I don't know, he's kind of a weird looking monster in general, so I'm not gonna say he looks perfect. I decided to spawn a Sharky Klee, and then both of them started fighting before I even did anything. I thought these guys would be friends. I wasn't trying to make them fight. I decided to spawn 5 Froggy Quacks, and then I made them all fight Sharky Klee for revenge. I'm not gonna lie, I still don't know if these guys can win. They're kind of getting destroyed. Yeah, I don't know, it's not looking good. Come on, Froggy Quack. Okay, I guess 6 Froggy Quacks isn't enough to take out Sharky Klee. I decided to give Froggy Quack an 8 out of 10. He didn't look that bad, but he wasn't the best either. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Whaley Bow. I made him from a pillager. I shrunk his limbs, colored him blue, and then I gave him some eyes. I added Whaley Bow to the game, and he seemed kind of scared. Like, why is he just aiming his bow at me? Oh, it's probably because Sharky Klee is right there and sharks eat whales. But honestly, I can't really tell if this guy looks good or bad. Like, he looks like the picture, so that's good. But he also kind of looks like a weird cartoon character, and I'm not sure if he's supposed to be like that. I decided to spawn an army of Whaley Bows, and then I spawned 1 Froggy Quack to see if they can kill him. Alright, Whaley Bow already lost to the shark, but can he beat the frog? Okay, I'm not really sure if they can do it. They're just shooting each other instead of him. He seems to be taking damage really fast though, so it's possible that they could win. No way, the whales actually did it. Maybe they aren't so bad after all. I decided to give Whaley Bow an 8 out of 10. It would have been lower, but I raised it because they defeated Froggy Quack. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Toxic Gazer, and I made him from a witch because they like to throw poison. I changed his arms a bit, gave him a longer neck, and then I colored him green. Next, I gave him an eye, and finally I added these weird things that hang off his face. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this guy. His face looks kind of weird. I think it's the things that are hanging off his head. They don't look anything like the actual monster. I will say the rest of him looks pretty accurate though. Since Toxic Gazer is toxic, let's see him throw a bottle of poison at me. That's not poison, that's slowness. Oh wait, there we go. That was kind of rude. Don't worry, I got him back. Wait, why is he drinking Zolphius juice? What is going on? I decided to spawn a Whaley Bow, and then I made them fight to see who would win. This is such a weird fight because neither of them can melee, but it looks like Toxic Gazer is gonna lose. He seems to have no interest in the fight anymore. Okay, this just isn't ending. I guess it's a tie. I decided to give Toxic Gazer a 6 out of 10. I didn't really like the way he looked. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Chili. I decided to use a creeper for Chili. First, I removed his head. Next, I colored him blue, and then I gave him a mouth. After that, I added his eye, gave him some teeth, and finally, I added his horns. I added Chili to the game, and he actually looked really good. I kind of expected this guy to look bad because he looks really goofy in general, but he might be one of my favorites so far. I will say that his red nose is really bothering me though. It makes him look like a clown. Since Chili is a creeper, I decided to see a supercharged Chili next. Okay, the charge isn't really meant for him. This is kind of cursed. I decided to spawn a Toxic Gazer, and then I tested to see if a regular Chili can kill him. Okay, he actually survived, and I respect it, honestly. He just stood there and took the blast. He didn't even try to run. I decided to give Chili a 10 out of 10. I don't know why, but I really like him. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Evil Zolphius. I already have Zolphius, so I just removed his old face, added some white eyes, and gave him a way scare your mouth. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure regular Zolphius is evil already, so this guy must be a menace. I'm scared of what he'll do to me for even looking at him. But I will say he actually looks really good. I think the red under his eyes made him look a lot better. This also reminds me of some of the Doors monsters I made because a lot of them look like this. I decided to go to the Nether to find an evil Zolphius, and then I decided to have a ping pong match with him. Okay, that wasn't really fair. He was stuck in the ground. I spawned an army of evil Zolphiuses, and then I decided to see how long it would take them to kill me. Okay, off to a good start. They already hit me. This looks like something you would find in your house at 3 a.m. Okay, I'm dead, but that actually took a while. These guys kind of suck. I decided to give evil Zolphius an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good, but I think I prefer normal Zolphius. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Sandy Jax, and I used a frog to make him because why why not? I got rid of all this stuff, expanded his body, and then I colored him brown. I added Sandy Jax to the game, and I'm not gonna lie, he was looking kinda strange. This guy looks kinda like a Diglett with a crown, and I don't know why, but he also looks like some kind of Burger King mascot. Oh, and he could also look like Mr. Potato Head, I guess. At least he can jump high, that is something good about him. I decided to spawn a baby Sandy Jax, which isn't a real thing, and then I spawned a tiny slime rancher for him to eat. Wow, he ate that thing instantly, I guess he was hungry. I decided to give Sandy Jax a 5 out of 10. I don't really like him, he looks weird. Next I made Hunky Jake, and I used a Warden. I changed the shape of his body, colored him pink, and then I added his hat. I added Hunky Jake to the game, and he was actually looking pretty good. Okay, maybe his animations don't really match him, but if he isn't moving, he looks fine. I also just noticed that his head keeps going into his body, but unfortunately it's gonna stay like that. Since Hunky Jake looks really strong, let's see if he can beat an Iron Golem. Okay, this was stupid. He obviously can beat an Iron Golem. He's a Warden. Since Hunky Jake is a Warden, I decided to go find him in the deep dark. Oh, that actually looks pretty good. I was expecting the animation to be broken. I decided to spawn an army of Hunky Jakes, and then I watched them all chase me. Oh no, they're getting angry. Yeah, I wouldn't want this to happen to me. They look so scary with no legs. I decided to give Hunky Jake a 9 out of 10. His animations are broken, but he looks good. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made the Jester. I used a Pillager for the Jester. I colored one half purple, added some spikes, and then I gave him some eyes. I added the Jester to the game, and he looked pretty good. He looks a lot better than I thought he would. His face looked kinda weird in Blockbench. He also needs to stop aiming the bow at me. I'm not hostile. Next, I decided to see who would win, the Jester or Hunky Jake. I think we already know what's gonna happen. Yeah, the Jester got one hit. He had no chance. I decided to spawn an army of Jesters, and then I put them all against Hunky Jake. Okay, they might be able to win this time. There's a lot of them. That is if they stop shooting each other. Yeah, Hunky Jake wins this one too. Hopefully the Jester is more powerful in the real game. I decided to give the Jester an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good, but also kinda weird. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Evil Banbaleena. For this one, I used a Piglin. I colored her white, added some creepy eyes, and then I gave her some horns. Oh, that's not a Piglin, that's a pig. Evil Banbaleena actually looks really good in game. She might be even better than Evil Banban. Oh yeah, she turns into a zombie. We have to go to the Nether. But as I was saying, she actually looks really scary, even in Minecraft. Come on, Banbaleena, give me some pearls. No, that's not what I wanted. I decided to spawn a baby Banbaleena, and it looked just as scary, and then I spawned an army of evil Banbaleenas. Oh, some of them have drip. After that, I decided to get chased by all the Banbaleenas. I won't be late for class again, I'm sorry. I guess she doesn't want to send me to the principal's office. I decided to give Evil Banbaleena a 10 out of 10. She actually looks pretty scary in Minecraft. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Sharp Claw, and I used an Iron Golem to make him. I changed the shape of his body, colored him pink, and then I added his eyes. Okay, this actually looks pretty good in game. Well, at least he looks like the picture. His nails are also really dirty. This guy definitely needs a shower. Sharp Claw kind of looks like Barney, so let's see if he's a friendly dinosaur. Okay, I don't think he wants to be friends. He's kind of mean, actually. Because he's so mean, I decided to make him fight Hunky Jake. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. We already know Hunky Jake can beat an Iron Golem from earlier. But what about 4 Sharp Claws? Okay, one is already dead. This isn't looking good. Dang, Hunky Jake is crazy. Yeah, I guess 4 Sharp Claws can't take this guy out. He's invincible. I decided to give Sharp Claw a 7 out of 10. I'm disappointed that 4 of them couldn't kill a Hunky Jake. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Charlie Cake. I decided to make him from a creeper. I deleted all this stuff, shaped him into a cake, and then I colored him in. After that, I drew his faces, added these things, and gave him some eyes. I don't think this is the right cake. He doesn't appear to be moving. Charlie Cake actually looks pretty decent, but I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a lot bigger. I don't know how he ended up this small. I will say he looks like he tastes a lot better than the actual cake, though. Hey man, I was just kidding. I'm not gonna eat you. I decided to see a baby Charlie Cake, and then I realized that isn't real, so instead I spawned a supercharged Charlie Cake. Okay, I think the charge is a little bit tall for him. Oh, and the head is also moving. That's kind of weird. I decided to spawn a Sharp Claw, and then I tested if supercharged Charlie Cake can one-shot him. Oh wow, that actually did a lot of damage, and he wasn't even really close to him, so he probably could have killed him. Here you go, Sharp Claw. I'll fix you up. I decided to give Charlie Cake a 7 out of 10. I don't really like how he looks. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Cyclopus. I used a Hoglin to make him. First, I deleted all this stuff. Next, I colored him in, and then I gave him an eye. After that, I gave him teeth, added his arms, and I put the collar around his arm. Cyclopus actually looks pretty good in game, but I'm not sure why he is shaking. Oh yeah, he turns into a zombie. That's why he's shaking. I went to the Nether to go and find Cyclopus, and this is how he looks without the shake. I'm not gonna lie, he looks kind of like Stinky Joel from the last video, except he's red. This guy is walking a lot slower though, and he looks like he wants to eat me for dinner. What about a baby Cyclopus? Cyclopus. Okay, this guy is way too small. I don't think he can even jump up one block. I decided to spawn an army of Cyclopses, and then I made them all chase me. I don't know why they're so much faster now that they want to kill me. This is unfair. Okay, I need to stop getting chased by things. This is like the third time this video. Cyclopus and Evil Banbaleena are both nether mobs, so I decided to see who would win in a fight. Banbaleena has a bow. She should be able to win this one. Okay, never mind. Cyclopus actually won. I decided to give Cyclopus an 8 out of 10. He doesn't look that bad. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Crabzilla. I made Crabzilla from a Strider. I moved his legs, shaped his body, and then I colored him red. After that, I gave him some eyes and some claws. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's not what his legs are supposed to look like. I don't know how this always happens. I tried to fix his legs, and this is what Crabzilla looked like in game. I'm not gonna lie, he looks pretty good other than when his body randomly turns without his legs. But stuff like that is normal around here, so he looks good. I spawned a baby Crabzilla, and he looked about the same, except for his feet sinking into the ground. And then I decided to ride a Crabzilla. Okay, so I'm kind of sitting on his eyes, so I'm not sure if he can see. Yeah, there's definitely mobs that look good when you ride them, and this is not one of them. Also, I like how the baby is just following us around. That's kind of funny. I decided to give Crabzilla a 9 out of 10. He looks good, but his body is broken. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Mr. Smitty. I used a Vindicator to make him. I shrunk his legs and arms, colored him pink, and then I shaped his head. Next, I gave him some nostrils, added his eyes, and then I put the orange things on his back. Okay, Mr. Smitty actually looks pretty good in game. I like how his arms are crossed like that. It makes him look cool. But other than that, I don't know. He looks kind of boring. Since Mr. Smitty is a Vindicator, I decided to see if he can beat Sharp Claw in a fight. These guys kind of look like relatives. I think Mr. Smitty is Sharp Claw's little brother. He fought him like his little brother too. He got destroyed. Since Mr. Smitty lost to Sharp Claw, I decided to feed him a villager to make him happy. I don't like him as much with the axe out. He looks kind of scary. RIP villager, Mr. Smitty was too fast. I decided to give Mr. Smitty a 6 out of 10. I'm not sure why, but I don't really like him. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Remy. Remy is a dog, so I used a wolf. I colored him orange, shaped his mouth, and then I gave him some eyes. After that, I added his teeth, and finally I gave him some feet. I added Remy to the game, and he looked a little bit better than he did in Blockbench. I'm not gonna lie, he looked pretty bad in Blockbench though, so at least this is a little bit better. I wish I could say the same for the baby one though. Why is his head so big? Don't worry guys, nothing to see here. I decided to tame a Remy, and this is what he looks like when he's sitting down. I don't know why, but this reminds me of the dog from Mickey Mouse. Maybe he's supposed to be a scary version of him or something. To see if he really is scary, I decided to make him fight Evil Banbaleena. Okay, he can't be making those noises when he gets hit. I feel bad. Wow, he actually almost lost. That one was close. I'm going to give Remy a 7 out of 10. He doesn't look that bad, but he isn't really good either. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Lazcat. I used a cat for this one, obviously. I moved his legs, colored him pink, and then I shaped his head. Next, I colored his mouth, gave him some eyes, and finally I gave him some teeth. Okay, this one is probably one of the worst mobs I've made, but it also looks pretty good for what it is. Like, I can't really see how I could have made this better. He just looks bad in general. What about a baby Lazcat? Okay, this is just too small. It kind of looks like a mouse. I decided to tame a Lazcat, and this is what he looks like when he is sitting down. Okay, I think there's something wrong with his front legs. They aren't really connected anymore. Since Lazcat is a cat and Remy is a dog, I decided to see which one of them will win in a fight. Okay, I guess dogs are stronger than cats. This settles it. I decided to give Lazcat a 6 out of 10. He looks worse than Remy. Next, I made Fairy Aruru, and I know she's gonna be in the actual game, but I'm still making her. I colored her body purple, gave her a face, and then added her wand. I added her to the game, and her head was looking kind of broken, so I decided to fix that. Okay, that's still a little messed up, but it's good enough. Also, her feet are both on the same leg, but I'm not fixing that. Only one fix per mob. Oh yeah, I forgot that happens. Since Fairy Aruru was made from a hoglin, I decided to go find her in the nether. I'm not usually a fan of these guys because they like to hit you from far away, but I guess for Fairy Aruru, I'll make an exception. Since Banban is also a nether mob, I decided to see who would win, Banban or Fairy Aruru. Dang, Banban's going in. Wait, Banban actually won that. I thought Fairy Aruru was gonna win, not gonna lie. I decided to spawn an army of fairies, and then I made them all chase me. Hopefully this doesn't happen in the actual game, because these guys are kind of scary. Also, their legs look kind of funny. I'm going to give Fairy Aruru an 8 out of 10. Other than the broken stuff, she looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Tall Victor. I used an Enderman for Tall Victor because he's tall. I colored him fully green, added these things on the bottom, and then I gave him an eye. After that I added his goofy mouth, gave him a broccoli head, and fixed his arms a little bit. I added Tall Victor to the game, and he actually ended up looking pretty good. He looks kinda funny when he walks though. I don't really think it's supposed to look like that. Since Tall Victor is supposed to be a vegetable, it only makes sense to make him fight Jumbo Josh. Okay, yeah, Victor had no chance. Jumbo Josh eats too many vegetables. I went to the end to find more Tall Victors, and then I got them all to chase me. I don't even know if this is scary. His face looks kinda goofy. Okay, well even if it's not scary, it's still deadly. Tall Victor, you better apologize for killing me or I'm not looking away. I'm going to give Tall Victor a 9 out of 10. He honestly looks pretty good, especially as a meal. Next I made Nibbler. I decided to make Nibbler from a Wither, cause well, I don't know, I just never used the Wither. I kinda forgot to record me making Nibbler, so here's me adding some orange things on his arms, cause that's all I have. I spawned the Nibbler in game, and he was honestly looking pretty crazy. Ignore the black spot on the bottom, I didn't know this would happen. I'm pretty sure Nibbler doesn't fly around and attack random mobs, so I don't think this is accurate. I'm also not sure if you see it, but he kinda looks like the guy from Monsters Inc. There's honestly not much to do with this guy, so I decided to see if he can beat Jumbo Josh. Jumbo Josh is the most powerful Ban mob so far, but he might lose this one. Yeah, Nibbler's health bar is barely moving. This isn't looking good. Come on, Jumbo Josh, you can win this one. Okay, I was lying. There's no way he was winning this one. I guess I'm gonna have to step in and end this. Yeah, I had even less chance than Jumbo Josh. Nibbler is too good. I decided to give Nibbler an 8 out of 10. I honestly can't really tell if he looks good or bad, so I'm just gonna go with good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Miss Luna. I decided to make her from a bee because I think she's a bug. I colored her body purple, gave her some eyes, and then I added her crown. After that I added her dress, gave her some legs, and finally added her wings. She actually ended up looking pretty good in game. The flying suits her well. I will say her eyes look kinda weird though, she looks sad. I decided to spawn a baby Miss Luna and it looked exactly the same. I don't really know what I was expecting. Miss Luna is probably pretty good at fighting, so I decided to put that to the test. Okay, maybe I was wrong. She didn't even really fight. I spawned an army of Miss Lunas and then I decided to make them all follow me. Okay, this one isn't that scary. Oh wait, why is she upside down? Wait, I just noticed that bees like to attack Zoglins for some reason. Look at them all ganging up on the Zoglin, like what is going on? I decided to give Miss Luna an 8 out of 10. She looks really good, but she doesn't really do anything. She's kinda boring. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Dr. Fluffy Pants. I made him from a panda. I moved his head, colored him blue, and then I gave him a mouth. Next I added his eyes, gave him some ear things, and made the heart on his chest. Dr. Fluffy Pants is definitely an interesting name for a guy like this. He looks kinda buff. Also, we'll ignore his head. I know it's broken, but I don't care. Wait, look at him rolling around. That's kinda crazy. Since I made him from a panda, I decided to feed Dr. Fluffy Pants some bamboo. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with him. This is not okay. I decided to spawn a baby Dr. Fluffy Pants, and this is what happened. Well, the good thing is I can't break him by feeding him bamboo. The bad thing is his head is floating higher than before by default. Oh wait, they're following me because I'm holding bamboo. I didn't even realize. Since Dr. Fluffy Pants is a doctor, I decided to see if he can perform an operation. Alright, I guess he doesn't feel like doing it. He's just gonna leave this villager to die. I decided to give Dr. Fluffy Pants a 7 out of 10. I like how he looks, but his head is broken. We can't excuse that. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Chef Pigster, and I made him from a pig. I gave him his face on his chest, added his other head on the top, and then I gave him some sideways arms. Chef Pigster actually looks pretty good in game, but I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a lot bigger. His arms also don't move with his head, but I'm not fixing that. Chef Pigster is supposed to be a chef, so I decided to see if he can cook me a meal. I probably shouldn't have chosen a pork chop, that's kinda messed up. After that, I decided to spawn a baby Chef Pigster. I kinda forgot that all the baby pigs have this weird thing with their head. Also, there's an eye on his back, not sure how I didn't notice that. I spawned an army of Chef Pigsters, and then I made them all follow me. Yeah, this definitely isn't scary at all. I decided to give Chef Pigster an 8 out of 10. His bottom head looks really good. Not the top head though, I don't know what this is. Next I made Coach Pickles. I used a Strider to make him because he kind of resembles a Strider. I made his legs a lot bigger, colored him blue, and then I gave him a mouth. Next I added his trunk, gave him some weird looking eyes, and then I added his ears. Okay, I'm pretty sure something is wrong, but I can't really tell what. I fixed his legs, and this is how he looks in game. He honestly looks pretty good. Okay, his other foot is attached to the wrong leg still, but I'm just gonna leave it. Also, we ignore the missing texture here. It doesn't doesn't look like that in Blockbench. Coach Pickles probably coaches some sort of sports team, so let's see if he can beat me in a snowball fight. Okay, I don't think that's gonna work. Let's see what a baby Pickles looks like. He looks just about as cursed as the big one. I decided to ride a Coach Pickles, and I'm pretty sure that something doesn't look right. I'm going to give Coach Pickles a 7 out of 10. He honestly looks kinda weird. It's time for the next mob. Next, I decided to make Nabnalina. I already made Nabnab, so I just took the Nabnab model and changed it a little bit. First, I made the tongue a different shape, then I fixed her eyes, and finally I colored her pink. This is kinda weird. For some reason, she looks just like Nabnab. I also forgot that Nabnalina is supposed to have a bow on her head, so I added that. When I made Nabnab, I got him to chase me, so I had to get chased by Nabnalina as well. This looks just as scary as last time. I also found a way to make it look like Nabnalina is chasing me on a roof, just like how Nabnab does in the game. Well, she doesn't chase me, but it looks like she's on a roof, so that's cool. I decided to have a fight between Chef Pigster and Nabnalina, and you will never expect what happened next. Okay, it was kind of obvious what would happen, I'm just bored. I decided to give Nabnalina a 6 out of 10 because that's what I gave Nabnab and they look the same. It's time for the next mob. Next, I decided to make Hunter Tim. I made Hunter Tim from a Ravager. First, I made his head bigger, then I colored him purple, and I added some hair to his head. I also gave him a big wide mouth, added his eyes, and gave him a couple of arms and feet. Hunter Tim looks kinda strange in game, but at least nothing is broken this time, I think. Since Hunter Tim is a Ravager, let's see him take on a villager. Wow, he's fast. His head looks kinda weird when he attacks, but that's fine. Also, I'm pretty sure hunters aren't supposed to kill villagers, they're supposed to kill animals to feed the villagers. But I guess Hunter Tim is just built different. To see if he really is built different, I decided to challenge him to a fight. Yeah, I had zero chance. I can't even tell where I was supposed to be hitting. I decided to spawn an army of Hunter Tims, and then I made them fight a warden. The warden seems to be killing a lot of them, but they might actually win this. Dang, the Hunter Tims actually won. I mean, it was a 10v1, so it's not really an accomplishment, but I'm still surprised. I'm going to give Hunter Tim an 8 out of 10. He doesn't look that bad. It's time for the next mob. For the next mob, I made Stinky Joel. I used an iron golem to make him. I shaped his body, colored him green, and then I added these teeth things. After that, I gave him some eyes, colored his legs, and then I rotated his arms a bit. I don't think I even have to say something is broken because you already know it is. I fixed his arms, which took a while because I somehow put both arms on the wrong side, and this is how Stinky Joel looks in game. He kinda stinks. I'm just kidding, he doesn't actually look that bad. I decided to see who would win in a fight, Stinky Joel or Hunter Tim. This fight is actually a lot closer than I thought. Stinky Joel won. I'm actually kinda surprised. I thought Hunter Tim had that. Will he beat 2 Hunter Tims though? Nope, 2 Hunter Tims is too many for him. I spawned an army of Stinky Joels, and honestly I'm not sure why. I didn't even do anything with them. I then gave Stinky Joel a bottle of Dragon's Breath because that's the stinkiest thing I could find, and then I decided to give him a 7 out of 10. He doesn't look that bad, but he isn't interesting enough. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Noodles Ninja. Since Noodles Ninja looks like a jellyfish, I decided to make him from an Elder Guardian. I removed all this stuff, colored him blue, and then I gave him a mouth. After that, I added his eyes, added some noodles on the side, and then I gave him some arms and legs. Surprisingly, nothing broke with this one. His legs are in the ground, but he's supposed to be in the water anyway, so that's fine. Also, the sound he makes is kind of weird, but I didn't add that. That's not my fault. Let's see a baby Noodles Ninja. Oh yeah, that's not a thing. I decided to spawn a Noodles Ninja in the water, and this is how he looked. He looks a lot better in water because you can actually see his legs. He would also look a lot better if his arms and legs moved, but I'm not doing all that. I decided to fight Noodles Ninja to see if he really is a ninja. I really should get some armor for these fights. I decided to give Noodles Ninja an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good, but his eyes are kind of scary. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Silent Steve. And Silent Steve is a serpent, so I made him from a warden, because those two are the exact same thing. I deleted everything except his body, colored him purple, and then I started shaping his new body. After that, I started making his head, gave him some eyes, and then I added his tongue. Yeah, this looks really bad, but it's gonna have to do. At least he isn't broken. He also kind of moves like a serpent, so that's cool. Okay, maybe that's not how a serpent moves, but I'm pretending it does. Since Silent Steve is a serpent, it only makes sense to spawn him in the water. Surprisingly, it actually looks like he belongs here. I decided to see if Silent Steve or Noodles Ninja is the superior water monster. Okay, this fight is kind of weird. I don't think the warden can melee in water. But even though he can't melee, Silent Steve still won. Okay, that's enough Silent Steve for now. He's kind of cursed. I decided to give Silent Steve a 3 out of 10 because I just don't really know what this is supposed to be. I added every character from Wednesday to Minecraft, starting with Wednesday, the main character of the show. I made her head and gave her some hair, and then I spent 20 minutes trying to make her face. After making a face that didn't look terrible, I colored in her clothes and added her braids, and finally I put a little more detail in her clothes and I was done. I added her to the game and she had these massive arms that I couldn't figure out how to fix, so I gave her some new arms instead, and it just made things worse. Eventually, I figured out how to fix it, and this is how Wednesday looks in game. Having her arms on the side like this actually looks more accurate because she walks like this in the show. Also, because I made her from a witch, I decided to recreate the opening scene by turning the potions into piranhas and then having her throw them at me in the pool. Next, I'm making Thing, who is my personal favorite character because of his advanced dialogue. He said it, not me. I bent his fingers, gave him a thumb, and then added the wrist thing on the top. After that, I colored him in and added some cuts and stitches all around him. I kind of forgot that Spider's legs aren't straight, so I had to remove the original legs and add them to the body instead. But after that, he was still walking sideways and floating, so I had to fix that as well. Finally, I added him to the game and nothing was wrong. Well, except for the fact that his fingers don't move, but it's that or this. Also, Thing is massive when compared to Wednesday. I'm not really sure how this works. Next, I made my actual favorite character, Eugene. Eugene is this kid who really likes bees, so I decided to make him from a bee. I squished the bee into a body, and then I gave it some legs and a head. I added his puffy hair, and then I gave him a face, and next I added his glasses. I then gave him a gray shirt, and added some detail to the shirt, and I almost forgot to give him arms, so finally I gave him some arms. I think if you ignore the fact that he's able to fly, he looks pretty good. Eugene usually takes care of the bees, but now the bees will take care of him. Now it's time to make my actual favorite character, Uncle Fester. Uncle Fester is this weird guy who can make electricity, so I made him from a creeper. You'll see why. I turned the creeper body into a human body, and then I colored his shirt and added the collar on top. I then gave him a face, and I tried to blend the dark parts around his eyes into his skin, and it ended up looking kind of weird. Next, I gave him some ears, and finally I colored in his pants. I'm not going to lie, he kind of looks like the McDonald's villain. Because Uncle Fester conducts electricity, I decided to edit the charged creeper to fit him, and it was surprisingly easier than I thought. In the show, Uncle Fester is also shown downing an entire bottle of ketchup, so I retextured the potions to ketchup bottles out of respect for him. This is how Uncle Fester looks when he's surrounded in electricity, and this is how much damage he does when you aren't paying attention. The charge made Uncle Fester too dangerous, so I decided to put him in prison for the various crimes he committed in the show. Next we'll make Enid, and she's a wolf, so I'm going to make her from a wolf. Creating a person from a wolf isn't the easiest thing to do, so I basically deleted all the body parts and made her body myself. I then added her hair with the fancy colors on the side, and I gave her a face. After that, I made her a striped sweater, and finally I put her hands in a claw position or something. Surprisingly, she isn't too broken in game except for her fingers. I'm trying to find out why I put both thumbs on the same side. I put Enid next to Wednesday, and there's a really weird height difference. I mean, look guys, she's even taller than me. I also tried to tame her because she's a wolf. In the show, there is a monster, and it looks kinda goofy, but it's supposed to be scary, so I made it from the scariest mob, the Warden. I gave it a big hunchback, and then I repositioned all of its body parts. I then gave him a big mouth and some funny looking eyes, and then I filled his mouth with teeth. Finally, I colored the rest of him blue, and gave him a little bit of hair on his head, just like he has in the show. Okay, it seems there's a little bit of a problem with his body parts. I fixed his body and he still looked terribly messed up because of the Warden's animations, so I decided to just leave it, mainly because I don't know how to change animations. Alright, now we can see who will win, Wednesday and Enid versus the Hyde. Okay, this is a really good fight, guys. The next character we'll be making is Tyler, for no reason, of course. I made Tyler from a piglin because, well, I don't know, I just did it. I gave him some hair, and then I drew his face, and I decided to make him from the coffee shop, so I gave him a brown shirt, and then I added his apron, and finally I gave him some black pants. I added him to the game, and I noticed that I made his head way too big. Also, there is something wrong with his apron, but I'm not fixing it. I don't care. Now that I had made Tyler, I decided to recreate the dance scene. I had to build it in the nether because, well, you know. I used quartz and black concrete to make the checkered floor design, and then I added the stage with speakers on it. After that, I added these tables on the side, and I filled the entire roof with black concrete. Next, I made the walls blue, and I added these chandelier things on the roof. I edited Wednesday's model to make her wearing a dress instead, and then I edited Tyler's model to make him wearing a suit. Finally, I spawned a bunch of random people on the side, and then I spawned Tyler and Wednesday. Oh yeah, I forgot about her arms. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how to make Wednesday dance, but I do know how to make Tyler dance, if that helps. Next, let's add Xavier. Xavier? I forgot how to say it. Xavier is a magician or something, so I decided to make him from an illusioner. I added his long hair, and then I gave him some eyes and a mouth. Next, I colored his shirt blue and added some details to the front. The school uniform has a bunch of stripes on it, so I added some black stripes all around his shirt, and finally I colored in his pants. I spawned him in the game, and this is how he looks. Honestly, it looks pretty good. I think his head might be a little too big, but I keep doing that, so it's fine. In the show, Xavier is shown doing archery, so I decided to see how good of a shot he is. Okay, that's one hit. Alright, now he's missing every shot. Oh, he hit me again. Let's see what happens if I hit him. Oh, that wasn't a good idea. Yeah, that's probably why they never added this mob. Next, I'm going to be making the Addams Family characters. We'll start with Gomez, who is a very successful businessman, so I made him from my favorite businessman, the Wandering Trader. First, I removed his clothes, and I don't know what I was doing here. But next, I made his body a little larger, and gave him some hair, and added his mustache, which makes him look like he has rabbit teeth. I then colored in his clothes and gave him a fancy collar, and finally I added some stripes all around his suit. For some reason his arms are kind of busted and his teeth look more like rabbit's teeth than ever, but I think he looked fine. Okay, maybe that's a problem. Apparently Gomez is worth $2 billion, so I went to check what he was selling to try to be like him, but I just found a bunch of useless items. I guess the secret to being a billionaire is selling lily pads, and also having a llama that's taller than you. Next, let's make Morticia, and Morticia is supposed to be a witch, but I already used the witch, so I used the evoker, because that's kinda similar, right? I removed all this stuff and gave her some hair and some face, and then I colored her dress fully black and extended it down to the floor because it's very long. I don't really think this one looked that good, and the dress on the floor really doesn't help. Why did I do that? Her neck is also not attached, but that's probably normal for the Addams family. I also tried to spawn her with Gomez, but she just tries to kill him. Next, let's make Pugsley, and in the show, Pugsley gets bullied, so I made him from a chicken. I moved all the chicken's body parts to make a human body, and then I gave him some hair and added his face. Next, I gave him a black and white striped shirt, and unfortunately, I decided to change the chicken legs to human legs instead. I added him to the game, and he was still flapping his wings like a chicken, but his head was completely broken, so I had to fix his head. I'm honestly surprised that he looks pretty normal, other than the flapping wings. Even baby Pugsley doesn't look broken. I then decided to put Pugsley in a locker, just like in the opening scene. Wait, I didn't mean it. Next, we're going to make Lurch, and Lurch is a really tall butler who kind of looks like a zombie, so I had to make him from a giant. I gave him a thin and tall head, and then I gave him a little bit of hair. Next, I added his face, which doesn't really look like him at all, and then I colored his clothes. Finally, I added a bit of detail to the collar area, and I added him to the game. I have to stop making giants. They literally do nothing. Also, we're just ignoring the hands. There's nothing wrong with them. Next, instead of making a character, I'm going to turn the Ender Dragon into the Addams Family car. First, I deleted all the dragon body parts, and then I added some windows and a grill on the front. Next, I added some tires, and then I extended out the sides above the tires. Finally, I made the back of the car slant down a little bit, and then I added some lights to the front of the car. I tried to make Lurch drive the car, but I don't think that will be possible. Also, the car is flying, so that's kinda, yeah. Alright, now that we've created all the characters, it's time to put them all against the hide. Okay, I guess they don't really like each other, so we'll have to do it like this. Alright, this isn't gonna work. This is completely useless. I'm going to be remaking Minecraft mobs into popular horror movie characters. First, I'm going to make Pennywise, and we'll make him from a pillager. Let's color his shirt light green. Now let's color his face white, and we'll give him some eyes. Now let's draw his mouth, and we'll give him a nose, and we'll give him some hair. Now let's make his forehead bigger, and we'll add the thing around his neck. Now let's extend his sleeves out a bit. Now we'll add the red things on his chest. Now finally, let's give him some shoes. And I think that looks really good. Let's see it in game. That actually looks really good, but his face is off by a bit, unfortunately. This guy actually looks really scary. I'm not really liking him pointing his bow at me like this. Let's spawn an army of Pennywises. Okay, why are they all pointing their bows at me? Let's watch these Pennywises attack a villager. I'm sorry, villager. Yeah, they're all gonna kill each other before they kill him. Okay, they finally got him. Okay, they need to stop pointing their bows at me. Let's spawn an iron golem to take care of them. Oh wait, this is not an iron golem. I'm using a spooky texture pack, so I guess they made a pumpkin golem. Oh god, he just took a ton of fall damage. Oh, the iron golem couldn't kill them all. Alright, I'm going to give Pennywise a 10 out of 10. He's literally terrifying. It's time for the next mob. Next, we're going to make Michael Myers. For this one, we'll use a piglin brute. Let's remove all this stuff, and we'll make his head a bit smaller. Now let's color his body blue, and we'll color his head white. Now let's give him some eyes, and we'll give him a mouth as well, and we'll give him some brown hair. Now let's give him a nose, and we'll add a neck to his shirt. Now let's give him a pocket and a belt, and we'll color in his hands. Now finally, let's give him some shoes, and I think we're done. Let's see this in game. Oh, that is not him. Okay, that is much scarier. He's going to turn into a piglin though, so we have to go to the nether. Okay, this is better. Let's spawn a baby Michael. Oh, piglin brutes don't have babies. Let's get chased by Michael Myers. Oh god, he's kind of fast. Okay, we got away. Let's see if Michael Myers can beat Pennywise. Never mind, they both just want to kill me, I guess. Let's spawn more Michael Myerses. And let's see if they can beat the Warden. Okay, seriously? They won't fight the Warden either? They'll fight me though. Seriously, Pennywise too? I don't even have a weapon. Can't kill me now. Oh god, not the regular piglin. Alright, I'm also going to give Michael Myers a 10 out of 10. He looks really good. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Jigsaw. For him, we are going to use our regular piglin. Let's change the shape of his head, and we'll color his body black. Now let's color his head white. Now let's give him some eyes, and we'll draw his mouth. Next, let's give him a nose, and we'll extend his cheeks out a bit, and we'll draw the circles on them. Now let's give him some hair, and we'll extend it out on the sides. Next, let's draw his red bow tie, and finally we'll give him some red shoes. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Okay, he has gold pants. Why is he flexing on me like that? Okay, this actually looks really good. He's definitely not as scary as Pennywise, but he's pretty scary. Let's see a baby Jigsaw. Why is his head in the roof? Let's spawn an army of Jigsaws. I think this guy needs to take off the helmet. I don't think he can see. Let me wear some drips so I blend in with them. What are you looking at? Why do they all want to go over here? Sorry guys, I'm not actually one of you. Oh god, this is bad. Never mind, they don't know how to jump. Alright, I give Jigsaw a 10 out of 10. He looks really good as well. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Ghostface. For this one, we'll use a Vindicator. Let's color his body fully black, and we'll change the shape of his head. Now let's color his head white, and we'll add his eyes, and his nose, and his large mouth. Now let's add his hood over his mask, and we'll make this part look like it's ripped. Now finally, let's extend out his shoes, and I think we're done. Let's see it in game. Finally, we can go back to the overworld. Okay, his mouth is sideways, and there's also some problems with his hood. Let's watch him chase a villager. If I gave him a knife, this would be 10 times better. Rip villager. Is that an orange creeper? Speaking of orange creepers, you should subscribe. We are so close to 300k. Let's spawn an army of ghost faces. And let's see if they can beat the pumpkin golem. Okay, the pumpkin golem literally had no chance. What about 2 pumpkin golems? Okay, Ghostface is just too powerful. I'm going to give Ghostface an 8 out of 10. He's kinda broken. It's time for the next mob. Next, we're going to make Jason. For him, we are going to use a skeleton. Let's make his arms bigger, and we'll do the same for his legs. Now let's color in his head, and we'll extend out his mask. Now let's add some red details to his mask. Now let's give him some brown hair, and we'll color his pants a darker gray, and we'll put his yellow jacket on the outside. Now finally we'll extend out his shoes, and that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Okay, that looks pretty good. His head is a little big though, but I actually like how his mask turned out. Okay, why is there scary chickens? Let's see if Jason can take down a wolf. Okay, he's just running. Maybe it's because we gave him a bow and not a sword. Nope, he still runs with the sword. He runs from the wolf, but he won't run from me. He's getting destroyed even with the other mobs chasing me. Maybe next time he should run from me. But honestly, he looks pretty cool with the sword, I won't lie. Let's spawn an army of Jasons. And let's see if they can beat the pumpkin golem. Oh no, why did they shoot the creeper? Okay, they're literally all just fighting each other. Oh, there's zombies coming in, they have backup. The zombies stole the kill from them, that's embarrassing. Alright, I'm going to give Jason a 9 out of 10. His head was a little big. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Frankenstein. For this one, we're obviously going to use a zombie. Let's make his head a bit bigger, and we'll color his body black. Now let's color his head green, and we'll give him some eyes, and a mouth, and we'll add his red scar on his forehead. Now let's give him some black hair, and we'll give him a couple of ears. Next, let's add the screws coming out of his neck. Now finally, we'll give him some shoes, and I think that looks good. Let's see him in game. Okay, he doesn't look too bad. He kinda just looks like a zombie variant though. Well, I guess that's basically what he is. Let's see a baby Frankenstein. Okay, baby Frankenstein is very fast. Let's see what he looks like with speed 2. Okay, now he won't move. Oh my god, that is way too fast. Let's spawn an army of Frankensteins. Okay, now these are just zombies. He's not special anymore. Let's watch them all try to kill a villager they can't reach. This is Frankenstein IQ. Is Frankenstein supposed to be stupid? I'm not even sure. Alright, I give Frankenstein a 7 out of 10. He looked average. It's time for the next mob. Next, we're going to make Dracula. For this one, let's use a villager. Let's color his body black, and we'll make his head a bit smaller. Now let's color his head, and we'll give him some red eyes. Now let's draw his mouth, and we'll add his vampire teeth. Next, let's give him a nose, and we'll add his eyebrows. Now let's give him some hair, and we'll add his cloak. Next, let's give him a white shirt, and we'll give him a red tie. Now finally, let's color in his hands, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, there's something wrong with his arms, but other than that, he looks pretty good. I'm sorry, Dracula. Okay, he's already dead. Wait, this Dracula is still running away. If only he could turn into a bat and fly away. Let's see what baby Dracula looks like. Yeah, this looks like a kid in a costume. He's so small. Let's spawn an army of Draculas. Okay, I don't know why I did this. I just wanted to bully them. Surprisingly, they're actually getting away. And the Pennywises are just killing each other. Wait, what is this yellow thing in the tree? Okay, the tree literally has an eye. Alright, I'm going to give Dracula an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next, we are going to make a mummy. And for this one, we'll use a husk. Let's color his body grayish yellow. And we'll give him some red eyes. Now let's draw a bit of a mask around his eyes. And we'll add different color stripes around his body. Now let's give him some different color hands. And we'll do the same for his feet. I'm actually going to change the first color we added because I don't really like it. And we'll make sure to color the inside of his legs and the inside of his arms. And finally, let's add some detail on his back. And that doesn't look too bad. Let's see it in game. Okay, how did I go from the other mobs to this? I mean, to be fair, there's not much you can do to a mummy. Let's see a baby mummy. I think the baby looks a bit better. I wonder if Minecraft will ever add mummies. They could defend desert pyramids or something. They could add something like this. Okay, maybe with less mummies, but still. Let's spawn a Dracula in here. Oh, he has desert clothes on. I don't know why I did that. That was mean. Who can catch Dracula faster, the mummy or Frankenstein? Apparently neither of them. They are very slow. Oh no, Dracula is stuck. How is he still alive? And the mummies win. I mean, it was a baby, so it wasn't really fair, but whatever. Alright, I'm going to give the mummy a 6 out of 10. Compared to the other mobs, it wasn't that good. I'm going to be remaking Minecraft mobs into the entities from Roblox stores. First, we're going to make Seek, and I'm going to use a warden to make him. Let's remove all this stuff, and we'll make his body smaller. Now let's also shrink his legs, and we'll make his arms smaller as well. Now let's shrink his head, and we'll color him fully black. Now let's draw his eye, and we'll expand his face out on the side a little bit. Finally, let's add some red spots on his body, and we'll put a few on his legs. Alright, that looks good. Let's see it in game. We'll just act like I didn't forget to texture the bottom of the head. Honestly, I think this looks pretty good. I think his proportions are kind of off though. Yo, why is he attacking the sheep? What did the sheep do? Let's find Seek in the deep dark. And of course, we'll watch him emerge from the ground. Oh, he's kind of stuck in a block. This would be way more terrifying than the warden. Imagine you're walking around in a cave and then you see this thing chasing you. Let's spawn an army of Seeks. And let's see if they can defeat the Wither. Oh no, they're already surrounding the Wither. Oh my god, the Wither is getting launched. Yeah, the Wither literally has no chance. I don't think the Wither even killed one of them. Alright, I'm going to give Seek an 8 out of 10. He could have been better. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Figure, and I'm going to make him from an Enderman. Let's color him brownish red, and we'll extend his face out a bit, and we'll also extend out the other sides. Now let's give him some teeth, and we'll move them to every side of his mouth. Next, let's color the back of his mouth, and we'll add his white ribs, and let's copy those down 2 more times. And I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. I'm not going to lie, the particles kind of ruin him. That looks better. Now, if you look in an Enderman's eyes, it will get mad at you, but Seek has no eyes, so what will happen? Okay, the same thing happens. I like how his head is just floating now. Let's go find Figure in the end. Okay, there's a ton of these guys in here. Let's see if Figure can beat Seek. Okay, Figure had no chance. I honestly thought he would teleport away at least. Okay, Seek has to go. Oh god, they're catching up to me. Okay, I see why this guy is scary now. Oh no, I got stuck. I give Figure a 9 out of 10. He turned out pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Screech, and I'm going to use a Guardian to make him. Let's remove his tail, and we'll also remove these orange spikes. Now let's make the body a bit smaller, and we'll color it fully black. Now let's give him a big red mouth, and we'll add some darker lips. Next, let's draw his teeth, and we'll add the black spots oozing down. Now let's add his eyes, and we'll add the squiggly things coming from his body. And I think we're done. Let's see it in game. Oh my god, he's moving really fast. And the way he's bouncing around like this honestly makes him 10 times scarier. Like, what are you doing if you see this thing coming after you? Okay, he's dying. Oh, well, I guess he's in the water now. Honestly, he might be even scarier underwater. Let's spawn an army of Screeches. That looks so weird. And let's see if they can kill me. Wait, what are they all doing to me? This is actually terrifying. Oh god, I'm on half a heart. Yeah, hopefully nothing like this is ever added to the game. I'm going to give Screech a 10 out of 10. He was scary. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Glitch, and I'm going to make him from an iron golem. Let's make his body smaller, and we'll also shrink his legs. Now let's do the same for his arms, and we'll color his body fully black. Now let's add some purple spots around his body, and we'll add some on his arms and legs as well. Now let's add some blue spots too, and we'll also add some yellow spots. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Okay, part of his face is not part of his face, but honestly he's supposed to look glitched out, so I think that's fine. Somehow I actually think this looks pretty good. Let's see if Glitch can beat Screech. Never mind, it looks like Screech didn't want to fight. Let's try this again away from the cave. Okay, that was too easy. And he dropped raw cod. That's kind of weird. Let's see if Glitch can beat Seek. Okay, that was a really unfair fight. Let's spawn 10 glitches and see if they can beat Seek. Okay, they're not doing too bad. Oh, they got him. Only 4 of them died, surprisingly. Alright, I'm going to give Glitch a 9 out of 10. He looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Rush, and I'm going to use a bee to make him. Let's remove all this stuff, and we'll make his body thinner. Now let's extend his body out a bit, and we'll extend out the sides to make him look circular. And we'll also do this on the top and bottom. Now let's add his dark gray mouth, and we'll add his eyes, and his nose thing. Now let's give him some yellow teeth, and we'll add some teeth on the bottom as well. Now let's add some detail to his face, and we'll make it a bit darker under his teeth. And I think that's good. Let's see it in game. Oh, that is not what we want. Okay, that looks better. Honestly, this might be the scariest mob we've made yet. The way he flies is terrifying. Let's see a baby Rush. Okay, that's not as bad. At least it looks like I could beat this one in a fight. Let's spawn an army of Rushes. And let's see if I can get away from them. Oh god, I'm still on half a heart. Okay, now we're ready. Okay, he's not as scary now that I know how slow he moves. This would still be terrifying if I saw this in the game. Alright, I'm going to give Rush a 10 out of 10. He turned out really good. It's time for the next mob. Next, we'll make Jack, and I'm going to make him from a skeleton. Let's color his body fully black, and we'll add his nose, and we'll shape his mouth and eye. Now let's add his teeth. Okay, this doesn't look good. Let's add his nose again, and we'll also draw his mouth. Now let's add his eye, and we'll add some small yellow teeth. And now we'll color the sides of his head half white and half black. And I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Oh yeah, nighttime. Okay, that's better. Honestly, I don't know whether I like this or not. I feel like the yellow teeth kind of ruin it. Like, it just looks like he hasn't been to the dentist in a while. Let's spawn an army of Jacks, and let's see if the Jack army can beat Glitch. Oh god, they're all shooting each other. Glitch is just down here getting free kills because half of them are fighting. Okay, Glitch basically won. It's up to these 5 Jacks over here who don't seem to be interested in fighting him. Oh, they actually did it. I'm surprised they won that considering half of them killed each other. Alright, I'm going to give Jack an 8 out of 10. He doesn't look that good in Minecraft. I added Pokemon to Minecraft. First I made Lugia. Let's remove his legs and we'll make his body a lot smaller. Now let's give him a neck. Now finally let's add the blue parts on his back. And I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Whoa, he is really big. Okay, I think he actually looks really good. There is one problem with him though. He literally just doesn't move. It makes him look so menacing when he's flying around though. Let's find Lugia in the nether. Oh, there's one literally right there. This is so weird because normally Lugia would be found in the water. I guess this is a special Lugia then. Let's spawn an army of Lugias. It's hard to spawn them because they're so big. Okay, I think there's a few too many Lugias around here. Let's catch a Lugia and a Pokeball. I don't think it's working. What about a Master Ball? Nope, still won't work. Alright, I'm going to give Lugia a 7 out of 10. He can't move. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Quaxly. Let's move his body. Next let's color him white, and we'll color his beak yellow, and we'll give him some eyes, and I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, something is wrong with his arms. Okay, that only made the problem worse. Okay, I don't know how to fix this. This is good enough. Alright, his head moves really weird as well, but other than that, I think he looks fine. Okay, I'm lying. It's definitely not fine. Let's spawn a baby Quaxly. Okay, this is even worse. What is wrong with his head? I'm getting rid of this one. Let's see if I can catch Quaxly in a Pokeball. Okay, this joke really isn't funny. Let's spawn a Quaxly army, and let's have them all follow me. I finally have my own duck army. Subscribe to join the duck army. Alright, I'm going to give Quaxly a 5 out of 10. I like him, but he's too broken. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Magikarp. Let's make his body smaller, and we'll color him orange. Now let's color in his fins, and we'll color his back fin white. Now let's give him some eyes, and that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Okay, I should probably spawn him in water. Honestly, I'm surprised with how this turned out. He looks really good. Let's spawn a Magikarp army. Is there a baby salmon? No, there isn't. I wonder if these guys will fight an Axolotl. No, but the Axolotl will fight them. Let's try to grow him into a Gyarados. Okay, this isn't working. I guess Magikarp is boring in Minecraft as well. I almost forgot the Pokeball test. This doesn't even make sense. How am I throwing snowballs in water? Alright, I'm going to give Magikarp an 8 out of 10. He looks good, but he's boring. It's time for the next mob. Next, I made Charizard. Let's color his body fully orange, and we'll turn these spikes into his ears. Now let's color his head orange, and we'll make his mouth light red. Now let's give him some teeth, and we'll also add his eyes. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. Although I have no idea why he has 2 tails. He didn't even have a tail in Blockbench. Also, his neck looks different as well. That's so weird. Let's see if we can catch Charizard in a Pokeball. Alright, it's not working. Charizard is probably more of a Master Ball type anyway. Okay, Charizard is perching. Just imagine he's breathing fire right now. Alright, I'm going to give Charizard an 8 out of 10. I think he looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Mew. Let's remove the legs, and we'll add a head. Now let's color the head and body pink, and we'll add his legs. Now let's add his arms, and we'll rotate his arms and legs a little bit, and I think that turned out pretty good. Let's see it in game. Okay, that doesn't actually look bad, but the eyes are off center somehow. Out of all the Pokemon I've made, Mew definitely looks the best. The sounds he makes is really weird though. Let's see a baby Mew. Oh my god, it's literally so small. This is probably an accurate size for a bee though. Let's spawn an army of Mews. Okay, the sound has gotten way worse. What if I attack a Mew? Oh god, this is not good. The sound has gotten even worse now. It sounds like a tiny airplane trying to take off. Alright, I give Mew an 8 out of 10. It turned out pretty good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Charmander. Let's delete his back legs, and we'll change his body shape a bit. Now let's make his mouth look open, and we'll color the back of his mouth pink. Now let's give him some eyes, and we'll give him a couple nostrils as well. Okay, that looks kind of weird. Let's see it in game. Okay, this just doesn't look like Charmander. I think this is the Digimon version, honestly. He looks kind of like the car insurance guy. And of course, the texture is broken in random places. Let's see a baby Charmander. I don't know why I always try to spawn a baby creeper. Let's spawn a Charmander army. Now let's see if Charmander can defeat an enemy Squirtle. Wow, this fight is amazing. Pokeball test. Nope. Let's see the supercharged Charmander. How is he burning? He's literally a fire Pokemon. This is probably the best the charge has looked on any custom creeper. Charmander, use self-destruct. Oh no, he killed the other charged creeper. Wait, that dropped a creeper head though. Alright, I give Charmander a 6 out of 10. He looks kind of strange. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Squirtle. Let's color his head and arm thingies blue, and we'll also color his legs. Now we'll add a white outline around the shell, and I'll trace over the shell with different shades of brown. Alright, just one more color left. That looks pretty good. Now we'll make his head a bit bigger, and we'll give him some purple eyes, and we'll add white to the outside. Next, let's give him some tiny eyebrows, and we'll give him a smile that doesn't look weird at all. Now let's make his spirally tail, and that looks good. Let's see him in game. Okay, let me know if you guys see the problem. It's kind of hard to spot. I don't really know how this happened, so I guess we'll just ignore that. But other than that, he looks fine. How does the baby look? I was hoping the baby was the size of a regular Squirtle, because this guy is clearly too big. Alright, Squirtle army. Okay, I have to fix the floating thing. Okay, that looks a lot better. Squirtle, use Bubble Beam, or whatever move he has. Oh wait, I have to catch him first. Nope, the Pokeballs still don't work. I wish I had made him smaller, because right now he's bigger than Blastoise. Alright, I give Squirtle a 6 out of 10. He just doesn't look that good. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Psyduck. Alright, let's delete all this, and we'll just get rid of his eyes as well. Now let's try to shape this into a duck, and we'll color it all in yellow. Now let's give him duck feet, and we'll color them a lightish yellow. Now we can give him a beak, and we'll color this the same color as his feet. Now we can add some little arms on each side, and we'll make his lizard-like tail. Now we can add the black tufts of hair to the top of his head, and we'll give him some eyes. Alright, that doesn't look terrible. Let's see it in game. Oh my god. That actually looks good, other than the walking animation. Okay, that might not be normal. To be fair, the walking animation would kind of fit him if it wasn't broken. Let's see a baby frog. Oh yeah, that's a tadpole. Let's see Psyduck eat a slime. Okay, the slime probably has to be smaller. Oh my god, that is so cursed. Isn't this an achievement or something? Oh, I give Psyduck a 6 out of 10. He's just too cursed. It's time for the next mob. Next I made Pikachu. Let's color him fully yellow, and we'll make his nose black. Now let's add his eyes, and we'll give him his red cheeks and a little pink mouth. Now let's shrink his ears a bit, and we'll color the top of them black. And now we can add his lightning bolt tail, and we'll move this there. That shape looks pretty good. Now we just need to color it in. And we'll make sure the bottom of his tail is brown. That looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, he actually turned out pretty good. Look at the baby one. Look how small he is. Pokeball test. Why does it never work? Pikachu army. One fox could ruin it all. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Oh, what is he doing right now? I just can't believe how small the baby Pikachu is. It's like a mouse. I give Pikachu a 10 out of 10. I mean, how could you not? It's time for the next mob. Next I made Snorlax. Let's color him in greenish blue first. Now we'll change the shape of his ears. Let's make his face whitish. And we'll do the same for his belly. Now we can add his sleeping eyes, and we'll give him a smile with a couple of teeth. Now we can color his legs the same color as his face, and we'll add little brown circles to them as well. And now finally we can give him some claws, and we'll color them white. I think that looks decent. Let's see it in the game. Yo, that actually looks pretty cool. And baby Snorlax, yo, he's doing a roll. Ignore the missing texture on his head. Let's give them some bamboo. Apparently the small ones don't eat it. I don't know what you're talking about. The head is fine. I'm pretty sure Snorlax is supposed to be sleeping. We have to do a Pokeball test. Nope. Alright, I give Snorlax an 8 out of 10. It would be a 10 if he could sleep. Time for the next mob. Next I made Gengar. Let's delete his body and back legs. and we'll move his head down. Now let's color him light purple, and we'll add some tiny arms on the side. Now let's add the spiky parts on his head, and we'll give him some red eyes. Now let's draw his mouth, and we'll give him some angry eyebrows. And finally, let's give him some pupils. And I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, I don't know if that looks good or bad. I have no idea why his face is off center. Oh god, why does his head move like that when he's walking? Let's see if Ash can catch Gengar. Okay, I don't think he's interested. Let's see if I can catch Gengar. Nope, it's still not working. Let's spawn an army of Gengars. Okay, now Ash is interested in the Gengars. Let's see a supercharged Gengar. Oh god, they're all on fire. I don't know why I keep doing this. It never works. Let's see if Gengar can kill Ash. Yeah, I don't think that's what happens in the show. Alright, I give Gengar a 6 out of 10. I don't know why his face isn't centered. The next mob is a creeper. What will we get? And we got Penguin. For this one, I think I'm going to make one of the penguins of Madagascar. Let's remove his head and back legs. Now let's make his body bigger, and we'll color his body white. Now let's color his feet orange, and we'll extend his head out a bit. Now let's color his sides and back black, and we'll add a bit more detail on his head. Now let's give him some eyes, and we'll extend out his beak. Now let's color his beak orange, and we'll extend it out a bit more. Now let's give him some arms, and we'll color his arms black, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, he actually looks kinda good. For some reason, his face seems really accurate. Although I don't think penguins live in the jungle, we should bring him somewhere colder. This is much better. Let's spawn an army of penguins. And of course, we have to see a supercharged penguin. How are you on fire with all this snow around you? Honestly, you can barely even see the charge because of the snow. Let's blow up a penguin. Rip the bunny. I wonder if the penguins can beat a cat. Okay, the cat isn't even chasing them. This is stupid. Alright, I'm going to give the penguin an 8 out of 10. I think he doesn't look that bad. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a zombie. Translate, and we got Sasquatch. For this one, I think I'll make Chewbacca. Let's color him fully brown, and we'll extend out the bottom of his face a bit. Now let's add his eyes, and we'll give him a nose, and we'll add his mouth underneath. Now let's add the strap across his chest, and we'll do the same on his back. Next, let's make some parts of his body darker brown, and we'll add some detail to his head. Alright, I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Alright, something about him looks kind of weird. I think his mouth looks more like a dog than anything. Although I'm pretty sure Chewbacca is part dog or something, so I don't know. Let's spawn a baby Chewbacca. Okay, I don't really like his big head. Let's spawn an army of Chewbaccas. And let's see if they can beat Seek. Okay, I don't think the Chewbaccas are fighting Seek. What about Chewbacca army versus Dr. Eggman? Dr. Eggman is getting destroyed. Dr. Eggman was no match for the Chewbacca army. Alright, I'm going to give Chewbacca an 8 out of 10. He doesn't look too bad. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a wolf. Translating, and we got orange. For this one, I think I'm going to make the orange rainbow friend. Let's change the shape of his tail, and we'll also make his body smaller. Now let's color him orange, and we'll rotate his body. Next, let's make his legs smaller, and we'll finish his tail. Now let's give him some arms, and let's make his mouth look like it's open. Next, we'll color the inside of his mouth, and we'll give him some teeth. Okay, these are way too big. That looks better. Now let's give him some eyes, and finally we'll give him some fingers and toes. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. Let's see it in game. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys see the problem here. That should be good enough. Okay, his head definitely does not work though. I guess wolves bend their head a lot. Let's spawn a baby orange. It's the same thing with a bigger head. Let's try to tame orange. Yeah, this is perfectly normal. Nothing is wrong here. Now he just has a big red square and his tail is broken. Let's spawn an army of oranges. And let's see them take down a skeleton. Okay, the skeleton got eaten in like 2 seconds. Come on, Orange, take down the warden. Oh no, that was fast. Alright, I'm going to give Orange a 6 out of 10. He was kinda cursed. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a pillager. What will we get? And we got Cookie. For this one, I'm going to make Cookie Monster. Let's make his arms bigger, and we'll also make his legs bigger. Now let's extend out his body, and we'll color him fully blue. Now let's make his head a bit bigger, and we'll make his mouth look like it's open. Now let's color the back of his mouth black, and we'll give him some eyes. Now let's give him some feet, and finally we'll give him some fingers. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let's see him in game. Okay, this doesn't look too bad. He needs to put down the bow though. I wonder if I can give him a cookie to make him stop. It doesn't look like he's interested in my cookies. What if we give him a Sandy instead? Okay, Cookie Monster's aim is really bad. Come on, Cookie Monster, you can do it. Okay, that was a nice shot. Dang, never mind. Cookie Monster, I'm sorry for disrespecting you. Let's spawn an army of Cookie Monsters. Now let's see if they can beat Seek. Okay, nobody wants to fight Seek. Let's see if they can beat Orange. Okay, Orange didn't even have a chance. At least he killed one of them. Alright, I'm going to give Cookie Monster a 7 out of 10. He was kinda boring. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an Enderman. Translate, and we got Tree. For this one, I think I'll make Groot. Let's make his body a bit bigger, and we'll do the same for his arms. and his legs. Now let's color his body brown, and we'll change the shape of his head. Now let's color his head as well, and we'll give him some eyes. Now let's give him a mouth, and we'll add the branches to his head. Now let's add the branches on his shoulder, and we'll give his body some green details. And I think we're done. Let's see this in game. Okay, this is one of the worst mobs I've made yet. He just literally has no detail. Okay, he's stealing the grass block. Wait, where is he going? Let's go find Groot in the end. Okay, there's way too many Groots in here. I wonder what he looks like when he's angry. Okay, it's just the usual floating head. Let's get chased by an army of Groots. I gotta heal to full health first. Okay, how are they already hitting me? Oh my god, I'm almost dead. Groot army, relax, I'm sorry. Charizard, please help me. Okay, they caught me. Alright, I'm going to give Groot a 4 out of 10. He doesn't look that good in Minecraft. Next, we'll translate a villager. What will we get? And we got one day. One day that's coming up is Halloween, so I think I'm gonna make a Reaper with a pumpkin head. Let's delete some of the stuff we don't need, and we'll make his legs a little bit smaller. Now let's move his body up, and we'll make his legs longer as well. Next, let's give him a neck, and we'll start giving him some new legs. Now let's give him a shoe like this, and that's looking pretty good, so let's work on his arms. Let's bend his arms out like this, and we'll give him a little hand on the end of it. And now let's copy this over to the other side. Next, let's work on his pumpkin head. We'll shape the head into a pumpkin like this, and next we'll start to add a carved out face on his head as well. Now let's add a little stem on top, and this is looking pretty good, so let's give him some color. First, we'll color his shirt black, and we'll do the same for his pants. Now let's color the pumpkin completely orange, and we'll color the stem green as well. Now I'm gonna overlay his shirt a bit to make it look kind of torn up, and we'll do this on the arms as well. Now finally, let's add his Reaper sight, and this guy's looking pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is how the Halloween guy looks in game. That's what I ended up naming him, Halloween guy. But yeah, he actually looks pretty good. I will say the shaders make his clothes look a little bit boring though. There was way more color in Blockbench. But to make up for it, I made him make witch noises, which makes him seem pretty scary. The witch noises aren't the only scary thing though, because when the Halloween guy sees you, he instantly turns it to night and strikes lightning all around him. His attack is also pretty scary, as he literally just teleports around you until you're dead. The good news is he's not nearly as powerful as the six-headed demon though. He gets 2 shot by him. If you kill the Halloween guy, he drops his scythe, which is definitely not just an iron hoe. It's the scythe that he's holding for sure. And overall, I think the Halloween guy definitely looks good, and his abilities fit him really well, so because of that, I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10 as well. The next mob is a pillager. Let's translate this, and we got It Was Terrible. The first time I made one of these videos, I made Sonic and it looked really bad, so I think I'm gonna make Sonic. So first, let's make his body a little bit smaller, and next we'll completely change the shape of his legs like this. Now let's give him his shoes as well, and we'll rotate this leg a little bit more and copy it over to the other side. Now let's make his arms a lot more skinny like this, and we'll rotate this part up a bit and also give him a hand. And I think this body looks good, so now let's move on to his head. First, we'll add a little mouth area like this, and we'll add the rest of his head on the back like this. Now let's add an area for his eyes on the top, and we'll also give him a nose. Alright, now let's give him some ears on the top, and we'll just add his hair on the back as well, and we'll copy this hair over to the other side. Okay, now I think it's time to give this guy some color. So let's color most of his body this blue color, and then we'll color some of his body parts a different color as well. Now let's give him some white hands, and we'll also color part of his shoes, and let's make the other part of his shoes red like this. Now finally, let's give him some eyes, and we'll just add a little bit of texture all around his body. Alright, I think this guy looks pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is how Sonic looks in game. He looks way better than the original Sonic I made. Sonic is also really fast, obviously, and I gave him a Sonic-like animation when he runs. It's basically just a Naruto run, but we'll just ignore that. When Sonic attacks an enemy, I also gave him an animation of him rolling up into a ball, which looks especially cool if he's hunting for coins. Ignore what happens when you put a bunch of coins in a row though, this is weird. If you kill Sonic, he drops Sonic Boots, which when worn gives you speed 4, basically turning you into Sonic. This is also what happens if you hold out one of these rings, so Sonic adds a lot of speed to the game. Sonic is also able to beat the Halloween guy in a fight, which is not really what I expected. I thought he would do worse. The six-headed demon is still undefeated though, and probably will be for a while. Overall, I think Sonic looks pretty good in game, so I decided to give him a 9 out of 10. Next, I'll translate a piglin. What will we get? And we got Feel Tired. If you feel tired, it's probably your bedtime, so I'm going to make a Clockman. Let's start by removing his ears, and I'm gonna split his legs into 2 like this, and I'll also bend them as well. Now let's give him a shoe, and we'll copy this to the other side. Next, I'm gonna change the shape of his body a little bit, and we'll also bend bend his arm a little bit, and we'll copy this to the other side too. Now this body is looking good, so let's work on his head. First, we'll give him a neck to connect it to his body, and we'll make this cube a lot bigger because this is where the clocks will be. Now let's also add his hat on top like this, and I think that's looking good, so it's time to color him in. I'm going to color his body dark gray like this, and we'll make it slightly darker for his pants. Now let's color his shoes and his hat as well, and finally we'll color the clock this color for now. And now it's time to start adding the clock, and let's add the hands on it like this. Now we'll add a few more details to his suit, and we'll give him a trench coat like this, and let's add a belt over top as well. Now finally let's give this guy some texture, and I think that turned out good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is the Clockman in game. It turns out he is a large Clockman, so I made sure I changed that on his boss bar. But he does look pretty cool in game, although his head is kind of big compared to the rest of his body. When the Clockman gets in a fight, he changes the time of day every time he hits an enemy. This ends up making it really weird when he fights the Halloween guy. The Clockman also drops a suspicious clock when he dies, and if you right click the suspicious clock, you can instantly change the time of day as well. This definitely is way too OP of an item though, as it basically makes beds useless. But it's still cool because it mimics his attack. But yeah, that's all there really is to the Clockman. There aren't many features that come with him. I still think he looks pretty good though, so because of that I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. The next mob is a zombie. Translate, and we got bathroom. For this one I think I'm going to combine a toilet with a zombie. So first let's change his body into the base of a toilet, and we'll start to build the shape of a toilet like this. Now let's add the toilet seat right here, and we'll also add the back of the toilet. Okay, now that the toilet is done, we need to connect his body parts to the toilet. So first I'm just gonna give him a bigger leg like this, and we'll copy this over to the other side. And now let's make his arm a little bit different, and we'll rotate it to the side so it doesn't clip through his leg. Now let's copy that to the other side as well, and it's time to work on his head. I want to make his head look like it's made out of water, so let's make the shape of a mouth like this, and we'll give him some water drops on the side and also some eyes over top. Alright, now it's time to add some color, so let's color the toilet completely white, and we'll color his head blue to match the toilet water. Now let's color in his mouth and his eyes, and we'll also recolor all the zombie parts because they look a little messed up. Now let's change the color of his hands to match his head, and finally let's give him some texture. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. Let's see how it looks in game. This is how the toilet zombie looks in game. I can't tell if it looks good or bad. I think it's just the default zombie clothes. They don't really match the hands and the head. The toilet zombie is also somehow really fast, which makes no sense because I'm pretty sure I made him slow. And if you kill the toilet zombie, instead of dropping rotten flesh, he drops wet flesh, which even though it seems cursed, it only gives you water breathing, so it's actually kind of useful. There is also a king zombie, which is way more powerful than the default ones. The king toilet also shoots water balls at you, which may seem like it isn't dangerous, but that is definitely not the case. If you kill a king toilet zombie, he drops a king's crown, which is definitely not an item from one of my previous videos. It's also not supposed to be red. I don't know what happened. But overall, I think the toilet zombies are a pretty cool addition to the game, so because of that, I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10. Next, I'll translate a skeleton. What will we get? And we got in Belgium. I'm pretty sure they invented waffles in Belgium, so let's make a waffle man. Let's start by removing all this stuff, and we'll move his arms away because we don't need these right now. Now let's shape the middle part into a waffle like this, and we'll just add a little bit of detail to make sure this looks like a waffle. Now let's make the top part of his arm a little bit bigger like this, and we'll add a bottom part to his arm as well, and let's copy this arm over to the other side. And now it's time to add some color to our waffle man. First I'm going to color both of his arms a really dark gray, and we'll also color his body waffle color. I'm going to color the lines on the waffle a little bit darker so they stand out, and now that looks pretty good, so let's just rotate his arms. And I want to make him holding a fork and a knife, so first let's add a fork in his left hand, and we'll color the fork fully light gray like this. Now let's add a knife in his right hand. Now let's add some texture all around him, and I think this guy looks too plain, so I'm gonna give him some eyes like this, and I'll also give him a mouth down here, and finally let's add some eyebrows on the top, and I think this guy is looking pretty good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is the waffle man in game. He definitely looks pretty interesting. I especially like how it looks like he's swimming in the air when he flies around. It's pretty funny. The waffle man isn't really a hostile mob, but you are able to tame him using cocoa beans, which I picked as an item because of Belgian chocolate, because our translate was in Belgium. If your waffle man dies, he drops a waffle, which when you eat it gives you strength and regeneration for 15 seconds. That isn't the only feature the waffle man has though, as you're able to ride the waffle man as well. He is quite slow though, so an elytra is probably better. Overall, I think the waffle man didn't turn out that bad, but he's definitely not my favorite, so because of that, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. The next mob is a cow. Translate, and we got glass of milk. Okay, this one is pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna make a glass of milk. So first, let's remove all the stuff we don't need, and let's rotate the body upwards so we can make it into a glass of milk. First, I'm gonna add an outline all around it that is going to be the glass, and we'll just put some parts at the top like this. And next, I want to make this glass of milk alive, so I'm gonna give him some feet on the bottom, and I'm gonna start working on some arms for him as well. Let's also bend the arm a little bit like this, and we'll copy it over to the other side. And finally, let's just add a straw on the top, and now it's time for us to add some color. First, I'm going to color the milk in white like this, and I'll make the straw a little bit darker so it doesn't blend in. Now it's time to color the glass, so let's color it a dark bluish color, and we'll also color his arms and legs a really dark gray. Okay, now that that's done, it's time to give our glass of milk a face. So let's add some eyes like this, and I'm also going to give him a little mouth underneath. Now let's add a little bit of texture to this guy, and I'm also going to change the straw to red so it stands out a lot more. Okay, I think that is looking pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is our glass of milk in game. He kind of looks like something you would see in a milk commercial. I don't think you want to drink this guy though. I doubt he tastes good. I will say his running animation looks pretty funny though. It's exactly how I would imagine a glass of milk running. The glass of milk also randomly does a backflip because that totally makes sense. Just ignore the fact that he doesn't spill at all. If you throw splash potions at the glass of milk, it does nothing because milk clears effects, and you can also clear effects by right-clicking him if you tame him with sugar. This means you'll never have to drink milk again if you have this guy, which is exactly what he wanted. I'm going to give the glass of milk an 8 out of 10. He's not the best mob, but he's definitely pretty cool. Next, I'll translate a pig. What will we get? And we just got light. For this one, I think I'm gonna make some kind of light golem. First, I'm gonna rearrange his body parts like this, and let's take his body and make it a lot bigger because it's a golem. Now let's change the shape of his head a bit to match his body, and we'll give him some arms like this. I'm also gonna give him a massive fist on the bottom as well, and we'll just copy this over to the other side. Now let's add some horns on the top, which I'm going to make into lanterns later, and this is a pretty good body, so now let's add some color. First, let's color his whole body a stonish color, and I'm going to draw a yellow area, which is going to be replaced with a glowstone texture later. So let's put another yellow area on his hands, and I'm also going to give him some eyes, which will be yellow as well. Now let's add a few more darker parts like this, and now that I've added texture onto him, he looks way better, but we still need to make the top things into lanterns like this, and we'll also give him some torches on his shoulders as well. Now let's change his eyes a little bit because they look kind of weird, and I don't think that looks too bad. Let's see how he looks in game. This is the light golem in game. I have no idea why he is orange. Okay, I actually have to turn off the shaders for this one. It's because I made it so the light golem emits light, which as you can see makes him pretty useful to have with you in the caves. If you want to spawn the light golem, he is crafted using 4 glowstone blocks and a pumpkin. I have no idea why you get to keep 2 of them though. That's weird. And other than providing a light source, the light golem also fights hostile mobs. He also strikes lightning every time he attacks them because he is the light golem, and this actually makes him pretty OP. Not good enough to kill the 6-headed demon though. Nothing will ever be. Overall, I think the light golem looks kind of strange. The glowstone is definitely kind of weird looking. So because of this, I decided to give the light golem a 6 out of 10. The next mob is an iron golem. Translate, and we got education. Okay, for this one, I think I'm gonna make the teacher golem. First, I'm going to make his body a little bit different of a shape, and let's add some shoes to the bottom of his legs like this. Next, I'm gonna give his arms an extra limb so that we can bend them. And now it's time to add some color, so first we'll color his shirt a lightish blue, and we'll color his pants dark gray, and his shoes will be brown. Okay, now let's add a vest all around his body like this, and I'm gonna color the vest brown just like we did for his shoes. Okay, now that's looking good, so it's time to add some details to his shirt, and we'll give him some hands, and I want to put one of those pointer things in his right hand, so let's do that. And in his left hand, I'm going to give him a book, so let's mirror this and move it a bit, and now we'll just give him some glasses like this. Now finally, I think it's time to give him some texture, and I think this looks pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is the teacher golem in game. I will say he looks a lot better than I thought he would. Overall, he just looks kind of weird with the clothes though. It kind of looks like he's from a monster school video. Similar to spawning the light golem, you need 4 bookshelves to spawn the teacher golem instead. The teacher golem can be especially useful to craft if you need to study, because every time you right click him, he tells you a random fact from Google, which was originally named Backrub according to the teacher golem. The teacher golem is also able to fight though, as he gives you a random potion effect every time he attacks you. But will that be enough to beat the 6-headed demon? It actually is, but that's only because he's somehow immune to his attacks. I guess he's just fighting smarter than the 6-headed demon. Overall, I think the teacher golem doesn't look the best, but his features are still pretty cool, so because of that, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Next, I'll translate a creeper. What will we get? And we got don't go. That's basically telling us to stop, so for this one, I'm going to make a living stop sign. First, let's remove his back legs because we don't need them, and we'll shape his body into more of a stop sign body like this. Now let's move his head up a bit, and we'll shape his head into a stop sign. Okay, that's looking pretty good, so now it's time to work on his legs. And let's just add a piece that connects to the body like this, and we'll copy this to the other side. Next, I'm gonna give him some arms, and we'll make these arms bend out towards the front like this, and let's copy this to the other side as well, and I think that's pretty good, so now it's time to add some color. First, let's color the stop sign completely red, and then we'll color his body a light gray, kind of like a stop sign pole. Next, I'm gonna put a white outline around the stop sign like this, and we'll add some text that says stop over the top of the sign. Now let's color his hands and feet a bit darker gray, and we'll start to add some texture like this, and I think that's looking good. Let's see how he looks in game. This is the stop sign man in game. For what it is, he looks pretty good. The stop sign man's running animation also looks pretty funny, just like the glass of milk. Since the stop sign man was made from a creeper, he has a random chance of exploding every time he attacks something. The stop sign man also temporarily freezes you when he attacks you because he wants you to stop. If you kill a stop sign man, he drops a stop sign, which is a weapon that pretty much does the exact same things that his attack does, so you can become the stop sign man. It's also a surprisingly good weapon to use against the stop sign man as well. Overall, I think the stop sign man is pretty funny, but he's definitely not one of the best mobs, so I decided to give the stop sign man a 7 out of 10. The next mob is a witch. Translate, and we just got yellow. For this one, I'm going to make Homer Simpson. First, I'll remove the hat and nose. Next, I will change the shape of his head. Now we'll make the head yellow, and we'll color in his mouth. Next, I'll give him his nose, and we'll give him some eyes. Now I'll make his mouth curve a little bit, and we'll move his shirt up a bit. Next, I will color his pants in blue, and I'll give him his white shirt, and we'll color his arms in yellow. Now I'll fix the collar of his shirt, and I'll give him some black shoes. Okay, that turned out good. Let's see him in game. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, I lied. He looks very strange. I also put both of his shoes on the same foot by accident. I don't have any donuts, but will he eat cake? Nope, I don't think it's working. Let's spawn a Homer army. That's pretty much all we can do. Homer's kind of boring. Homer army versus Iron Golem. What will happen? Oh god, he's destroying them. Come on, Homer, fight back. No, don't look at me. You're not fighting me. This is so sad. Rip Homers. Finally, one of them poisoned him. Alright, let's bring the Hulk in for help. Not even the Hulk can stop him. I give Homer a 6 out of 10. His fighting skills were not up to par. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a cat. What will we get? And we got Rocket. For this one, I'm going to make Meowth because he is Team Rocket's cat. First, we'll color him in dark white, and we'll make the bottom of his feet brown, and we'll do the same for the end of his tail. Next, we'll make his ears a different shape. I think those look pretty good. Next, we'll add the hairs that stick out from his face, and we'll put the thing on the top middle of his head as well, and we'll give him a couple of eyes, and a pink mouth. Okay, I think we need to change a few things. That looks better. Let's just add some teeth, and we'll make his pupils a bit thinner. Okay, that looks good. Let's see it in game. That actually looks pretty decent, and we'll spawn a baby. That looks more like Meowth. Let's tame a Meowth. Meowth dance? As you know, we have to do the Pokeball test. It's still not working. Alright, Meowth versus a creeper. Who wins? Dang, the creeper's not even gonna try. Time to spawn a Meowth army, and let's tame them all. Why is this one so hard to get? That somehow gave us an advancement. Now we have a teleporting cat army. Fight the creeper, guys. Alright, I give Meowth a 7 out of 10. He turned out pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a horse. Translating, and we got speed. Okay, for this one, I'm going to make Knuckles. Let's color him fully red. Now let's make his neck a bit smaller. Let's get rid of these ears, and we'll color his face in. Now I'll give him a little black nose, and I'll draw his blue eyes. Now I will put his smile on the front of his mouth, and I'll give him a little bit of hair. Okay, this kind of looks like a poodle. Now I will draw his white collar, and I'll give him his white knuckles. Next I will give him a couple shoes, and we'll color this part green. Now finally we just need to color in his tail. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's see him in game. Alright, I figured something weird like this would happen. Floating knuckles, I guess? At least the babies have legs. They look so weird because of the different horse types. Alright, it's time to tame a flying Knuckles. And now we have our own Knuckles. Yo, this guy's kind of fast too. Wait, can I make them all chase me with the golden apples? Nah, none of them can keep up. I wonder how he looks with horse armor. That somehow made him even worse. At least he kind of has legs now. Alright, I give Knuckles a 1 out of 10. So many things went wrong here. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a Vex. What will we get? And we got Green Dinosaur. For this one, I think I'm going to make Yoshi. Let's separate his legs a little bit, and we'll color him fully green. Now we'll extend his nose piece out, and we'll give him a couple nostrils. Now let's draw in some eyes, and we'll make the side of his face white. Now let's add his mouth underneath, and we'll make the front of his body white. Now let's give him some orange shoes, and we'll just give him his dinosaur tail, and we'll just color the bottom of it white. Now we can just add his red shell, and we'll add the white outlines on the side. Now finally we can add the red spikes on his back. Okay, that doesn't really look like Yoshi. Let's see it in game. Yo, that actually looks kind of cool. I have no idea where his other leg went though. Why does everyone's legs keep disappearing? One-legged Yoshi is better than no-legged Yoshi. Actually, it really isn't because he can fly. Let's spawn a bunch of Yoshis. I really thought this would be scary, but it looks kind of cool. Look how many of them are trying to get me. Yoshis versus Iron Golem. The Golem isn't so scary now. Never mind, he was able to reach one of them. Are the Yoshis even gonna fight back? What's up with all these mobs? Alright, I give Yoshi a 6 out of 10 because his leg is broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a Husk. Translate, and we got Scary Bird. I think for this one, I'm going to do Chica from Five Nights at Freddy's. First, we'll make her fully yellow. Next, we'll give the legs the animatronic look, and we'll copy that to the arms as well. And we'll also add it to the body. Now let's add some fingers. And we'll also add a thumb. Now we can color her feet in orange, and we'll extend them out a little bit like this. Now we'll add the beak. Let's color it orange, and we'll give her some teeth. This is already looking scary. Now we'll add her tufts of hair, and now let's do the eyes. That looks really weird. And now we can finally add the bib with the let's eat text. I know there's exclamation marks, but I couldn't fit them. Okay, this looks really scary. Let's see it in the game. Okay, what happened to the arm? Alright, now our problems are fixed. This definitely looks scary. Looks kind of like a cursed big bird. I apologize to this villager. I don't know why he's naked. Let's look at baby Chica now. Oh no, that's terrifying. Let's spawn an army of them. Oh god, I don't like this. Yeah, not so tough anymore. Oh no. I give Chica a 7 out of 10. Something about her face just looks weird. Time for the next mob. The next mob is an Enderman. What will we get? And we got faceless suit. So last time you guys wanted me to make Slenderman, so this time I am going to make him. Let's color his head white first. Now I'll make the rest of his body dark black, and now we can give him his tie. That looks good. Next we'll add some hands. Let's copy that on the other side, and now I'll give him some fingers and a thumb, and we'll color his hands in white, and now we can give him some shoes. Let's bring that over here, and we'll color his shoes a dark gray. Now I can add the tentacle things on his back. Let's put one here, and here, and here. That doesn't look too bad. Let's see it in game. Alright, I had to get rid of the things on his back because they wouldn't work, but I think he looks pretty good. I definitely think Huggy Wuggy was way scarier though. Yep, he still extends his head at me. Let's go to the end. Oh my god, dude, this is crazy. You don't want to no clip in here at night. Or any time at all. I don't remember this from the Slenderman game. Just do it, guys. I had to bring them to Slenderman's forest. I give Slenderman an 8 out of 10. I wish the things on his back worked. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a pig. Let's translate, and we got Red Plumber. This is going to be weird, but I am going to try to turn the pig into Mario. We'll start by making him fully red. Now we'll make his legs blue, and we'll add his overalls. I'll put the yellow buttons here. Now we can color in his face. I think we can leave his nose, honestly, and add some eyes. Okay, that looks weird. I'm going to make the nose smaller, and now he has new eyes, which look way better, and we'll give him a mustache and some hair on the sides and the top, of course. Now we'll make his hat. This looks really cursed at the moment. It looks much better in red. And now I'll draw the circle where we will put the M. But first let's give him ears, and we'll make his front legs red and add some gloves. And we'll color in the boots on his back legs. Now we can finally draw the M on his hat. Honestly, I kind of like it. Let's see it in game. This is definitely cursed, but he doesn't look too bad as a pig. Let's see him as a baby. Okay, his head is way too big. Oh no, there's a bunch of Goombas in the way. No, you're supposed to stomp on it. I think my Marios are defective. Certainly you can't mess this one up. Bruh. There we go. There's nothing down there, but I mean, oh god. I give Pig Mario an 8 out of 10. I think he looks pretty good. On to the next mob. The next mob is the Ender Dragon. Translate, and we got Blue Vehicle. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the Fortnite Battle Bus. This is going to be interesting. First, we have to get rid of all of this. Perfect, we're done. Now I'll extend this out a bit, and we'll color it blue. Now we can add a front, and we'll give it some tires. Let's color these in black, and we'll add yellow rims. Now let's start making the windows. I wish I knew there was a shape tool sooner. I was drawing these manually. Now we'll add some black stripes. That looks pretty sick. And now we'll put the lights on the front, and we'll draw the grill. Now we have to add the balloon to the top. I think that looks pretty good. The last thing we have to do is make sure it's connected to something, and we'll color these in. That looks good. Let's see it in game. Alright, we have to go to the end for this one. Oh my god. Why does this actually look really good? Oh, he's perching? I like how it just flips upside down. Okay, now we're idling. Oh, now he's back to work. Where are we dropping? Don't forget to thank the bus driver. He's been working hard. I give the battle bus a 10 out of 10. This is honestly the best mob I've ever made. Okay, Slenderman doesn't agree with me. Time for the next mob. The next mob is an Iron Golem. Translate, and we got Chimpanzee. Alright, I know exactly what I'm going to make. I'm going to make Donkey Kong. Let's start by coloring him brown, and then we'll color in his chest. That looks good. Now we'll add hands. Copy that over here, and we'll make his arms slightly shorter. Now we'll give him fingers and a thumb. Now we can color his hands and fingers in. That wasn't supposed to happen. Now we'll make his feet, and we'll color these in as well. Now we can start to shape his face, and give him some eyes underneath that. Next we can add a mouth. That looks really good. Now we just give him some nostrils, and add his ears, and we'll give him his wavy hair on the top. And finally we need to add a tie. We'll color that fully red, and now we just need to write DK on his tie. That looks really good. Let's see it in the game. Yo, this is kinda sick. Oh, his tie is gone. Let's see him fight some zombies. Oh no. Here we go. Good as new. Let's find a jungle. Now they're in their natural habitat. I wish I could spawn a baby one like Diddy Kong. Oh, they're dying. They can't get in. Rip skeleton. Alright, I give Donkey Kong a 9 out of 10. He looks really good. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a panda. What do we get? And we got Lazy. This is perfect. We can turn the panda into Snorlax. Let's color him in greenish blue first. Now we'll change the shape of his ears. Let's make his face whitish. And we'll do the same for his belly. Now we can add his sleeping eyes, and we'll give him a smile with a couple of teeth. Now we can color his legs the same color as his face, and we'll add little brown circles to them as well. And now finally we can give him some claws, and we'll color them white. I think that looks decent. Let's see it in the game. Yo, that actually looks pretty cool. And baby Snorlax, yo, he's doing a roll. Ignore the missing texture on his head. Let's give them some bamboo. Apparently the small ones don't eat it. I don't know what you're talking about, the head is fine. I'm pretty sure Snorlax is supposed to be sleeping. We have to do a Pokeball test. Nope. Alright, I'd give Snorlax an 8 out of 10. It would be a 10 if he could sleep. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a pillager. What will we get? And we got money challenge. I think for this one, I'm going to make Ryan Trahan. First we'll color in his skin. We probably want to get rid of this. Now I will give him a neck, and now we can give him his white shirt, and we'll add his shorts as well. Let's color these in, and we'll make his arms a bit shorter. Actually, never mind. Let's give him some fingers, and some thumbs. And now we'll make his eyes. I'm not sure if they are blue or green, so I am going to make them green. Now we'll give him some eyebrows and some hair. Now let's give him a mouth and a nose. I don't like this mouth. Now we need to make his hair look a bit better. Okay, that looks good. And now we'll make him holding a penny. That's a big penny. And let's give him a mouth again. Okay, let's see this in game. Whoa, Ryan, put the gun down. Okay, why do I keep messing the textures up? There we go. Whoa, Ryan, don't shoot the penny at me. Okay, this really doesn't look like Ryan. I don't know if his eyes are green. I think it's time for the Great Reset. I don't think that's how it works. Oh no, he's going on a rampage. This man is wiping out the entire outpost. I'm gonna give Ryan a 7 out of 10. It doesn't really look like him. Time for the next mob. The next mob is an LA. Generating text. Okay, it says rich man and some other stuff that we'll just ignore. For this one, I'm going to make Mr. Krabs. First, we'll delete these. Now we'll make his body bigger, and we'll give him his pants. Now let's add his legs, and we'll color his arms red. Now we can shrink his head and color it in, and we'll give him some eyes, and we'll make them kind of green. Now we'll make his face a little bit round, and we'll draw his smile, and now we can add his shirt collar and his sleeves. And finally, we'll draw his belt. I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Oh my god. I don't know what happened to his arms, but other than that, he looks good. Okay, his head is also messed up too. This must be what the Tooth Fairy looks like. Alright, Mr. Krabs, bring me some money. I never thought I'd see Mr. Krabs giving away money. Oh my god, Mr. Krabs, what are you in for? Don't worry, I'll break you guys out. And these guys too, everybody's locked up. Not you though, sorry buddy. I'm off to find the Krusty Krab. I mean, this is probably good enough. And Squidward's here already, this is perfect. Alright, Mr. Krabs, let's get this money. I like how he just glows underwater. Alright, I give Mr. Krabs a 7 out of 10, mainly because his model is very broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a spider. What will we get? Okay, I don't really know what a spider demon is, but Mommy Longlegs is a scary spider, so I think that's close enough. Let's delete these legs, and we'll shrink some of the body parts. Now we'll color this in pink, and we'll rotate the legs. Now we'll add another part to the legs, and we'll color her legs in pink. Now let's add the blue before her feet, and we'll add her feet. Now let's start making her hair, and we'll make it curl down like this. That should be good enough. Now we can add the blue hair tie, and we'll start drawing her eyes, and we'll give her some eyelashes. Now we can draw her big mouth, and we will put her lips on top. And now I'll just draw a little spiral in her hair. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Alright, that somehow worked better than I expected. I mean, the spider's eyes are still there, but other than that, alright, that looks much better. I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out in game. I thought for sure something was gonna break. Mommy Longlegs versus a wolf. Okay, that was pretty stupid, but I had nothing else to put her against. Mommy Longlegs army. Oh my god, why are they dying? What is this one doing? Yo, this one's doing it too. What is this emote called? Alright, I'm gonna give Mommy Longlegs a 9 out of 10. I think she turned out really good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a giant. Generating. Okay, we got a mouse who nearly had 100-year-old feuds or something. I don't know. We'll ignore the second part and make Mickey Mouse. Let's color him fully black, and we'll give him his shorts. Now we'll add his yellow shoes, and I'll make his face round. Now we can give him his ears. That looks good enough. Now I'll add the skin on his face, and let's give him some big eyes, and we'll just give him black pupils. Now I will add his nose, and finally we will put the white buttons on his shorts. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's see him in game. Let's get a giant spawn egg. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Well, almost. Mickey, I don't think we need to see that. But from the front, he looks pretty good. Giants don't really do anything, so why does he make a player damage noise? Mickey Mouse versus Donald Duck, size comparison. I don't think this is very accurate. Let's see if the wolf will attack him. I mean, he's trying to. Doesn't seem to be working though. It's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I think he's too big for the house. I'm going to give Mickey a 7 out of 10. He's kind of boring. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a creeper. Generating text. Okay, a clumsy guy when I made a team with a race. Something about dark matter clouds. What? For this one, I'm going to make a Fall Guys character. Alright, let's delete these legs, and we'll move the front ones to the middle. Now we'll shrink his body and his head. Let's color him all pink, and we'll make his legs smaller. Now we can give him little feet, and we'll just add his arms, and I'll just turn the arms a little bit sideways. Now we can give him some fingers, and we'll also give him a big thumb. Now I can make his head a little bit round, and we can start drawing his face, and I'll just give him little eyes, and we'll make him round on the bottom too. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's see it in game. That looks pretty good. I don't know what happened there though. Or there. I guess he's still a creeper on the inside. Can he do parkour? Come on, you're not gonna qualify or something. I don't know. I've never played Fall Guys. Alright, he lost. We'll give him something he can actually do. Come on, you just gotta make it to the other side. What if I put some sort of bait over there? What do creepers like? I don't know why I decided on a sheep, but we've added a sheep. Never mind, I have an idea. Yes, you can do it. Wait, no. Oh god. He's so close to making it to the end. Oh no. At least he didn't die. Alright, I give Fall Guys an 8 out of 10, but there are definitely some mistakes with this model that need to be fixed. Time for the next mob. The next mob is the Warden. What will we get? Okay, we got Big Powerful Man. For this one, I'm going to turn the Warden into Thanos. Alright, we'll make his head smaller, and let's remove his horns / ears. I don't know what these are. Well, now let's give him a torso, and we'll color his body in purple. Now let's add his yellow belt, and we'll color his pants brown, and we can add his yellow collar to the shirt, and I'll paint the rest of him light purple. Now we can add the Infinity Gauntlet, and all of the Infinity Stones, and we'll give him some biceps. Now we can draw his chin, and I'll give him some eyebrows, and some eyes, and finally I'll add his nose. Okay, that doesn't look great. Hopefully it looks better in game. Alright, I've traveled to the deep dark to spawn a Thanos naturally. That doesn't look like Thanos. Okay, that's much better. Not sure why he still has ears though. I thought we deleted them. Okay, it's finally fixed. I went through way too much effort for this dollar store Thanos. At least we can now see him come out of the ground. Yo, no way, Thanos is here. Okay, that wasn't that cool. Let's see if I can beat Thanos. At least I survived one snap. Alright, I give Thanos a 6 out of 10. He just looks kind of weird. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a bunny, generating, okay, a horrifying bunny and something about VHS tapes. For this one, I'm going to make Bonnie because he is scary. Alright, let's color his body fully purple, and we'll make his ears flop down. Now I will start shaping his mouth, and now let's give him a few teeth. Okay, 2 teeth is all he gets. Now we'll give him his black nose, and we'll start drawing some eyes. We'll make them red on the inside. Okay, that looks scary. Now we can color the back of his mouth black, and we'll make the top part of his mouth lighter purple as well as his ears. Now we'll do the same for his belly, and finally we will give him a red bow tie, and we'll make his arms look like they are made out of metal. Okay, that turned out pretty good. Let's see it in game. I always forget how small the rabbits are. Look how scary those eyes are. Oh my god. Baby Bonnie. Oh my god, it's so small. It's hard to be afraid of something so tiny. Bonnie Army. I have to do this. I'm sorry, guys. I think we broke the fox. Seriously though, what is the fox doing? Let me fix that. Yo, all these guys are emoting over here too. Alright, I give Bonnie a 10 out of 10. I think he turned out really good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a frog, generating text, and we got duck. If you aren't familiar with frogs, please read the label before you start. Okay. I'm going to make Psyduck for this one. Alright, let's delete all this, and we'll just get rid of his eyes as well. Now let's try to shape this into a duck, and we'll color it all in yellow. Now let's give him duck feet, and we'll color them a lightish yellow. Now we can give him a beak, and we'll color this the same color as his feet. Now we can add some little arms on each side, and we'll make his lizard-like tail. Now we can add the black tufts of hair to the top of his head, and we'll give him some eyes. Alright, that doesn't look terrible. Let's see it in game. Oh my god. That actually looks good, other than the walking animation. Okay, that might not be normal. To be fair, the walking animation would kind of fit him if it wasn't broken. Let's see a baby frog. Oh yeah, that's a tadpole. Let's see Psyduck eat a slime. Okay, the slime probably has to be smaller. Oh my god, that is so cursed. Isn't this an achievement or something? Oh. I give Psyduck a 6 out of 10. He's just too cursed. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an axolotl. What will we get? I turned an axolotl into a fish, which I refuse to talk about. Okay, for this one, I'm going to turn the axolotl into Nemo. We'll start by getting rid of all these legs, and let's change the shape of his head, and his body as well. Now we'll start coloring him orange, and now we'll add the white stripes on the outside. Now let's give him his little fins on the side. Now let's outline the white stripes in black, and we'll draw in this fin on the top as well. Now let's add some eyes, and now we can give him a smile. I'm actually going to change his eyes, and we'll put some eyelid type things above them. Okay, this looks strange. Let's just see it in game. Honestly, it doesn't look too terrible. I think he's supposed to be in water though. I realize now that Nemo is already in the game, so I'm sorry buddy, but there can only be one Nemo. I like how Nemo only went for that one fish and left the other ones alone. He's truly just asserting dominance. But as you know, they're supposed to be finding Nemo, so now I've got him locked up. Nemo is right there. Free him, Mother Nemo. I don't think that's how it happened. Okay, I'll free Nemo myself. Swim home, Nemo. Or just stay here. That works, I guess. Okay, I give Nemo an 8 out of 10. I'm kind of surprised with how he looked. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a creeper. Translate, and we got Golden Scare. For this one, I think I am going to make Golden Freddy. First, I'll delete his back legs, then we'll add his bent legs, and now I'll give him an arm. We'll copy that over here. Now let's add some hands and some fingers, and we'll color him in gold. Now let's rotate his head, and we'll color it all gold. Now we can extend his mouth out, and put another part on the bottom, and we'll add some teeth. Now we'll add his nose, and we'll give him his top hat, and some ears, and now let's add his microphone. And we'll give his arms the animatronic look. Now we can give him his eyes, and I'll touch up his face a bit more. That looks really good. Let's see it in the game. Okay, he doesn't look too bad. He should not be walking like that. Oh my god. I put way too much effort into the face compared to the body. It kind of looks like that horse. It kind of looks like he's riding a wheelchair, to be honest. Let's see a baby one. Oh yeah. Let's spawn a bunch of Freddys in this village and watch them run away from a cat. It's kind of ironic that a guy this scary is afraid of a tiny cat. This Freddy isn't though. I think you've got a problem there. He doesn't seem to care. More cats. Alright, let's watch a Freddy blow up. Amazing. Supercharged Freddy. It still has the shape of a creeper. Will we survive a supercharged Freddy with full netherite? Oh wow, that actually did a lot. I'm going to rate Golden Freddy a 9 out of 10. I'm honestly really happy with how his head turned out. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a wolf. What will we get? And we got Caterpillar. I think I'm going to make PJ Pugapillar from Poppy Playtime. Let's make his legs shorter and delete his body. Now we'll color this in purple, and I'll give him new legs like this. Actually, this one is supposed to be blue. Now we'll color this one purple, and we'll copy this back a few times. And we'll also copy his feet back too. Now let's color his face in, and we'll add his scary mouth. Now let's give him some eyes, and we'll add some teeth and color his mouth. Now let's give him his tongue, and we'll add his ears. Okay, so I redid his whole face, and I think this looks a lot better. I'm just going to fix his eyes, and that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Oh god, that is not supposed to happen. Okay, that's much better. I removed his walking animation, but it's going to have to do. Oh god, why is he phasing in the ground? Him moving like that is so scary. Time to tame one of my own. And now we'll see PJ versus Golden Freddy. Go after him, I punched him. Bad dog. Alright, now this is scary. This chicken better get out of here. Let's see them take out a fox. They can't catch him. He's emoting on them. Alright, we have to do this. Oh my god, Freddy even joined in too. Alright, I give PJ a 7 out of 10. His model is really broken. It's time for the next mob. Next I'm going to do a drowned. Translate 300 times. And we got sharp claws. Okay, for this one, I'm going to make Wolverine. Let's color him in yellow, and we'll color in his arms. Now let's add some blue gloves, and we'll give him his claws. Now let's add his red belt, and we'll give him some shoulder pads. Now we can make his mask, and we'll do his mouth area. Now we can give him some eyes, and we'll color in his boots. And now we can add the X on his belt. This doesn't really fit, so this is gonna have to do. Let's see him in the game. Okay, I don't think that's supposed to happen. Okay, that's a lot better. Wolverine versus the villagers, who will win? Yo, these guys got tridents. Wait, why does this one have a fishing rod? This guy stands no chance the babies are going to get him. The baby has a trident? What? Good work, guys. As you can see, the baby turned out good too. I honestly think it looks better. Okay, the noise they make is disturbing. Will PJ fight Wolverine? Oh no, they're ganging up on him. They're going for the golem now. They can't be stopped. Why is he targeting the babies? And the Iron Golem wins. Alright, I give Wolverine an 8 out of 10. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an Enderman. Translate, and we got Tall Pink. Alright, for this one, I'm going to make Kissy Missy. Let's color her fully pink, and we'll give her big hands and some fingers. Now let's color that in yellow. Now we'll give her some feet, and we'll start shaping her head. Now we can start drawing her mouth, and we'll add her eyes. Let's put some eyelashes above. Now we can do her teeth. And finally, we'll add her blue bow. That looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, that looks scary. And she's gone. She ended up looking very similar to Huggy Wuggy. I wonder why. Oh no. Staring contest. Who will win? She's holding a flower, but instead of using her hands, it's just floating in the air. Alright, let's check out the end. This might be scarier than when it was all Huggy Wuggies. Alright, it's time. This is terrifying. How long can I survive being chased by Kissy Missies? That's unfortunate. Why is the noise just getting louder? I give Kissy Missy a 9 out of 10. This is one of my favorite mobs yet. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a piglin. What will we get? And we got Fox. For this one, I'm going to make Foxy. Let's delete all this. That looks so weird. Now we'll shrink his head, and we'll also shrink his legs and his arms. Now let's color him in red, and we'll color in his shorts. Now we'll make his legs gray, and we'll add his feet. Now we'll put his belly spot, and since he looks like he's falling apart, we'll just color part of him because I'm lazy. Now we'll make his hand floating because it looks kind of detached, and we'll make the hook on his other hand. Now let's start shaping his mouth, and we'll add his nose. nose. Now let's give him some yellow teeth, and we'll add the hair on the side of his face. Now we will make his eye patch, and we'll color in his other eye, and finally we'll give him some ears. That looks pretty good considering I did it all in 16x. Let's see it in game. Why is he shaking? Oh yeah, we have to go to the nether. Why is everything purple? There we go. He's even holding a sword with his hook. How talented. Let's see a baby one. I don't know why, but his head shape is reminding me of Manny from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Let's locate a bastion, and here we will find some foxies in their natural habitat. Let's see if he'll fight Freddy. Okay, you can obviously see who had more effort put into them. Let's spawn an army. Okay, how long can I survive? Oh god, I think I won. I don't think they can get me. Alright, I'm going back in. Oh god, Freddy, help me. You didn't see that. Alright, I give Foxy a 5 out of 10. He kind of looks like a mouse. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a Vindicator. Let's translate, and we got Steel Guy. Okay, I think it's obvious that I'm going to make Iron Man. Let's color him in red, and we'll extend his mask out. Now let's color in his eyes, and I'll add some yellow to his arms. Next we'll add the blue to his chest, and we'll extend part of his chest out as well. Now let's add some yellow to his legs, and we'll give him his blasters. And let's add some fingers, and a thumb, and finally extend his feet out a bit. Alright, that looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, where did his arms go? Oh yeah, he needs to be attacking something for us to see them. Just use the blasters. Man's really getting embarrassed by a naked villager. Finally. Alright, it's time to go to work, boys. That's not Iron Man. The villagers don't even stand a chance. Iron Golem will take care of them. Never mind, he won't. Iron Man is just unstoppable. I give Iron Man a 6 out of 10. He needs arms. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a rabbit. Translate, and we got lightning. For this one, I think I'm going to make Pikachu. Let's color him fully yellow, and we'll make his nose black. Now let's add his eyes, and we'll give him his red cheeks, and a little pink mouth. Now let's shrink his ears a bit, and we'll color the top of them black. And now we can add his lightning bolt tail, and we'll move this there. That shape looks pretty good. Now we just need to color it in. And we'll make sure the bottom of his tail is brown. That looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, he actually turned out pretty good. Look at the baby one. Look how small he is. Pokeball test. Why does it never work? Pikachu army. One fox could ruin it all. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Oh, what is he doing right now? I just can't believe how small the baby Pikachu is. It's like a mouse. I give Pikachu a 10 out of 10. I mean, how could you not? It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a skeleton. Translate, and we got red web. Alright, I think I'm going to make Spider-Man for this one. Let's color him in red. Now we'll make his eyes, and we'll add a black outline. Now let's put some blue on his pants, and let's also add some blue to his arms, and we'll add blue to his body. Now let's draw the spider on his chest. Okay, that might be too big, but I think it looks good. I'm also going to edit his eyes a bit, and we'll make the red on his feet a bit higher. Alright, that looks good. Let's see it in game. Yeah, that's basically what I expected. He basically just looks like a player skin on a skeleton. I don't think he can shoot webs either. He looks like a dude in a costume that you hire for a birthday party. Enough Spider-Man slander. Can he beat PJ? He's just running away. Okay, he's not shooting webs, but I respect it. This is actually really close. And PJ wins it. Why was that actually a really good fight? PJ is going in for round 2. They're at home now. Spider-Man army. It's kind of like that meme where they're pointing at each other. Alright, I give Spider-Man a 5 out of 10. He kind of sucked. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a villager. Translate, and we got an angry blue guy. Alright, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to make Squidward. I forgot villagers look like this when they're naked. Alright, let's make his legs skinnier. And now his arms. That looks so weird. Luckily his nose is already perfect, so we just need to color him in. But first I'll add some tentacle-like feet. Now he is fully blue, or Squidward color, not really blue. And we just have to fill in his shirt. Then add the sleeves and the eyes with different color eyelids on top and reddish pupils. And now we will add a forehead line, not a unibrow. And finally we put some spots on the top of his head. Almost forgot to add texture. That looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. That looks so good. Let's find a village full of Squidwards. Open up. It's tax season. Wait, Squidward? Squidward must have finally quit the Krusty Krab. He's a farmer now. Okay, this is not okay. Baby Squidward, where's he gonna go? This reminds me of the episode where Squidward moves to like a Squidward-only village. Wait, these guys got drip. Alright, I give Squidward a 7 out of 10. I would use this over normal villagers. Time for the next mob. The next mob is a fox. What will we get? We got Quick. This is perfect. I'm going to make Sonic. I'm pretty sure Sonic is a fox, so this should be easy. So first we will make him all blue. Now we will fill in his face and his belly. And now we can do the arms. And now the rest of the face. Okay, these eyes are a little bit weird, but it should be fine. Now we add his gloves. And we have to make his back legs different from his arms. And we'll add his shoes. And I think that's it. Let's see it in the game. Yo, he's going crazy. I'm not as happy with this one as Squidward. Kinda looks like Sonic from Wish.com, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see a baby Sonic. Baby Sonic honestly looks better. Alright, Sonic versus Squidward, who wins? Oh yeah, they won't fight. Sonic versus Dr. Eggman. Well, they lay eggs. Okay, let's see if Sonic can collect these rings. No, you're going the wrong way. Okay, I will give Sonic some berries. I rate Sonic a 2 out of 10. He kinda sucked, not gonna lie. On to the next mob. The next mob is an Enderman. Translate. Tall, scary man? Well, that basically is an Enderman, but I guess we could do Huggy Wuggy instead. I've never played this game, so I have no idea what this guy looks like, but I think his head kind of spikes up like this, and then he has big feet. We have to make him fully blue, and we'll color his hands and feet yellow, and now we'll add some eyes. Okay, that doesn't look right at all. Now we will add the smile. I put different eyes, they still don't look right though. And now we'll add a bow, and he has big hands too. Copy that over here, change the eyes again, and we can add some spikes to his head. Okay, this looks like a scuffed Teletubby. Okay, I made some changes to the head and the face, and he looks a lot better now. I also gave him bigger hands, and now he looks completely different. Let's see it in the game. That looks pretty scary. Well, I'm not quite sure what Huggy Wuggy does. I would assume he doesn't extend his neck and run at you, but I think that makes him more terrifying. We have to go to the end and see this. There's so many of them. This is actually terrifying. This is actually where the portal in the deep dark takes you. But when you open a gum... Alright, I've had enough of these. I rated a 9 out of 10 though. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, especially after the first one. On to the next mob. The next mob is a chicken. Translate time. Okay, this one actually kind of works. I was going to do my own skin, but I decided to do Donald Duck instead, because Donald Duck has more drip. Okay, we'll start by removing this. We'll make the head a little smaller, and now we'll add a hat. Okay, this hat looks terrible. Now we'll drag the beak down, and we'll draw the eyes. Let's make the beak orange, and now we can add his shirt. Make sure that there are sleeves, and we'll add the bow tie thingy in the front, and finally the yellow stripe on his sleeves. That looks better than I expected. Let's see it in the game. Okay, it looks pretty good in game. Side by side comparison. Who has more drip? What about Sonic versus Donald Duck? Sonic's going crazy. What does baby Donald look like? He's so small, and he's following the big one. Let's take Donald to a shipwreck because he's a sailor or something. Not a very good one, obviously. The boat is underwater. I rate Donald at 8 out of 10. He's pretty good. Let's see if the next mob can top that. The next mob is a creeper. What do we get? We got Blackbird. Okay, I'm going to make the bomb bird from Angry Birds because that's kind of a creeper. Let's delete the body because birds don't have that, and move the head down. Now let's make the legs smaller. Actually, we'll delete the back ones and try this. I'm not sure if it will break the animation. Now we'll make the head a bit bigger, and we'll add a fuse thing to the top. Now let's add a beak, and we'll color him all black with an orange beak and orange feet, a little orange on the fuse. Now we just need to do the eyes, and we'll make him angry because he's an angry bird. Now we can color his belly, and we'll make his pupils stand out a bit. That looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. Dang, that looks pretty good. And the feet actually work. That's surprising. Yep, still blows up. I want to know what this looks like. Oh, that looks kind of weird. Alright, let's see a baby one. Oh yeah, there's no baby creepers. Alright, let's shoot him at some pigs. Oh, I missed. I will give him a 7 out of 10 because he doesn't work like a regular Angry Bird. Let's see the next mob. Our next mob is a cow. Translate. We got Nightwing. I've got an idea. I'm going to do Batman, but I'm going to make him a cow instead, so like Bat Cow. First, we'll color his suit in gray. Then we'll add the yellow belt. And now we can do the underwear. And we'll make his boots dark blue. Now we have to do the bat logo, which is going to be interesting. That looks alright. Now we have to give him a mask. And we'll leave his eyes and mouth peeking out like this. And now we have to add a cape. We'll drag this out a few. And now we will color his cape black, and we'll extend it out a bit on the edges, and copy that to the other side. That looks pretty good, not gonna lie. Let's see how it looks in game. That looks kinda sick, but does he fight like Batman? Nope. This is some good Batman steak though. Let's see a baby Batman. Alright, the texture is kinda broken, but baby Batman looks good too.
Just gotta kill his parents.
Kind of inspirational, to be honest. I can't believe they added the Batmobile to Minecraft. I give Bat Cow a 7 out of 10 as well. On to the next mob. The next mob is an Iron Golem. Translate. And we got Hard Shell. This is perfect. I'm going to make Blastoise. Let's shorten his arms, and remove this, and drag his upper body down. Now we can delete the nose, and add some ears. Now we can color him all blue, and make kind of a shell. Now we will color the front of the shell, and make the edges of the shell white. Now we will make the shell brown, and we will give him a chin, and some eyes. Let's add color to the ears, and now we can add his cannons on his back. Copy that over, and we'll make them both gray. I'm actually going to make his head shorter and more wide. Now we have to redo his face. Okay, this might be the worst mob yet. Let's see it in the game. Okay, Blastoise has seen better days. He's almost 30 years old though, to be fair. But can Blastoise defend the Squidward village? He can. Well, kinda. I guess we just need to see if he can fit in a Pokeball now. It doesn't look like it. That also seems to have made him mad. Alright, I accept my fate. Let's put him where he belongs with his family. I give Blastoise a 2 out of 10. He just looks weird. Next mob. Next we are going to do a zombie. What do we get? We got Mushroom Man. Okay, I'm going to make Toad from Mario because he has a mushroom on his head. Alright, let's shrink the head and make the mushroom on top. Maybe it will look better when it's colored in. We'll make it white to start though. Next we'll fill in his skin and make his pants white as well. Now we can start the outline of his shirt and we'll fill the rest in with blue. Now we can do his mouth and eyes. Okay, he kind of looks like the epic face. We'll add spots on the mushroom. There we go. And finally we will do his shoes. Alright, this might be worse than Blastoise. Let's see it in game. He also looks bad in game. But Toad is kind of small, so he will probably look better as a baby. I mean, it's a little bit better. Now let's see Toad as a giant. Oh, apparently giants are different. Now let's see 1000 Toads versus 1 Blastoise. I think it's clear who wins. Run, Squidward. I give Toad a 0 out of 10. I would give lower if I could. Alright, let's move on to the final mob. The final mob is a Ghast. Let's translate. And I got location. What can I even do? I actually have an idea for this. I'm going to make the Earth. Well, the Minecraft one. I don't go outside. Alright, we'll color it like stone first. And now we'll add the dirt layer. Next, we'll add some grass to the sides and cover the full top. We will also put a small lake on top and add a few trees. Now we can add the deep slate layer. And finally, we will put some black for bedrock. Now we just need to add a few ores. Diamonds, gold, iron, and some coal. The ores make it look worse, I think, but let's see it in the game. I realize now that this makes no sense. I made the Ghast the overworld when it should be the nether. Honestly, it looks so out of place in the nether. Well, at least the earth now shoots meteors at you, so it's like reverse dinosaurs or something. Let's see if we can get return to sender. Nice. Honestly, they should just hire me to retexture all the mobs. I mean, this looks so much better, right? Alright, let's spawn a ton of earths. Alright, I give the earth a 5 out of 10. It could have been better. Mob is a horse. Translate. And we got train. For this one, I think I'm going to make Choo Choo Charles. Let's remove all this stuff, and then we'll add a back part like this. Now let's color these pieces in, and we'll add the circular parts on the front. Now let's add his face, and we'll give him a mouth, and some eyes. Next, let's add some detail on the side, and we'll give him some legs like this. And now let's add them on the other side. Next, let's add his wheels, and finally we'll add a few details on the top. And I think we're done. Let's see it in game. I'm not gonna lie, I expected him to be a lot bigger. I wonder what baby Choo Choo Charles looks like. He's kinda fast actually. I was just hoping he was bigger. This is kinda disappointing. Let's ride a Choo Choo Charles. Okay, I think there's a problem. It looks like I'm flying. He's actually kinda fast though, so this is cool. Let's spawn an army of Choo Choo Charleses. Now let's stack them. Never mind, it won't let me stack them. They keep kicking each other off. I wonder if they'll fight each other. Nope, it appears Choo Choo Charles doesn't fight. Choo Choo Charles in Minecraft is kinda boring. Alright, I'm going to give Choo Choo Charles a 7 out of 10. He looks good, but he's really small. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is the Warden. Translating, and we got buff green. For this one, let's make the Hulk. Let's remove this stuff, and we'll make him a little bit taller. Now let's shrink his head, and we'll color him fully green. Next, let's give him some purple shorts, and we'll make them look ripped on the bottom. Next, let's give him some neck muscles, and we'll add his green hair. Now let's give him a mouth, and we'll give him some eyes, and a nose. Now finally, let's add a little more detail. And I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, he is really big. Our first mob was too small, and now this one's too big. Okay, he walks really weird too. What is this? Also, his legs are missing texture, but I'm not fixing that. Let's go find Hulk in the deep dark. Okay, his head is kind of going everywhere. That kind of looked weird, I won't lie. Now let's see if the Hulk can beat a gorilla. Okay, he literally one-shot him. What about 10 gorillas versus the Hulk? Okay, some of the big ones just aren't fighting. Yeah, that was still too easy for the Hulk. I guess I'm gonna have to step in. That did a lot of damage. How did that not kill me? Okay, the Hulk is too powerful. Alright, I'm going to give the Hulk a 7 out of 10. His animations are broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a pillager. What will we get? And we got Squid. For this one, I think I'll make Squidward. Let's make his legs smaller, and we'll do the same for his arms. Now let's color him fully blue, and we'll give him a head. Now let's add his smile, and we'll rotate his nose. Next, let's give him some eyes, and we'll color in his shirt. Now let's add some details to his shirt, and we'll give him some tentacles on his hand. Now let's add his tentacles on his legs, and I think we're done. Let's see this in game. What are these things? I wonder if Squidward can kill them. Okay, this is the weirdest fight I've ever seen. Who will win? Like for Squidward and subscribe for the dinosaur things. Okay, Squidward died. That means you have to subscribe. We never even really looked at Squidward, but I think he looks good. I'm not sure why the gray thing is attached to his nose, though. That looks better. His legs look kind of weird when he walks, but I guess that's fine. Let's spawn an army of Squidwards. Why do they always aim their bow at me in creative mode? It's time for the Squidward army to get revenge on the dinosaur thing. Okay, what is the dinosaur doing? Now all the Squidwards are just shooting each other. Okay, at least none of them died in a 30v1. Alright, I'm going to give Squidward a 9 out of 10. He looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a chicken. Translate, and we got Tall Duck. For this one, I think I'll make Daffy Duck. Let's rearrange his body parts, and we'll make his body a little bit round. Now let's give him a neck, and we'll add his head. Next, let's give him a beak, and we'll draw his eyes, and we'll add some eyelids above that. Now let's add this white part on his neck, and we'll rotate his left arm like this, And now we'll rotate his right arm like this. Next, let's color in his feet. And I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, his arms are completely messed up. I'm not even going to try to fix that. I don't know what's going on. Let's spawn a baby Daffy Duck. Not much better, honestly. He looks good if you ignore the arms, though, I guess. Let's spawn an army of Daffy Ducks. I don't understand how their hand ended up all the way over here. Wait, are these buffaloes? Nope, they're bisons. Let's see if a Daffy Duck jockey can beat a bison. I don't know if the bison fights back. I love how the baby is just following them around. Wait, they killed the bison. Honestly, I didn't think the Daffy Duck jockey would win. What is he still shooting at? Alright, I'm going to give Daffy Duck a 6 out of 10. He looks good, but he's really broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an Enderman. Translating, and we got Will. For this one, I'm going to make Killy Willy. Let's make his legs bigger, and we'll do the same for his arms. Now let's add the red thing on his chest, and we'll give it some teeth. Next, let's shape his head, and we'll give him a mouth. Now let's add some teeth to his mouth, and we'll give him an eye in the middle. And now let's add some eyes on the outside. Next, we'll give him some hands, and finally, let's give him some feet. Alright, I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. He actually looks pretty good. Of course, I put both feet on the same side. I think I'm gonna turn off these particles. They look kinda weird. Okay, that makes him look a lot better. Let's see a Killy Willy riding another Killy Willy. This is perfectly normal. Let's spawn an army of Killy Willys. Okay, that's a lot of them. Alright, I'm going to give Killy Willy an 8 out of 10. He looked pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an Iron Golem. What will we get? And we got Chief. For this one, I think I'm going to make Master Chief. Let's change the shape of his body, and we'll color his body green. Next, let's give him his mask, and we'll color the outside green. Now let's add the yellow part on the inside, and we'll add some gray details to his mask. Next, let's put more details on his legs, and we'll also add some to his arms. Now let's give him some feet, and let's add some texture, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I think this is the first time today there's been no problems. Okay, never mind, I messed up his shoulder. Let's spawn an army of Master Chiefs. Oh god, that was almost bad. Now let's see if the Master Chief army can beat a Squidward army. Okay, I kind of already knew they could, I just wanted to see it happen. What about the Master Chief army versus a Hulk army? I only spawned a few Hulks to give them a chance. Okay, maybe I spawned too many Hulks, it's not looking good. Yeah, I'm not sure if any of the Hulks even died. Alright, I'm going to give Master Chief a 9 out of 10, he looked really good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a cow. Translate, and we got Lion. For this one, I'll make Simba from the Lion King. Let's change the shape of his legs, and we'll color his body orange. I think we should remove his udders. Next, let's color in his head, and we'll start giving him some hair, and we'll extend his hair down a little bit like this. Next, let's extend out his mouth, and we'll add his nose. Now let's give him some eyes, and some eyebrows, and we'll also draw his mouth. Now let's give him some whiskers, and we'll add his feet. Now finally, let's give him a tail. And I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. Kinda weird how his head follows me though. Somehow I managed to make the cow look intimidating. Let's see a baby Simba. I don't know if he's supposed to have all this hair as a baby, but I think it's fine. Let's see if Simba can beat an actual lion. Never mind, there aren't any lions in this mod. I guess a tiger will do. Okay, that was fast. Yo, he's emoting on him. If I was Simba, I wouldn't take that personally. Let's spawn an army of Simbas. And now let's stack them on top of each other. This is definitely interesting. I wonder why you can't find this in vanilla Minecraft. Alright, I'm going to give Simba a 9 out of 10. He looks really good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a zombie. Translating, and we got blocks. For this one, let's make a Roblox character. Let's make his arm bigger, and we'll color his legs in green. Now let's color his arms yellow, and we'll color his shirt blue. Next, let's make his head yellow, and we'll make his head a little bit round. Now let's draw his mouth, and we'll give him some eyes. Next, let's bend his arms a bit, and we'll do the same for his legs. And I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, we should probably make it nighttime. I kind of forgot that his arms would be up like this. This looks kind of weird. But other than that, he looks good. I've added many things from Roblox to Minecraft, but surprisingly, this is my first time adding the Roblox Steve skin. I wonder what the baby Roblox character looks like. Yeah, his head is way too big. Let's delete this. Let's spawn an army of Robloxes. And now let's see if they can beat Master Chief. Okay, there's no way Master Chief is winning this. He's killing them so slowly. Roblox is just too OP. Now let's see if they can beat a rhinoceros. Okay, the rhino is ready. He's going crazy on this guy. Yo, he's fighting 3 at the same time. Since when did the drowns join the fight? Okay, it appears they're stuck. Oh, the Robloxes are turning into drowns. I was so confused. Okay, this isn't working. They won't leave the water. Alright, I'm going to give the Roblox character a 7 out of 10. I don't really like his arms. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a fox. What will we get? And we got Space Fox. For this one, I think I'm going to make Ratchet. Let's remove his front legs, and we'll move his body to make him stand on 2 legs. Now let's color his shirt, and we'll also color in his pants. Next, let's give him a mouth, and we'll color his head. Now let's give him some ears, and we'll add his eyes, and some eyebrows. Next, let's give him his hat, and we'll add his arms. Now let's give him some gloves, and finally we'll add his shoes. Alright, I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Alright, he doesn't look too bad. Never mind, there's something wrong with his head. Okay, what is this? This is worse. Okay, I fixed his head. Yo, he's going crazy on Daffy Duck. I think he's holding that chicken. I honestly can't tell. Let's see if Ratchet can take down a raccoon. Yo, the raccoon is going kinda crazy. Okay, Ratchet won that somehow. Let's spawn a Ratchet army. Okay, they need to stop doing this. What is this? Now let's see if the Ratchet army can beat a raccoon army. Okay, I can only make them fight one single raccoon. That sucks. Alright, I'm going to give Ratchet a 7 out of 10. He was kinda broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a creeper. Translate, and we got Toad. For this one, let's make Toad from Mario. Let's delete his back legs, and we'll shrink his legs. Now let's make his body smaller, and we'll color his shoes. Now let's color his pants, and let's also color his body, and his head. Now let's give him a mouth, and some eyes, and we'll add his hat. Now let's add his blue shirt, and I think I'm gonna change his mouth. Now let's add the circles on his hat, and finally we'll give him some arms. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's see him in game. Okay, something is wrong with his legs. Of course something is wrong, when isn't it? Okay, that's fixed enough for me. Other than the foot problem, he actually looks pretty good. Let's see a supercharged Toad. The charge actually kind of fits him, it's not bad. Let's see if a supercharged Toad can one-shot a crocodile. Okay, I guess it can. Let's spawn an army of toads, and let's see them fight an actual toad. A really weird looking toad. Okay, the toad had no chance, he got one shot. Although all the other toads died too. Alright, I'm going to give Toad a 7 out of 10, he looks okay. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a piglin. Translating, and we got Talking Dog. For this one, I think I'll make Brian from Family Guy. Let's delete this stuff, and we'll make him a bit shorter. Now let's color him fully white, and we'll extend out his face. Now let's give him a nose, and we'll add his ears. Next, let's give him some eyes, and we'll add his red collar. Now let's add the gold dog tag underneath, and we'll give him some fingers, and some feet. Now finally, let's add his tail, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, he doesn't look too bad. Not sure why he still has an ear though. That looks a little bit better. Oh yeah, we should go to the nether. Okay, here is Brian in the nether wearing some really big pants. Let's give him some different drip instead. That looks a lot better. Now he's ready for battle. Let's spawn an army of Brians. Oh yeah, I forgot to look at the baby Brian. He just looks weird. Now let's see if they can beat the Mothman. Okay, I'm not sure what the Mothman is doing. He's kind of just eating shots. Never mind, he's going crazy now. What is this attack? Wait, he's gonna win this. Okay, he just retreated with 3 left. Alright, I'm going to give Brian an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a rabbit. What will we get? And we got Mouse. For this one, I think I'll make Jerry. Let's remove all this stuff, and we'll extend his body up. Now let's color him brown, and we'll give him a new head. Now let's extend out his mouth area, and we'll give him a mouth and a nose. Now let's add his eyes, and we'll give him some ears. Next, let's draw his whiskers, and we'll color in his belly. Now finally, let's give him some arms, and that doesn't look too bad. Let's see it in game. Okay, that doesn't look that bad. I have no idea why he's sideways though. Also, the way he is walking is kind of weird. Whatever, this is fine, I guess. Let's see a baby Jerry. He's not much smaller somehow. Now let's see if Jerry can beat Ratchet. Okay, Jerry had no chance. He died in 1 second. Maybe he just needs a bodyguard. Okay, what is going on? I guess not even the bodyguards can save him. Let's spawn an army of Jerrys. Okay, Ratchet is still just killing them. I'm just gonna let it happen. Jerry doesn't look that great anyway. Alright, I'm going to give Jerry a 6 out of 10. He looks alright. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a villager. Translate, and we got Aardvark. For this one, let's make Arthur. Let's color his shirt yellow, and we'll color his pants blue, and we'll color in his hands. Now let's color in his head, and we'll give him some ears. Next, let's add his eyes, and we'll give him a mouth, and some nostrils. Now let's draw his glasses, and we'll give his shirt a white color. Now let's give him some red shoes, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. I found the Simba Tower, and it's gotten significantly smaller. Anyways, Arthur looks fine. His face looks kinda goofy though. Let's see a baby Arthur. I think he looks better when he's smaller. Let's watch Arthur get chased by Master Chief. Wait, I forgot that Master Chief is the Iron Golem. Let's watch Arthur get chased by the Roblox character. Now Arthur could actually win because Roblox is going to burn. All Arthur has to do is move, which it doesn't look like he's doing. Okay, Arthur just barely got away, only to die die to a tiger right after. Let's find an Arthur village. Okay, there's just no Arthurs in this village. I guess I have to spawn some of my own. Okay, maybe that's too many for a village. Alright, I'm going to give Arthur a 7 out of 10. He looks kind of weird. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a witch. Translating, and we got weekday. For this one, I'm going to make Wednesday Addams. Let's remove her hat, and we'll change the shape of her head. Now let's add her hair, and we'll give her some eyes, and a mouth. Now let's make her arms and legs smaller, and we'll color her shirt brown, and let's also color her pants. Next, let's add her braids, and we'll give her a white collar. Now let's add her hands, and we'll add the white spot on her dress. Now finally, let's give her some shoes, and I think we're done. Let's see her in game. Okay, I think there's something wrong with her arms, and also her feet. Okay, that's much better. I had to give her different arms, but they honestly look better. Let's see if Wednesday can beat whatever this thing is. Okay, it doesn't look like they're able to fight because of this house. Let's just get rid of this. Okay, this doesn't look fair for the flying worm. I don't even think the flying thing was able to attack. Let's try Wednesday versus an elephant. Okay, it looks like she somehow got the elephant stuck. Okay, never mind, she died. But how could you expect her to beat this giant elephant? Let's spawn an army of Wednesdays. Now let's see if they can beat Master Chief. Okay, I don't think they want to fight. Let's fix that. Okay, now Master Chief is taking a lot of damage. And the Wednesdays won that one easily. Alright, I'm going to give Wednesday an 8 out of 10. She looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a Wither. What will we get? And we just got X. For this one, let's make alphabet lore letter X. Let's delete everything except one of the heads, and we'll shrink it down like this. Now let's color it white, and we'll rotate it in the shape of an X. Next, let's add these purple things on the top, and we'll give him some eyebrows, and some eyes, and we'll also add his mouth. Now finally, let's add the purple things in the back, and we'll give him some texture. And I think that looks good. Let's see him in game. Okay, he still has the wither shape around him, but other than that, he looks pretty good. Okay, now he's just attacking these ratchets for no reason. Let's change that. Let's see if he can beat the void worm. Okay, I have no idea what's going on right now. This is kind of like a Pokemon battle. I'm not sure if the void worm does anything though. Wait, never mind. What is he doing? Okay, there's more void worms now. What is going on? I don't think X has any chance of beating this. The void worm is too powerful. Yeah, X is getting destroyed. I guess the void worm is the most powerful mob. It even makes these cool portals. Now let's see if the void worm can beat the Hulk. I don't even think the Hulk has a chance because the void worm is flying. Never mind, Hulk did a decent amount of damage. Okay, the Hulk is kind of stuck now. Okay, now there's actually more than one Hulk. What happened? They actually killed the void worm. But to be fair, it took 4 Hulks to do it. Alright, I'm going to give X a 9 out of 10. He looked really good. I got most of the textures for these mobs from Minecraft Earth and Dungeons, which means there is a possibility that some of these mobs actually get added to the game in the future. Obviously not with the same stupid features, of course. So let me know which mob you want to see in the game for real. I personally think Herobrine is a good addition. He's not scary at all. I added all 26 letters from alphabet lore into Minecraft. First I made A, and I used an axolotl to make A because A starts with axolotl. Wait, no, it's the other way around. I'm not going to lie, my A looked kind of ugly, so because of that, I added some grill lines on his teeth to really give it detail. And because he is A, I decided to spawn him on an acacia tree. Now you might be thinking I should have put him in the water, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Next I made B, and I made B from a bee because, well, you know. Everything about him was looking pretty good, but then I realized B has these eyes that are really annoying to make. So I gave him these messed up eyes, and I also got rid of the grill lines. I don't know why I did that in the first place. B is supposed to be a butterfly, so we'll pretend his wings are flapping because I don't know how to do that. Also, here's a bee army chasing me because I didn't subscribe before 500k. Next, I'll be making both C and D. For C, I used a creeper, and C is kind of curved, so I spent 5 minutes trying to perfectly rotate these pieces. I then added his teeth and gave him these angry looking eyes, and finally added some noise because noise makes everything better. Next for D, I used a dolphin, and I copied this piece with a squished dolphin's face on it until I had the shape of a D. I then gave him a sideways mouth and added his eyes, which make him look like he has 159 children in his basement. I then put C in the C, even though C doesn't start with C because C and C are both pronounced C, so it makes sense. And then I put D in the C as well because he's a dolphin. Now all either of them have to worry about is pirates. And drowning, because apparently C can't breathe underwater. The next letter is E, and for E I used the only logical mob, the Ender Dragon. I had to delete his entire body until I was left with half of his head, and then I turned his head into the shape of an E and finally added some teeth and his eyes right above that. I don't know how you would be able to kill the Ender Dragon now that you can barely see it, but that's not my problem. Well, actually, it kinda is. Next, I made F, and F is a bad guy, so I made him a frog because these are the only 2 mobs that start with F. I gave F these really ugly teeth that look nothing like the original, and then I decided to get fancy and rotate his eyes. Since F attacks everybody, we'll pretend that this slime is E, and he is being being eaten by F. We'll also make F kidnap D because why not? Next I made G, and I won't lie, I already made G before, so I decided to copy paste him onto a Ghast. For some reason G is really big and also flies around, which is probably not accurate. Also in the intro, F runs over G, so I tried to make that in the best way I possibly could. But then he shot fireballs at me, so I gave up. Next I'm going to make H and I. For H I used a horse, and he was quite easy to make. I added his eyes and his curved mouth, and then I was done. For I used an iron golem, and I decided to make him from a single leg. It turns out that I is also easy to make. All I really had to do was add his eyes and his tiny smile. I put H in a house, and I even rode him, which made me technically flying because H is a ghost. Then I put horse armor on H just to see how it would look. Let's just get rid of this. Next I spawned I in an igloo because what better place for an iron golem to live? I also thought he looked really funny when he walked because he's just a leg. The next letters are J and K. And as it turns out, there are no mobs that start with J or K, so I decided to use mobs that might sound like they do. For J I used a giant, which could be spelt with a J if you're in kindergarten and don't know letters yet. J looks really sus, and I think it's even worse that I decided to make him really big. You also can't really do anything except hit him, so let's move on. For K I used a cow, and I literally just spelt it wrong in my script, so this fits perfectly. I added this thing on top of its head and gave it some eyes and this bug mouth thing. I then decided to put K with B because they are both bugs. Also putting them together stands for Burger King. The next letter is LMNOP. Did anyone else used to think that was one big letter? Anyways, there's only one mob that starts with L, and that's the llama. Spit. Llama spit. I made L out of llama spit, which apparently counts as a mob. I then spawned a llama in the game and made it spit on me. I don't know what I was expecting from this, but this definitely wasn't it. For M, I decided to use a minecart, which also isn't a mob. I only used the front part to make him and spent too much time trying to rotate these pieces. I then added his eyes and his squiggly mouth and spawned M in a mineshaft. He doesn't really do much on his own, but you can kind of use him as a car. A very slow car, of course. There are no mobs that start with N, so instead I decided to make him from the Nether. I don't really know what my plan was, and I ended up just putting a picture of N on top of Netherrack. At least now when I enter the Nether, it looks a lot worse. He also could possibly be the new Netflix logo. This is actually just a cover-up for the fact that I forgot to make N when I was making the other letters. For O, there is only one mob that I can use, which is the Ocelot. O is annoying to make because O is a circle and Minecraft isn't known for its circles. But once I was done the circle, all I had to do was add his eye. After that, I decided to spawn O in Ohio. No, seriously, I don't know how this map even ended up on my PC. I even used H and I to spell out Ohio and then exited the world, trapping them in Ohio forever. For P, I decided to use a phantom. I've also already made P before, so I just copy-pasted her onto a phantom. Since P is a superhero, seeing her fly actually makes sense. But she is still very annoying like a regular phantom. Seriously, stop hitting me, the clip is over. Next I made Q, and nothing starts with Q, so I used a turtle. I added his big mouth, the little spots on his body, and finally I added his eyes. I spawned Q on the beach, and he was really slow, just like he should be. So I spawned an army of Qs, and then I gave them all slowness, and they literally couldn't even move. Is this mean? I don't know. Next I made R, and I made him from a Ravager. I used the Ravager's head as a body, and I gave him his eye, and finally I added his mouth. When I saw him in game, I realized I added too much noise, and he looks like concrete powder. Also, for some reason, R randomly has the ability to fly. Wait, no, that's just E pushing him. The next letters are S and T, and for S I decided to use a snow golem. At this point, I was getting really lazy, so instead of making a 3D mob, I just drew S on top of a plane, and that was it. S is a snake, so I put him in the sand, but then I realized that's not exactly where snow golems go. So I put S in the snow instead, and then I made him have a snowball fight with me. I also spawned an army of them and made them fight a bunch of zombies, and they lost. Really badly. For T, I used my favorite mob, a trident. I don't know how a trident counts as a mob, but it's already in the shape of a T, so this was pretty easy to make. Now I look really cool when I'm using Riptide, and I can also use T to strike lightning. But that's basically it. As it turns out, making a custom trident is kinda boring. Next, I decided to make U, and nothing starts with U, so I decided to make him from U, like U is in the viewer. I'm just kidding, I actually used a goat. I rotated these two corner pieces, which ended up looking really bad, and then I gave him his eyes and his mouth. After making U, I also add all the letters to spell my favorite word. Oh wait, I spelled it wrong. Next I made V, and V is a villager. Once again, I decided to only use a leg to make him, and at first I made a U because I forgot how letters work. I then rotated the two sides and gave him a couple eyes and a tiny mouth. His mouth didn't really look right, but at this point I didn't care, so I spawned V in a village, and there were arms above his head, which I also didn't feel like fixing. The final four letters are W, X, Y, and Z. And for W, I decided to use the Warden. I'm sorry, Wither. I don't understand why I have such a hard time rotating these pieces, but it ended up like this, and this is the best best it's gonna get. I then added 4 of the exact same eyes to W and then made a very complicated mouth to put on each side. I would rate W as 0 out of 10 in terms of design, but she looks really funny coming out of the ground. I can even spam W's in the chat and then get chased by all of them. Please help. There are no mobs that start with X, so I used the honorable mention from W, the Wither. I shaped him into an X, which was easy, and then I added these purple things on each side. Next I drew all the details on his face, and then I added these things behind him. Since X is a ninja, I decided to fight him in hand-to-hand combat to see who would win. But X decided to cheat and shoot a bunch of Wither heads at me instead, causing me to resort to ancient fighting tactics to secure the victory. I made Y out of a wolf because I don't know anymore, I just picked something random. I rotated these 2 pieces to make the shape of a Y, and then I gave her 2 eyes which blend in perfectly with her body and gave her a mouth that looks like it's from an emoji. I don't really know what I'm doing anymore, so enjoy this video of me taming a bunch of Ys. The final letter is Z, and somehow there is actually a mob that starts with Z, a zombie. So I made Z from a zombie head instead, which apparently counts as a mob. Since Z is a planet, I am demonstrating that by standing on top of Z. I even tried to spawn every letter on top of him, which didn't work at all. If the creator of Alphabet Lore is watching this, I'm sorry. I'm going to be Google translating Minecraft mobs 20,000 times and then making whatever result I get. The first mob is a horse, translate, and we got train. For this one, I think I'm going to make Choo Choo Charles. Let's remove all this stuff, and then we'll add a back part like this. Now let's color these pieces in, and we'll add the circular parts on the front. Now let's add his face, and we'll give him a mouth, and some eyes. Next, let's add some detail on the side, and we'll give him some legs like this, and now let's add them on the other side. Next, let's add his wheels, and finally we'll add a few details on the top. And I think we're done. Let's see it in game. I'm not gonna lie, I expected him to be a lot bigger. I wonder what baby Choo Choo Charles looks like. He's kinda fast actually. I was just hoping he was bigger. This is kinda disappointing. Let's ride a Choo Choo Charles. Okay, I think there's a problem. It looks like I'm flying. He's actually kinda fast though, so this is cool. Let's spawn an army of Choo Choo Charleses. Now let's stack them. Never mind, it won't let me stack them. They keep kicking each other off. I wonder if they'll fight each other. Nope, it appears Choo Choo Charles doesn't fight. Choo Choo Charles in Minecraft is kinda boring. Alright, I'm going to give Choo Choo Charles a 7 out of 10. He looks good, but he's really small. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is the Warden, translating, and we got buff green. For this one, let's make the Hulk. Let's remove this stuff, and we'll make him a little bit taller. Now let's shrink his head, and we'll color him fully green. Next, let's give him some purple shorts, and we'll make them look ripped on the bottom. Next, let's give him some neck muscles, and we'll add his green hair. Now let's give him a mouth, and we'll give him some eyes, and a nose. Now finally, let's add a little more detail. And I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, he is really big. Our first mob was too small, and now this one's too big. Okay, he walks really weird too. What is this? Also, his legs are missing texture, but I'm not fixing that. Let's go find Hulk in the deep dark. Okay, his head is kind of going everywhere. That kind of looked weird, I won't lie. Now let's see if the Hulk can beat a gorilla. Okay, he literally one-shot him. What about 10 gorillas versus the Hulk? Okay, some of the big ones just aren't fighting. Yeah, that was still too easy for the Hulk. I guess I'm gonna have to step in. That did a lot of damage. How did that not kill me? Okay, the Hulk is too powerful. Alright, I'm going to give the Hulk a 7 out of 10. His animations are broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a pillager. What will we get? And we got Squid. For this one, I think I'll make Squidward. Let's make his legs smaller, and we'll do the same for his arms. Now let's color him fully blue, and we'll give him a head. Now let's add his smile, and we'll rotate his nose. Next, let's give him some eyes, and we'll color in his shirt. Now let's add some details to his shirt, and we'll give him some tentacles on his hand. Now let's add his tentacles on his legs, and I think we're done. Let's see this in game. What are these things? I wonder if Squidward can kill them. Okay, this is the weirdest fight I've ever seen. Who will win? Like for Squidward and subscribe for the dinosaur things. Okay, Squidward died. That means you have to subscribe. We never even really looked at Squidward, but I think he looks good. I'm not sure why the gray thing is attached to his nose though. That looks better. His legs look kind of weird when he walks, but I guess that's fine. Let's spawn an army of Squidwards. Why do they always aim their bow at me in creative mode? It's time for the Squidward army to get revenge on the dinosaur thing. Okay, what is the dinosaur doing? Now all the Squidwards are just shooting each other. Okay, at least none of them died in a third EV1. Alright, I'm going to give Squidward a 9 out of 10. He looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a chicken. Translate, and we got Tall Duck. For this one, I think I'll make Daffy Duck. Let's rearrange his body parts, and we'll make his body a little bit round. Now let's give him a neck, and we'll add his head. Next, let's give him a beak, and we'll draw his eyes, and we'll add some eyelids above that. Now let's add this white part on his neck, and we'll rotate his left arm like this. And now we'll rotate his right arm like this. Next, let's color in his feet. And I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, his arms are completely messed up. I'm not even going to try to fix that. I don't know what's going on. Let's spawn a baby Daffy Duck. Not much better, honestly. He looks good if you ignore the arms, though, I guess. Let's spawn an army of Daffy Ducks. I don't understand how their hand ended up all the way over here. Wait, are these buffaloes? Nope, they're bisons. Let's see if a Daffy Duck jockey can beat a bison. I don't know if the bison fights back. I love how the baby is just following them around. Wait, they killed the bison. Honestly, I didn't think the Daffy Duck jockey would win. What is he still shooting at? Alright, I'm going to give Daffy Duck a 6 out of 10. He looks good, but he's really broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an Enderman. Translating, and we got Will. For this one, I'm going to make Killy Willy. Let's make his legs bigger, and we'll do the same for his arms. Now let's add the red thing on his chest, and we'll give it some teeth. Next, let's shape his head, and we'll give him a mouth. Now let's add some teeth to his mouth, and we'll give him an eye in the middle. And now let's add some eyes on the outside. Next, we'll give him some hands. And finally, let's give him some feet. Alright, I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. He actually looks pretty good. Of course, I put both feet on the same side. I think I'm gonna turn off these particles. They look kinda weird. Okay, that makes him look a lot better. Let's see a Killy Willy riding another Killy Willy. This is perfectly normal. Let's spawn an army of Killy Willys. Okay, that's a lot of them. Alright, I'm going to give Killy Willy an 8 out of 10. He looked pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is an Iron Golem. What will we get? And we got Chief. For this one, I think I'm going to make Master Chief. Let's change the shape of his body, and we'll color his body green. Next, let's give him his mask, and we'll color the outside green. Now let's add the yellow part on the inside, and we'll add some gray details to his mask. Next, let's put more details on his legs, and we'll also add some to his arms. Now let's give him some feet, and let's add some texture, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I think this is the first time today there's been no problems. Okay, never mind, I messed up his shoulder. Let's spawn an army of Master Chiefs. Oh god, that was almost bad. Now let's see if the Master Chief army can beat a Squidward army. Okay, I kind of already knew they could, I just wanted to see it happen. What about the Master Chief army versus a Hulk army? I only spawned a few Hulks to give them a chance. Okay, maybe I spawned too many Hulks. It's not looking good. Yeah, I'm not sure if any of the Hulks even died. Alright, I'm going to give Master Chief a 9 out of 10. He looked really good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a cow. Translate, and we got Lion. For this one, I'll make Simba from the Lion King. Let's change the shape of his legs, and we'll color his body orange. I think we should remove his udders. Next, let's color in his head, and we'll start giving him some hair, and we'll extend his hair down a little bit like this. Next, let's extend out his mouth, and we'll add his nose. Now let's give him some eyes, and some eyebrows, and we'll also draw his mouth. Now let's give him some whiskers, and we'll add his feet. Now finally, let's give him a tail. And I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. Kinda weird how his head follows me though. Somehow I managed to make the cow look intimidating. Let's see a baby Simba. I don't know if he's supposed to have all this hair as a baby, but I think it's fine. Let's see if Simba can beat an actual lion. Never mind, there aren't any lions in this mod. I guess a tiger will do. Okay, that was fast. Yo, he's emoting on him. If I was Simba, I wouldn't take that personally. Let's spawn an army of Simbas. And now let's stack them on top of each other. This is definitely interesting. I wonder why you can't find this in vanilla Minecraft. Alright, I'm going to give Simba a 9 out of 10. He looks really good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a zombie. Translating, and we got blocks. For this one, let's make a Roblox character. Let's make his arm bigger, and we'll color his legs in green. Now let's color his arms yellow, and we'll color his shirt blue. Next, let's make his head yellow, and we'll make his head a little bit round. Now let's draw his mouth, and we'll give him some eyes. Next, let's bend his arms a bit, and we'll do the same for his legs. And I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, we should probably make it nighttime. I kind of forgot that his arms would be up like this. This looks kind of weird. But other than that, he looks good. I've added many things from Roblox to Minecraft, but surprisingly, this is my first time adding the Roblox Steve skin. I wonder what the baby Roblox character looks like. Yeah, his head is way too big. Let's delete this. Let's spawn an army of Robloxes. And now let's see if they can beat Master Chief. Okay, there's no way Master Chief is winning this. He's killing them so slowly. Roblox is just too OP. Now let's see if they can beat a rhinoceros. Okay, the rhino is ready. He's going crazy on this guy. Yo, he's fighting 3 at the same time. Since when did the drowns join the fight? Okay, it appears they're stuck. Oh, the Robloxes are turning into drowns. I was so confused. Okay, this isn't working. They won't leave the water. Alright, I'm going to give the Roblox character a 7 out of 10. I don't really like his arms. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a fox. What will we get? And we got Space Fox. For this one, I think I'm going to make Ratchet. Let's remove his front legs, and we'll move his body to make him stand on 2 legs. Now let's color his shirt, and we'll also color in his pants. Next, let's give him a mouth, and we'll color his head. Now let's give him some ears, and we'll add his eyes, and some eyebrows. Next, let's give him his hat, and we'll add his arms. Now let's give him some gloves, and finally we'll add his shoes. Alright, I think that looks good. Let's see it in game. Alright, he doesn't look too bad. Never mind, there's something wrong with his head. Okay, what is this? This is worse. Okay, I fixed his head. Yo, he's going crazy on Daffy Duck. I think he's holding that chicken. I honestly can't tell. Let's see if Ratchet can take down a raccoon. Yo, the raccoon is going kinda crazy. Okay, Ratchet won that somehow. Let's spawn a Ratchet army. Okay, they need to stop doing this. What is this? Now let's see if the Ratchet army can beat a raccoon army. Okay, I can only make them fight one single raccoon. That sucks. Alright, I'm going to give Ratchet a 7 out of 10. He was kinda broken. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a creeper. Translate, and we got Toad. For this one, let's make Toad from Mario. Let's delete his back legs, and we'll shrink his legs. Now let's make his body smaller, and we'll color his shoes. Now let's color his pants, and let's also color his body, and his head. Now let's give him a mouth, and some eyes, and we'll add his hat. Now let's add his blue shirt, and I think I'm gonna change his mouth. Now let's add the circles on his hat, and finally we'll give him some arms. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's see him in game. Okay, something is wrong with his legs. Of course something is wrong, when isn't it? Okay, that's fixed enough for me. Other than the foot problem, he actually looks pretty good. Let's see a supercharged Toad. The charge actually kind of fits him, it's not bad. Let's see if a supercharged Toad can one-shot a crocodile. Okay, I guess it can. Let's spawn an army of toads, and let's see them fight an actual toad. A really weird looking toad. Okay, the toad had no chance, he got one shot. Although all the other toads died too. Alright, I'm going to give Toad a 7 out of 10, he looks okay. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a piglin. Translating, and we got Talking Dog. For this one, I think I'll make Brian from Family Guy. Let's delete this stuff, and we'll make him a bit shorter. Now let's color him fully white, and we'll extend out his face. Now let's give him a nose, and we'll add his ears. Next, let's give him some eyes, and we'll add his red collar. Now let's add the gold dog tag underneath, and we'll give him some fingers, and some feet. Now finally, let's add his tail, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. Okay, he doesn't look too bad. Not sure why he still has an ear though. That looks a little bit better. Oh yeah, we should go to the nether. Okay, here is Brian in the nether wearing some really big pants. Let's give him some different drip instead. That looks a lot better. Now he's ready for battle. Let's spawn an army of Brians. Oh yeah, I forgot to look at the baby Brian. He just looks weird. Now let's see if they can beat the Mothman. Okay, I'm not sure what the Mothman is doing. He's kind of just eating shots. Never mind, he's going crazy now. What is this attack? Wait, he's gonna win this. Okay, he just retreated with 3 left. Alright, I'm going to give Brian an 8 out of 10. He looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a rabbit. What will we get? And we got Mouse. For this one, I think I'll make Jerry. Let's remove all this stuff, and we'll extend his body up. Now let's color him brown, and we'll give him a new head. Now let's extend out his mouth area, and we'll give him a mouth and a nose. Now let's add his eyes, and we'll give him some ears. Next, let's draw his whiskers, and we'll color in his belly. Now finally, let's give him some arms, and that doesn't look too bad. Let's see it in game. Okay, that doesn't look that bad. I have no idea why he's sideways though. Also, the way he is walking is kind of weird. Whatever, this is fine, I guess. Let's see a baby Jerry. He's not much smaller somehow. Now let's see if Jerry can beat Ratchet. Okay, Jerry had no chance. He died in 1 second. Maybe he just needs a bodyguard. Okay, what is going on? I guess not even the bodyguards can save him. Let's spawn an army of Jerrys. Okay, Ratchet is still just killing them. I'm just gonna let it happen. Jerry doesn't look that great anyway. Alright, I'm going to give Jerry a 6 out of 10. He looks alright. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a villager. Translate, and we got Aardvark. For this one, let's make Arthur. Let's color his shirt yellow, and we'll color his pants blue, and we'll color in his hands. Now let's color in his head, and we'll give him some ears. Next, let's add his eyes, and we'll give him a mouth, and some nostrils. Now let's draw his glasses, and we'll give his shirt a white collar. Now let's give him some red shoes, and I think we're done. Let's see him in game. I found the Simba Tower, and it's gotten significantly smaller. Anyways, Arthur looks fine. His face looks kinda goofy though. Let's see a baby Arthur. I think he looks better when he's smaller. Let's watch Arthur get chased by Master Chief. Wait, I forgot that Master Chief is the Iron Golem. Let's watch Arthur get chased by the Roblox character. Now Arthur could actually win because Roblox is going to burn. All Arthur has to do is move, which it doesn't look like he's doing. Okay, Arthur just barely got away, only to die to a tiger right after. Let's find an Arthur village. Okay, there's just no Arthurs in this village. I guess I have to spawn some of my my own. Okay, maybe that's too many for a village. Alright, I'm going to give Arthur a 7 out of 10. He looks kinda weird. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a witch. Translating, and we got weekday. For this one, I'm going to make Wednesday Addams. Let's remove her hat, and we'll change the shape of her head. Now let's add her hair, and we'll give her some eyes, and a mouth. Now let's make her arms and legs smaller, and we'll color her shirt brown, and let's also color her pants. Next, let's add her braids, and we'll give her a white collar. Now let's add her hands, and we'll add the white spot on her dress. Now finally, let's give her some shoes, and I think we're done. Let's see her in game. Okay, I think there's something wrong with her arms, and also her feet. Okay, that's much better. I had to give her different arms, but they honestly look better. Let's see if Wednesday can beat whatever this thing is. Okay, it doesn't look like they're able to fight because of this house. Let's just get rid of this. Okay, this doesn't look fair for the flying worm. I don't even think the flying thing was able to attack. Let's try Wednesday versus an elephant. Okay, it looks like she somehow got the elephant stuck. Okay, never mind. She died. But how could you expect her to beat this giant elephant? Let's spawn an army of Wednesdays. Now let's see if they can beat Master Chief. Okay, I don't think they want to fight. Let's fix that. Okay, now Master Chief is taking a lot of damage. And the Wednesdays won that one easily. Alright, I'm going to give Wednesday an 8 out of 10. She looks pretty good. It's time for the next mob. The next mob is a Wither. What will we get? And we just got X. For this one, let's make alphabet lore letter X. Let's delete everything except one of the heads, and we'll shrink it down like this. Now let's color it white, and we'll rotate it in the shape of an X. Next, let's add these purple things on the top, and we'll give him some eyebrows, and some eyes, and we'll also add his mouth. Now finally, let's add the purple things in the back, and we'll give him some texture. And I think that looks good. Let's see him in game. Okay, he still has the wither shape around him, but other than that, he looks pretty good. Okay, now he's just attacking these ratchets for no reason. Let's change that. Let's see if he can beat the void worm. Okay, I have no idea what's going on right now. This is kind of like a Pokemon battle. I'm not sure if the void worm does anything though. Wait, never mind. What is he doing? Okay, there's more void worms now. What is going on? I don't think X has any chance of beating this. The void worm is too powerful. Yeah, X is getting destroyed. I guess the void worm is the most powerful mob. It even makes these cool portals. Now let's see if the void worm can beat the Hulk. I don't even think the Hulk has a chance because the void worm is flying. Never mind, Hulk did a decent amount of damage. Okay, the Hulk is kind of stuck now. Okay, now there's actually more than one Hulk. What happened? They actually killed the void worm. But to be fair, it took 4 Hulks to do it. Alright, I'm going to give X a 9 out of 10. He looked really good. That's the last mob. Please subscribe. I don't have an outro.